I am a tiny dingus, and this is comfortably one of the best games I've ever played.
This was not a good plan.
I'll have to defeat multiple terrifying bosses, play tiny basketball, build a cozy base, unravel the mystery of the evil corporation that shrunk me, and figure out how to get big again so I can go back to squishing insects instead of being squished by them. Welcome to 100% of Grounded. I fired up a survival world with medium difficulty. I chose this Dorcas Dingus because he's my doppelganger, and then I watched some wacky cartoons about yoked girth. Yoked girth. And then I was on TV in a missing persons report. How alarming. And then the camera panned to fly over an absolute disgrace of a dining table, out the window, through a crack in the fence, and say hello to the setting of this grand adventure, the vast and dangerous backyard. Into that backyard floated a suitcase. It cracked open, and stumbling forth was me, Pete. Missing persons mystery solved. I'm here, in a hole.
Hello? Come punch. What is this thing? Wait, what? Was I in like a... What is this?
I wandered forth, and if you can't tell, I was really, really small.
Aphidoidea.
Aphidoidea. How do you know what an aphidoidea is? Plant fiber. Nab. Sprig. Nab. Pebblet. Nab. Oh, slurp. Oh, it's nasty water. Maybe not.
And so began the adventure to figure out why I was so small and how to get big again. And first things first, I needed to learn how to survive as a tiny person. I began collecting stuff as I tried to adjust to the strange perspective. It was weird that the blades of grass were 10 times taller than me. It was wild to be way smaller than a baseball.
Okay, so if that's a baseball, then I am well and truly rather small.
Something called the Scabby detected a signal nearby, so I had an objective to head towards. I found some tiny mushrooms, so I had some food to eat, and...
Can I kill it? Should I kill it? Get it! Get it! I got a weevil nose and raw weevil meat.
When this red ant wandered by, minding his own business, I misunderstood his intentions.
Oh!
Yeah, I thought he was attacking me, so I unleashed the fury of my pebblet on his head. But I soon ran out of stamina, which paused my attacks, and it appeared I was running low on health, too.
You scared me, bro. Oh, there's two of them? I'm dead.
I jumped around like an idiot, pulling off extreme evasive maneuvers, but my doom was inevitable.
Bro, it scared the crap out of me. I think it was going to ignore me, but then I got angry at it.
I was off to a powerful start, no doubt.
This seems like impressive tech.
This is where the signal my Scabby had found led me. A field station, in which I used the analyzer to learn more about plant fiber.
Crude rope, fiber bandage, plant slurry.
I also earned some brain power, which got me a quarter of the way to level 1. I had 2 more analyzer charges available, so I scanned a pebblet and a sprig, which earned me a bunch of new crafting recipes.
Okay, so there's a resource surveyor, an ASL terminal, but they're unpowered at the moment.
I discovered the crafting menu, where I made a pebblet spear out of sprigs, plant fiber, and a pebblet. I also made some crude rope out of plant fiber, and once I'd collected some more sprigs, I made a pebblet axe. With it, this blade of grass was at my mercy, and it was nice to experience an alternative to the survival game trope of cutting down trees. Trees? Pfft, how about grass?
Grass plank.
I picked up the grass planks for some reason. I could carry 5 max on my shoulder, and when I spotted this red ant, I resisted bashing his brains out and instead followed him.
Hello, little fella. I won't fight you this time.
He led me to the mysterious machine, a wonder of the backyard. I dumped my grass planks and investigated the strange contraption, and when I saw a button, I couldn't resist but press it.
What did that do?
Looks like this thing hooks up with those lasers. I don't think
What
that
the
worked
heck?
properly. It seems like the machine needs all 3 lasers to function.
There's a blade in the way. Chop it down.
Once I'd chopped down that blade of grass, the second laser was able to hit its target, but it appeared there was something wrong with the third laser too.
Dude, I'm in there with the microchips and all that jazz.
I admired the interior of the lovely device for a bit. Very cool.
What is this weevil doing, dude? Get some, weevil. Oh, that's a big lady beetle.
Before my big toe gets eaten by a ladybug, check out this absolute chaos. Big thanks to DigiGods for sponsoring this video. DigiGods is a physics-based sandbox game with shooting, parkour, and just about any type of gameplay you could ask for, in a VR world of unlimited possibilities. And it's now officially available on the Meta Horizon store. The 1.0 release brings the glorious medieval era, in which you can build towns, castles, and fortresses, engage in sword fighting and archery, ride fire-breathing dragons into battle, play chess or checkers, and get a limited time bundle featuring a full-body night cosmetic cosmetic, dragon variant, 2 eye cosmetics, and 10,000 KOS. The game features an intuitive drag and drop system, so the creation process is accessible to everyone, meaning there's no reason you can't jump in and get busy building whatever your heart desires. From gravity-defying shooters to complex puzzles, you can build a map on which to battle your friends, you could set up a castle siege, and you could throw a kaiju in there. Why not? DigiGods is social and interactive. You can hang out in the hub, you can publish your creations for everyone to enjoy, you can jump into simulations together, and you can of course engage in epic combat with your friends. You can play DigiGods for free right now. And to celebrate the official release, DigiGods is also holding a competition to win a MetaQuest 3S virtual reality headset. Click the link below to enter. Okay friends, back to Grounded. I tried my best not to get lost among the grass as I wandered towards the malfunctioning laser, and I was also becoming aware that I was quite thirsty.
Oh, there's water. Hang on.
I whacked the blade of grass with the dollop of water on it. The dollop fell, but I don't know what happened to it. It did not end up in my belly though, that's for sure.
What are you nerds doing? Ah! Oi! Get out of here! You lawn mite. Screw you.
There were quite a few lawn mites, and I did not appreciate it.
Why are there so many of these things? Get out of here.
And it appeared these little guys were responsible for the laser's malfunctioning, as they were chomping away at its cable. So I began clearing them off with some spear pokes. I then attended to my hunger as I munched down some mushrooms. I tried to chop down this big mushroom, but I was gonna need a higher tier axe for that. And I found another drop of water. When I knocked this one down, it didn't disappear. So I slurped it up, and my thirst was quenched. I chopped this clover and claimed the leaves. And with a full belly, I was ready to brave the cave into which the cable descended. But it was kind of dark. So I made a torch, with sap as the fuel apparently, and down I went to take on many lawn mites. I finally worked out I could block attacks.
Can I? Oh, I can block, I think.
But I was down to about 2 health, so I backtracked to find more sap. I eventually found some on this stick. The stick also provided great help getting on top of the baseball.
I'm on the ball. I'm on the ball.
I used the sap to make a fiber bandage. I applied the bandage.
And it provided very, very minimal healing. That is disappointing.
It did give me a healing buff though, so over the next 20 seconds or so, my health regenerated nicely. I returned to the field station and discovered the analyzer had 3 charges once more, so I scanned a mushroom.
Oh, my brain power is at level 1. Finally.
Having level 0 brain power was a little demeaning, so it was good to go beyond that. And even better, I was given some new crafting recipes. I analyzed sap too.
A workbench. That sounds useful.
And finally, a crude rope.
We're unlocking so much stuff.
Apparently, I was very distractible because I wandered over to this candy dispenser and whacked the lid open, but I couldn't get in there. I tried crouching, and I don't know if I'm just a goose, but it would not let me in. A gnat flew by, which alarmed me greatly, but it wasn't interested in bothering me, and night was fast approaching, so I built a lean-to out of clover leaves and sprigs, my first construction effort. I looked at the map for the first time. It appeared to be a flamin' big map, and I decided to sleep until morning, because nighttime as a tiny person surrounded by insects sounded too scary. This time lapse till morning offered me an impressive view of the world that awaited me. When I awoke at 6 AM, I was rather hungry and thirsty. The hunger was easily solved by eating a bunch of mushrooms, and I got some more analyzing done. Mite fuzz, a clover leaf, and dry grass. I found a drop of water, and I finally returned to the cable cave to take on more lawn mites. I tried to incorporate blocking into my combat, but I gotta admit something straight up. I was quite bad at the combat in this game early on. I like to think I got a lot better later, but it took me a while.
Slime mold stalk. Get off there. Get off there.
The cable was now cleansed of mites, so I returned to the field station to get some more analyzing done, and I discovered if I was holding a grass plank, I could analyze it.
Walls, tables, yeah, okay. We can make a whole grass house, man. I mean, how much of a base should I bother setting up? I don't know.
I considered my options and decided to simply place a workbench. You can only handcraft a few things. For most things, you need a work table of some kind. For now, I used the workbench to make a clover hood. As I'm equipping that hood, look at all the grass fiber and sprigs I'd collected. Way too many. Why? I don't know. It's a good looking hood though.
And I receive less damage from early game creatures because I got tenderfoot defense.
Anyway, enough dilly-dallying.
So this should be all working now, right?
I slapped the activate button, and the purpose of the mysterious machine and its lasers was revealed.
What the hell is this? Oh gosh. I just started a fire. What did that do?
That caused an explosion over at the oak tree, and so that was my next quest destination. I found a Tropicop Puncho juice box thingo over here, and a juice drop, which I of course slurped up, and I headed towards the oak tree, which was actually closer than I realized. On the way, I found the red ant's home.
Old anthill. Are you gonna get angry at me if I'm too close to your anthill? Is that ladybug gonna get angry at me?
As you can tell, I was worried all of the insects were gonna get angry at me.
What is this place?
Tremor detected.
Oh no.
I assumed whatever was burrowing there would also be angry, so I tried to avoid going on the dirt. Apparently I could break these acorns, but I needed a hammer, and I was really convinced the burrower was gonna murder me dead.
It's trying to get me. No, 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 no.
I climbed up onto the roots of the great oak tree.
Wait, what? It's another juice box? There's a can or something? Whelp flavor drink?
I think whoever lives here needs to clean up their garden. Also, I believe there is a purple conflagration over in this direction.
Oh gosh. I don't like the look of that. I don't like the look of those beasties.
I continued towards the purple mess, and I got slightly confused because at first all I saw was another entrance to the terrifying looking spiders. Also,
Is that a bee?
yes indeed, bee sighting confirmed. And another big spider sighting confirmed. Maybe I came here too soon, I thought to myself, considering the many scary beasts I'd spotted. I finally looked upon the purple from another angle and so saw behind the leaf, my destination.
This is what there is to learn.
This is the Oak Lab, so named because of its location right below the oak tree. And as you can see, it was a little worse for wear thanks to the explosion.
What the hell is going on, man?
There was another analyzer over here, and I found a voice recording.
I have isolated the source of the particle irregularities. They appear to be a byproduct of the shrinking process. If I adjust the machine to account for their existence, it should be the key to the de-shrinking, expanding process.
It seemed this lab belonged to someone named Wendell.
There was a mini scientist here trying to make himself big again. Can I open this? I can.
Through here, I discovered some security cam live feeds.
Air contamination, black anthill. Oh, there's multiple labs. Looks like there's 4 labs. One in the hedge, one in the pond, battery backup failure, haze, and there's one of the black anthill, security lockdown. Okay, so there's a few more labs to look to.
In the next room, I found a robot fella stuck on his back.
Oh,
Where are you hurt?
Burgle.
Alas, I am laid low.
I helped the wounded soldier to his feet.
Alright, Burgle. Nice moustache, man.
Burgle told me he suspected I was miniaturized by Dr. Tully's spacer device. But beyond that, the explosion I'd caused had corrupted the robot's memory banks. He at least remembered that Dr. Wendell Tully had built this lab to experiment on all things small, and that Burgle himself had initially been a short order cook, but was recently promoted to acting science manager. Unfortunately, the robot had not seen Dr. Tully for several weeks. Even worse, the spacer platform capable of making me big again was inoperable, and Burgle had no memory of how to fix it. But Dr. Tully had backed up Burgle's memory on a bunch of chips, including the very important super chips. So my quest was to go out and find all of those chips around the yard.
500 raw science. Delicious.
I gave this biometric scanner a high five. This added my biological data to Dr. Tully's network, which apparently would come in handy gaining access to the other 4 labs. It also gave me access to the advanced system library. In here, I was able to use raw science at the science shop to buy various recipes.
I got 1190. Let's get the smithing station for sure. Get a cookery, get nachos, get meatloaf. Okay, come on. Give me the cooking, give me the smithing. Alright, good purchase.
And there was a quest tab too, with various tasks I could complete to earn more raw science. I needed to complete all 100 of these quests to get 100%. If you're wondering how I had almost 1200 raw science just then, obviously I'd picked up the 500, but the rest was all from the analyzing I'd been doing.
I need an assistant manager keycard. He could remember where the hedge one was. It's really far away. One of the chips is there, but you can only assume that I'm actually gonna have to fight some stuff. Do I make this place my base?
I murdered the aphid that had been annoying me, I drank some water from the cooler, I stole a bunch of sap, and I emerged into the night. I placed a workbench and storage basket on this route here, and I finished off my clover armor set by making a poncho and shin guard.
Trickle regen. The 3 set bonus. Bit of regeneration.
I do love a good armor set bonus. I made a pebblet hammer too, and went out searching for acorns to attack. This earned me some acorn tops and acorn shells. Also, I was a little on edge thanks to the darkness.
These aphids keep following me around and making little chirp noises. Shut up, bro.
I used the acorn parts to make an acorn shovel, which completed a quest earning a cheeky 100 raw science. I made a roasting spit too, that was another quest, and a great way to cook up some of the meat I had in my inventory.
Cook that bad boy.
After a short wait, I collected a delicious weevil roast, which I immediately ate as I was pretty hungry. It was certainly more filling than the mushrooms I'd been eating. I put some raw aphid meat onto cook too.
Alright, we're cooking now.
I did some more analyzing and reached level 2 brain power, which unlocked the red ant armor set recipes, and scanning the acorn top opened the recipe floodgates.
Sap catcher, smoothie station, spinning wheel. This is out of control.
And scanning the acorn shell unlocked an even longer list of recipes.
I unlocked these just by researching, right? So you can unlock high level stuff just by researching. How many levels are there? 16. Come at me. Come at me, underground thing. I see you.
This is when I realized that the burrowing thing was maybe not aggressive after all.
Maybe not.
I collected acorn parts, I went inside this can and stabbed an aphid. I climbed atop the can as the sun began rising. I found a big chunk of hardened sap hanging off the oak tree, so I whacked it and collected a great bounty of sap. And in the process of collecting a bunch of stuff, I began getting familiar with the lay of the land at the foot of the tree.
Look at that. 3 little nerds on there. Delicious.
As I was contemplating what to craft at my workbench, I heard a terrifying noise.
What the heck is that? Oh dear. What are you angry at me for, dude? I'm just chilling. I'm not here to fight. Get off me, web. That's just rude behavior, you know that? Oh. It's gone. Let's go in here. Run. Run.
I pretended I came in here not to flee in terror, but rather to analyze a couple more things.
Aphid slippers?
And somehow I'd missed this biometric scanner earlier, so I gave it a slap and gained entry to a room that I suppose was powering this whole operation.
It's the battery room.
There was a spicy 500 raw science in here, and a tape recording of Wendell rambling about giving hydrochloric acid to children, including mentions of a mysterious organization called Ominent. Also, I found a gold tooth. What the heck? I needed a higher tier hammer to break it though. I used 1000 raw science to unlock multi-story bases, and when I emerged, the game told me I could press X to peep.
Oh. I peeped a creature.
I was rather thirsty, so I went in search of water, and I managed to find a drop of juice instead. I also spied something toothy and white under the can, a milk molar. I needed a higher tier tool for this too.
What is the deal with the milk molars, man?
I did some more peeping.
Oh, look at that thing. Oh my gosh.
And I officially peeped a wolf spider, adding its info to my bug knowledge. Also, apparently it was an offline user. I have no idea what that was about. Scanning it taught me its weaknesses and resistances. I peeped a ladybug too. In fact, I was peeping willy-nilly.
Anything in the pond? Oh. That's something. Why can't I peep the bee? Too far away? Something terrifying about this water. Yeah, what do I do?
This game has a phenomenal sense of adventure to it. It really gave me that feeling that the world was vast and dangerous and that every area had stuff waiting to be discovered. And because of this, at first, I was quite overwhelmed.
What's that noise, dude? Oh. Wolf spider. There's a molar there.
I could have just ran off to try and do the quest to find the super chip at the hedge, but I felt underprepared for that, so I decided to try and build a base.
I need so many grass planks for this. I need a better water solution first, though.
I began collecting grass planks, but quickly decided against this awkwardly placed nonsense attached to the tree. I peeped a red ant worker, which inspired me to check the creature cards menu. It seemed to have quite a few creature cards to collect.
At this point, I don't know. That's a big old bird.
I made my first storage chest, which was twice as big as the storage baskets, and I really needed water. I investigated the pond water. It was nasty, but I found a drop nearby.
Thank you very much, Rosebush.
I peeped an orb weaver junior next to the wooden fence thingo here, and that was the direction I needed to head off in to get to the hedge. And it looked like it would be hard to avoid fighting stuff if I went that way.
So I definitely need to set up base and like establish myself. Where do I find grubs though? I need grubs so I can make a canteen.
A canteen would presumably let me store some water for on-the-go hydration, but as I said, I needed to find grubs.
I'm gonna make a juicer base, I think.
And so I began building my first base proper, next to the juice box by the pond. There's a handy relocate function, so I was able to simply move my workbench down here. I got some storage set up.
Pebblet spears. Did I accidentally craft like 100 pebblet spears? I think I did.
What a goose. This game has nifty nearby storage mechanics, so I was able to build and craft using stuff in the nearby chests. And the same applies to these plank and stem pallets, which can be used to of course stockpile planks and stems used for building.
Where do I get weed stems though?
For now, I began stockpiling grass planks.
Oh, what is that? No, no, no. So the wolf spider comes out at night.
I like how I just capitulated and accepted my death. It's great stuff. It respawned me back at the random bed I'd set up near this field station, which suited me as I immediately slept to escape the nighttime and its lurking wolf spiders.
Dandelion might have a weed stem, right? Dandelion's a weed. Yep. That's what we want.
I found yet another puncho in my wanderings, and...
Threat detected. Oh gosh.
While hideous to look upon, this lava wasn't too hard to defeat with many a poke from my spear, though I did an impressively average job blocking its attacks.
Alright, I'm definitely gonna have to adjust to not getting freaked out by giant bugs. It's definitely not easy.
I gathered up my weed stems and returned to my fledgling base, and used the stems to complete the first section of these spiral stairs.
Beautiful rose petals. You are resistant to stabbing, so let's try to get you with an axe. Come here, fella.
When fighting this Orb Weaver Jr., I achieved my first perfectly timed block.
I think I got a... Was that a parry?
You get a perfect block when you raise your block just as the enemy is attacking, and it's indicated by the sparks that fly out. A normal block reduces the damage taken by half, whereas a perfect block completely negates any damage. It also adds to the stun meter of your enemy, so they'll suffer a stun much quicker if you manage to land perfect blocks.
Oh, what? You knocked me over? Oh, it's like you can't block over and over? Oh, no. Now I'm poisoned. Oh, dear. One more hit. Oh no, I suck. Oh, and I forgot to set my spawn.
I was at least able to destroy this red worker ant.
Got some red ant parts. Cookie sandwich bits.
I peeped the big mama orb weaver and summed up my time in Grounded so far like this.
I'm getting extremely stressed. Fighting giant bugs. It's too visceral an experience.
I got my third perfectly timed block against this ant, so clearly I am a pro. I found it unsettling when I spotted the grass being rustled about by something that I assumed was large, and I ran about picking up a bunch of stuff as I meandered my way back towards where I died.
Let's go check out this garden lamp thing. Climb the stick.
Yes indeed, climb the stick.
What do we got? Hold to raise flag. Oh, it's the oak tree beacon. I had a quest for that.
Fly high, banner of Burgle.
What are you? Oh, do I have a trowel?
I had an acorn shovel. It was literally the first item in my inventory, and yet I somehow didn't see it. I finally returned to my bag, and once again, look how much flame and plant fiber I'd collected. Clearly, I'm a pro. But seriously, it's actually pretty useful to stockpile tons of stuff in chests. I finally realized I had the acorn shovel on me, but it was getting dark, so I plopped a lean-to down and went to sleep before a wolf spider showed up. I made this my new spawn point, too.
But I think this is what I gotta do. Yep. Good.
So the burrowing monster I'd been terrified of turned out to be a defenseless grub. And I needed grub hide, so this was great news.
The sunrise is gorgeous.
A giant drink or die warning soon appeared on screen, and this reminded me that if I don't drink, I will die. Thankfully, I managed to find a drop of water in about 30 seconds, and now that I had grub hide, I was able to make a canteen.
Scoop. Okay, we got some water in a canteen. It's gotta be a better way to find water, man. What am I doing? Scoop.
My canteen could only hold 2 drops, but that was still a huge improvement to my hydration system. Since I was out this way, I decided to keep exploring the grasslands. I soon peeped a bombardier beetle.
Its weak point is its rump.
My scanner was showing that a field station was nearby, so I tried to find it, but for the life of me I could not see it, so I eventually gave up and returned to dump another haul of loot at my base. I also attacked any red ant workers that came near, because I wanted their red ant parts.
No, don't run away. Not again.
I had some stuff to analyze, so I paid the lab a visit and unlocked a bunch of new recipes, including the lovely grub outfit. But most of the stuff I couldn't quite make yet, as I was missing key materials. One thing I could make was a water container, into which I placed the 2 drops of water I had in my canteen to begin building a bit of a water store. I crafted the obscene amounts of plant fiber into 63 crude rope. I made a couple of sprig sap lamps, very beautiful, and I finally continued working on the stairs, raising its height above the juice box. I spotted that the red ant armor gave plus hauling strength, so I made a helmet, and with it I was now able to carry 8 grass planks at once, up from 5. I well and truly wasn't taking any chances with nighttime, so as soon as the sun threatened to set, I hit the hay. In the morning I analyzed, stabbed, and continued chopping down the nearby patch of grass. It was great being able to carry 3 extra planks, but I wanted more, so I went hunting red ants so I could make the rest of the set. Except I ran into a big ugly boy.
Stink bug.
Smell! Ah! Keeping clear of this one.
I was contemplating trying to fight it, but as soon as my character said keeping clear, I kept clear, because I am weak to the power of suggestion. And apparently I forgot about my base building objective because I wandered off.
Oh, I discovered the field station. Wait, is it being protected by a stink bug? It is. Oh, multiple stink bugs. Oh, they're farting. They're farting up a storm. There's the field station that I think was... Oh, crap. It's running at me. Don't do it, bro. I think I need to get a gas mask to deal with them. I need to kill one stink bug first, though? How?
I'd wandered back to the spot where I'd seen the bombardier beetle earlier, but this time I ventured a little further and raised the burgle flag of the Trowel Gulch. These acorns seemed suspicious, so I gave them a whack, but the passage was also blocked by a big old rock.
I need an explosive? Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, here we go. Here's the trowel. The titular trowel of Trowel Gulch. Cool.
One thing I liked about Trowel Gulch is that there were lots of grubs.
Rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub.
The bombardier beetle soon patrolled around, so I posed an important question.
Should I try to chop its rump?
You know what? You really should.
Come here, in your rump. Get rumped.
Yeah, get rumped. I saw the beetle ramping up for an attack, so I got my block ready, except it didn't strike. It sprayed me with something icky. I was using my axe because bombardiers are vulnerable to chopping, but as it continued spraying acid all over the place, I began to lose confidence.
Ah! Look at that. That's disgusting, dude. Stop that. Oh, gosh. Okay. Run. How do I deal with that? Acid poop.
I headed back towards the oak tree, and on the way, my extensive spear use earned the Javelineer mutation. I did some analyzing. I found a folder I'd missed earlier, with documents telling of Dr. Tully's shrinkage experiments, and I had a look at the mutations tab and discovered I could have 2 mutations active. And the Javelineer one I just unlocked improved the damage of my thrown spears. And if you master the Javelineer mutation, it increases the damage of charge attacks too.
I didn't realize I had a massive charge attack. Now I know.
I also made a sturdy shell trinket, but its benefits are purely for multiplayer, so it was completely useless. On day 7, I took on a ladybug. Their legs are weak to chopping, so I swung my axe at her legs, and I don't think she appreciated it. I switched to my hammer, because if you're not able to target the legs, that's the best option. But it seemed the big girl had a lot of health.
Hammer? Bonk, bonk. Ow! Oh dear. No, please show mercy.
I did not time my next block correctly, and dead. I made a smoothie station, but couldn't yet make any smoothies, and I began building the floor at the top of the stairs. This of course involved the chopping and hauling of a bunch of grass. I'd soon built this glorious thing. It seemed 1 dollop dripped out of the juice box every day, for which I was grateful, and I defeated my second Orb Weaver Jr. I didn't die this time, so that was a great step forward for humanity. I jumped into the pond and collected some algae, but I was rather fearful of the open water.
Oh. Tadpole.
It seemed there was plenty to see down here, but I wasn't ready to brave beyond the shallows for now. I did yet more analyzing, and suddenly the spider armor set was on the menu too, and I hit brain power level 4, which unlocked some stuff that would be useful underwater. I also unlocked a basketball for some reason. It was very much a case of having heaps of stuff I could work towards, but lots of materials I needed, except I didn't really know where to find those materials, so I was bumbling about like a goose. I analyzed a stem on day 8, unlocking yet more building options, and I hunted enough weevils to make a weevil shield.
A proper blocking apparatus.
I tried using stairs to connect my platform to the juice box, but that wasn't working for me, so I eventually worked out that these clover roof tiles were my best option. I headed out once more and chased this lava, because I wanted more acid glands, but it fled into a cave. I tentatively made my way down into the darkness, and what awaited me down there was the stuff of nightmares.
Is that like a billion lava?
Yeah, that is a big nope. On the way out, I ran into a couple of lava and took them out. When this one got low, it fled. I threw my spear at it and missed horribly, so I punched it on the butt.
That's the one that's protected by stink bugs. This one's fair game. Oh, there's a spider.
I checked out the science shop and picked up the meat shield mutation for 3000 raw science. It provides plus max health. I continued venturing further south, vaguely in the direction of the hedge, but I was fearful of the great many beasties lurking about. Thankfully, I could avoid them, and I soon reached this swampy area. And it actually seemed relatively safe here, so I wondered if maybe I should have just beelined for the hedge days ago. I spotted a firefly and a good-looking rooster.
Here he is. What a handsome fella. That's outrageous.
I decided to take on the firefly because I wanted any and all loot as a means to progress, and it proved to be an easy fight as my weevil shield mitigated all of the damage. I claimed an iridescent scale and some goo glue, and I soon arrived at the edge of the hedge.
This backyard has got too many cans, man. Okay, I'm actually close to the hedge. Big old pair of secateurs. Secateurs, man. Oh, berries. I need berries.
And so I began the hedge ascent up a lovely garden tool.
I could have come here earlier. I was scared for valid reasons, but probably too scared.
I took the opportunity to scan the firefly stuff I'd just gotten, and I picked up a recording of Wendell's.
I thought hiding these lab units in the hedge would provide a bit of protection from my rampaging children. But it appears not even the sanctuary of these leaves can protect my work from an errant flingman disc. The subsequent breaches in the lab structures have invited all manner of arachnid invaders to wander in.
Oh dear.
I made my way along the branches. I knocked some berries off so that I could collect them below, and I had a minor mishap.
Oh no. Don't fall. I'm dead. No, man!
Big whoops.
Look how big that bird is. That's terrifying. Quick, throw my spear at it. I don't think that hit.
I made some aphid slippers on day 9, and not only do they look gorgeous, they also provide a decent run speed buff, of which I was a big fan. I also made a might hat, which gives hyper stamina, meaning I could sprint for longer, and so the might hat and aphid slipper combo became my go-to for running around the map a little bit faster. I'd been searching for gnats for ages, so when I spotted a bunch buzzing around as I was running back to the hedge, I was very pleased to skewer one with my spear.
Okay, we made it back here. Oh, here we go. Berry chunk.
I was very happy to claim these chunks, as I needed berry leather for multiple recipes, and after a quick scan, berry leather was now craftable. I threw my spear to cause some berries to drop so that I could collect as much as possible, but this particular throw was unsuccessful.
Oh, it got stuck in the tree. No, dude.
Fortunately, these tier 1 spears are super cheap, so I just made another one. And I resisted throwing any more at berries and continued traversing the hedge instead, slightly more carefully this time.
Oh, what do we got here? Can I use this?
My first taste of zipline shenanigans felt quite nice indeed.
Oh, there's spider webs. There's little spider eggs as well. Raw science. Ooh, 500. Juicy. Hang on, this is the lab.
Inside, I found another tape, and Rusty, a very rude robot that Wendell had programmed to fight off intruders. It was intended to deter the local spider population, but it didn't like me either. I found my first brittle quartzite shards in here, a very useful item used to upgrade weapons. And I found a delicious meal of might loaf, too. A little further in, and through this door, was an absolutely glorious view of the backyard.
Raw science. Look at the view. Beautiful.
The notes I found lying around seemed to indicate that Dr. Tully believed Ominent was interfering with his research.
Ominent's like the source of some radio signals? What the hell is Ominent?
I pulled this switch here, and so the surveyor scanner was turned on, and the Ominent logo was literally on this doodad. A mysterious organization indeed.
Now I can use surveyors to look for specific materials, I guess?
Evidently that wasn't the hedge lab then, so I continued my journey through the hedge.
Would it be a bad idea to attack a web sack? I don't care.
Unsurprisingly, spiderlings burst forth from the web sack, and though they weren't difficult overall, they did take quite a few hits to kill. So if the spiderlings were that tough, I was a little worried what would happen if their mum showed up. It was nice to collect some web fiber though. I soon arrived at another building of Wendell's, in which I found raw science, a scabby flavor scheme, and brittle marble shards, which can be used to upgrade armor. There was also a bed here, and since it was now almost 10 PM, I slept through the night. So now I had found two buildings that at first I thought were the lab, but neither of them actually were, so I had to crack on, further into the hedge. I soon found the Fling Man, the big old frisbee of spidery death, where I engaged in glorious combat with an army of spiderlings. But then a scary warning appeared on the left of the screen.
Uh-oh. All weave spiders are aware of my presence? I don't like the sound of that. Oh dear. I nearly fell off.
Fortunately, those angry orb weavers never materialized, but I think I spotted the terrifying lair where they probably lurk.
Do I boldly go get the raw science at least? Am I that bold? Only 100. I had to go near to the entrance to a disgusting lair, and you only give me 100?
I ziplined yet again. Clearly Wendell had a fairly extensive network of these, and while I had made significant progress, the map indicated I still had quite a distance to go. I looted this little outpost, including claiming a strange beverage.
Hedgelord?
And apparently I'd landed a few parries by this point, because I earned the Parry Master mutation.
Extreme advantage when blocking attacks. Cool.
I popped that on instead of Javelineer. As I listened to a tape from Wendell discussing how he'd gotten the idea to use ziplines to get around easier, I spied what had to be the hedge lab.
Definitely some spiderlings in there. Let's hope nothing bigger than a spiderling. It's probably not my most optimistic hope.
According to the lore of Wendell, this breach was caused by that frisbee I'd seen earlier. I slapped the door system override console, but it appeared I needed to find the password too.
Password is... well, that's not helpful. That's a big notepad though.
As I continued, a significant spider infestation was evident, but I was relieved to find an Orb Weaver Junior, no seniors to be seen. My initial approach was to attempt perfect blocks, but when I missed the second one and got poisoned, I was nearly dead. After that, I kept my block up full time, no more fancy parries. But one downside of using a shield is that it puts you in defensive stance. Yes, it improves your blocks, but it also means you deal 20% less damage. So I was taking ages to kill this thing. Also, when blocking, you do eventually get staggered, which causes you to drop your guard.
Oh gosh. No. Okay.
Woo! I found a piece of the password and some fiber bandages which I used to regenerate some health. I encountered some angry tasty boys who were pretty easy to defeat, especially once I worked out my hammer dealt extra damage to them. As I kept busy, I continued unlocking mutations. Natural Explorer makes you run faster, and Rascal Rogue gives you a chance to steal items upon melee attacks. I found a way back out to the hedge down here, I found another Mega Milk Molar over here, and I pulled off a cheeky jump to grab onto this zip line.
Alright, we found out... what the hell is this? Oh! What the hell? That's a milk molar that was open.
I found more of the password too. I dropped down and re-entered the main section of the lab, where I found a corridor I hadn't yet traveled.
They've been murdering berries, man.
Check out the extreme science on this whiteboard.
That just goes down to where I just was.
So let's try up this way. Holy moly, what a storeroom. I looted everything I wanted before heading down this zip line, along a cheeky branch, and down this hatch, where I found another piece of the password.
Oh, here we go. I can use this to search for specific resources. If I go weed stem, survey resource. It makes use of all the other field stations as well.
This is pretty nifty, but I pretty much never used it. At this point, I was a little turned around, but since there was a workstation here, I randomly made berry leather out of berry chunks I'd collected and analyzed it.
Insect hammer, yes. Upgraded hammer. Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
It looked like I'd have to kill both stink bugs and bombardier beetles to make one though. And I finally found the last piece of the password note.
Okay, this is where I needed the password, right? Okay. Yurt 1958, man. Hell yeah. Super chip.
A super chip.
Woohoo!
We'll get Burgle's memories.
Burgle's memories.
There was a duper disc here too. And with that, the hedge lab was complete.
My mom always says I light up a room.
A room. Oh gosh.
There was a milk molar over that way, but also 2 big spiders, and there was something pink and round over this way, so I investigated. There are several of these mixer thingos around the map, and they can be activated to start a wave defense challenge. This particular one summons Orb Weaver Juniors and Lava.
I'll pass. You think I'm some kind of absolute beast? No, I'm not.
I found a dandelion tuft, and over here a crack in the retaining wall, which led to one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
What the hell? What? Hello?
There was a rotten red ant club, a recipe for an ant totem, and a revealing note.
I think this was a crazy person that became friends with ants.
I love it. And then I realized I somehow had 0 achievements unlocked. This was because I hadn't been logged into an Xbox account, so I logged in, and boom, 7 achievements done already. I decided I was due a trip home, so off I went. On the other side of the swampy area this time, and I found some clay that I was able to whack with my shovel. I collected a bunch, which forced me to do a fair bit of inventory management as my bag was full, and then I decided to attack this lava with the rotten red ant club I'd picked up.
Get some, sleepy lava. Stunned.
I really did own that one dude, but all his friends woke up, and I found I had very little opportunity to attack when I was constantly blocking multiple enemies, so I, of course, died. Again.
Oh, I should have respawned at a field station. I could have respawned at a field station nearby. Yeah, oh well.
I should mention I was wearing the aphid slippers and mite hat, which didn't have very good defensive capabilities, so I probably should have switched out to my ant armor. On the way to collect my dropped goodies, I found this milk carton. I grabbed my stuff, I fought some more lava, but I was more careful not to get swarmed this time, and I soon returned to the oak tree to regroup. I analyzed, which unlocked yet more underwater gear, so I felt like the game was encouraging me to go underwater, and I gave Burgle the super chip.
2,000 raw science.
The chip helped restore some of Burgle's memory, and he was able to mark the location of the other 3 super chips on my map, each located at a lab of their own. I'd need to find those to restore his memory further. I shoved the duper disc into this super duper machine here, and this thing duplicates items, which I guess is mainly useful for multiplayer, but I suppose duplicating rare resources could be handy too. For now, I had broken aphid slippers, and I didn't know how to repair them yet. I thought I needed to craft a repair tool, so I tried duping them for 500 raw science, and I got a fully durable pair. Spoiler alert, you don't actually need a repair tool. I am just a goose. I hit up the ASL terminal and used my single milk molar to increase my health by 30, and thanks to completing the hedge lab, zipline and ladder recipes were now available, so I bought those. That night when I went to sleep, a dark dream awaited me.
Oh, what? I'm having a dream? Or something?
The Ominent logo was plain to see, and it appeared I was the subject of an experiment. Clearly this Ominent Wendell kept referring to was a tech company willing to use kids as test dummies. So perhaps this was less of a dream and more of a flashback to the moment when I shrunk down into Tiny Pete. I had a quest to make 5 smoothies, and these soothing syrup smoothies were pretty cheap to make, so why not? And I made a smithing station at which weapons and armor can be upgraded.
Adds damage and durability.
I turned the quartzite and marble I'd found into brittle whetstones and brittle plating, and I really should have just used these immediately to upgrade some gear, but I opted not to. I guess I didn't want to waste the materials on low tier gear, but you actually find quite a lot of the upgrade materials, so it would have been worth it to invest a few to get stronger in this early part of the game. I hunted ants for a bit and unlocked the Ant Annihilator mutation, which increases damage against ants. I explored around the other side of the oak tree and found a field station.
What do we got over here? Ooh, what are you? A mosquito. Terrifying. Ugh.
And I had the Ant Annihilator mutation active, so I felt confident delving into the red ant hill. Inside, I found my first red soldier ant, which I decided to take on as it was thankfully isolated. It was considerably more challenging than the red ant workers, and every time you take on a new insect, there's always an adjustment period where you learn how they fight. But against all odds, I did not die this time round.
Red ant mandibles.
I drank the smoothies or ate granola bars I'd found to heal up, by the way, and as I continued on, I ran into another soldier. And since I started the fight against this one with full health, it felt a lot more manageable. By the time I took on a third, my Weevil shield was broken, so my defensive stance had dropped off and I was dealing even more damage. And this actually felt way better, so I tended to avoid using shields ongoing. The reward at the end of this red ant hole was some sturdy marble I couldn't break, and a molar I couldn't break, even if I'd been able to get up to it, so that was a bit disappointing. I returned to base and slept through the night, and in the morning I finally made the last piece of the red ant armor set.
What's the set bonus? Red ants see you as one of them. Silly ants. I want to work towards bow and arrow, so I need gnats and I need thistle.
I needed to kill stink bugs and bombardier beetles in order to make the tier 2 hammer, and I could not imagine fighting them head on considering they both shot out stinky toxic crap. Therefore, I wanted a ranged weapon, so I could fight them from a distance. I knew where gnats were, but not thistles, so I figured I'd start out by collecting gnat fuzz. But it turns out those gnats I knew of were right next to a thistle bush, so I was able to collect my fill.
Yeah, come at me, you idiot gnat. So many thistles. The gnats don't like it when you come up. That's great.
I stood up high and stabbed their fluffy faces as they flew at me like idiots. Except once the skies were clear, I encountered a problem.
Where'd all the other gnats go? Did they actually disappear? Oh, they're all underwater? I see how it is. They're having a swim. Here they all are. They're just at a pile in the bottom of the water. I love it.
As you can see, I collected 12 gnat fuzz, which was enough, but a whopping 69 thistles. This was very much a mission success.
Okay, so now I can make a sprig bow, finally.
And I was able to make plenty of arrows. Too many arrows, to be honest. I accidentally stabbed my chest, I deliberately analyzed a thistle, and I was jump scared by a cheeky firefly.
Dude, what the heck, Mr. Firefly? You scared the crap out of me.
In the morning, I tried shooting at bees. It was not successful. I made the nifty thistle trinket, which increases the damage of fully charged bow shots, and it was time for glory. I was extremely pleased to see the fully charged bow shots actually did pretty juicy damage, but I was less pleased when the big stinker jumped on my head and farted. Kiting was gonna be necessary, so I fled and got pot shots off when I could, but when these bushes came in with the assist, I was unstoppable.
You mad?
I can guarantee you the big fella was indeed very mad, but soon he was also dead.
We got the stink bug. I can get all the arrows back as well, that's so sick.
Since I was going to be fleeing in terror for these bow fights, I popped on my aphid slippers for some bonus run speed, and when I killed this mite, I got a fancy card.
I got a fancy golden mite thingo. What does that mean?
It's just a rare collectible that can drop when killing enemies. That was my 60th mite kill, by the way. This idiot stink bug also got stuck, so it turned out I didn't do much fleeing. Rather, I had a great time shooting at him over and over. And it was indeed very handy that I was able to pick up all the arrows I'd shot. As long as I was careful, I'd never have to craft any extras. I think the third stink bug I hunted got stuck in the same spot. These guys are massive idiots, no doubt. And the fourth I killed was farting like an absolute unit, just out of range.
Stench isn't quite reaching me.
It did make my screen fill up with green though.
Where is the bombardier gone? Bombardier! Do you think I can just fight the bombardier from up here? Like an absolute menace?
The bombardier took less damage from my arrows, but it was equally, if not more stupid than the stink bugs.
He's not doing anything. I'm cheesing everything, dude. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? If you fight a stink bug in melee range, it farts on you. I guess if you had a gas mask, you could just fight it, but I can't make one yet. And the bombardier, if you're close, will shoot like acid at you. While I was justifying my dishonorable approach to combat, the bombardier came unstuck and began threatening my position with acid goop. So I found a new position, and it was soon defeated. Holy blessed bombardier parts, and a boiling gland. I finally thought to actually activate the natural explorer mutation, which increases run speed, and it was a noticeable boost, so that was great news. And when I returned home, it was time for a new hammer. Boom. Huge upgrade. Amazing news. I headed straight to the battery room and whacked the Mega Milk Molar so that I could slurp up its delicious insides. I analyzed the bombardier parts and learned how to make the tier 2 insect axe. More amazing news. And I used the Mega Milk Molar to increase my max resource stack size from 10 up to 15, which was a huge boon to my inventory management. Since I loved my bow like a child, I used a bunch of whetstones to upgrade it to level 3, increasing its damage and durability by 15%. And I wandered off to make good use of my new hammer. One Milk Molar under the can, some tier 2 sturdy marble for even better gear upgrading, and I wanted the molar in the anthill too, but I was vertically challenged when it came to overcoming this wall. And then it was time to shoot at a ladybug. Oh crap. She's an athlete.
I stuck to my cheesy bow and arrow strategy, but eventually grew tired of the piddly damage, so I went in close for some hammering. This dealt considerably more damage, but I also got smacked around. Fortunately, I was able to stun the beast and finish her off.
Got some ladybug parts.
I accidentally used a dandelion tuft to glide for a bit. These are very handy, and I took on another ladybug. I was determined to get better at timing perfect blocks, and the only way to get better is to practice. Sadly, I did not get a single perfect block.
Oh dear.
I went in for another round, and honestly, I should have widened my field of view or tried fighting in third-person view, because for me, it makes seeing and blocking enemy attacks much easier. I did this later, but for now, I forged on and made it work.
Oh, ladybug armor, okay. So that's gotta be heavy armor, I'd imagine.
I used a milk molar to increase my stamina, I made a spinning wheel with which silk rope can be crafted, and I made a farm in which I planted some mushrooms, because why not? In the morning, I began to dream of my future base.
I feel like building up there and then having zip lines going everywhere around the garden is the play, right?
It would be lovely to have a convenient way of getting around the backyard, very true. As you can see, I drew the ire of a bee, and it charged at me butt first, which I found quite painful. But I was thankfully victorious, because while the bee had to awkwardly shoot its entire butt at me to sting me, I had lots of thistle arrows to do my stinging.
Oh, there's a milk molar. Should I try and take on one of the big fellas? He's resistant to stabbing. Why is he weak to spicy? I still don't understand what that means.
I did not take on the big fella. I did own this grub though. I analyzed the bee parts, and then remembered something.
I forgot that I could make the insect axe. I've got a ladybug head now, I think. Do I have 3 bombardier parts? I might.
The only thing I needed were some silk ropes, so I put them on to craft the spinning wheel. They seemed kind of slow to make, so I placed the second wheel to increase production. While they crafted, I chopped dandelions and brought home a nice stack of stems using my ant armor hauling bonus. I next made a grinder, in which various materials can be ground down into slurry or plant fiber.
What did I just unlock? Reach coziness level 1. Oh.
I guess I accidentally made my dodgy base somewhat cozy, which earned me some pretty cool decorative unlocks.
Okay, now I've got 4 silk so I can get the insect axe. Boom.
Analyzing a silk rope got me an exciting new recipe.
Dew collector. Dew collector.
Now that I had the tier 2 axe, I was able to chop down these husky weeds, which made stem collection a lot easier.
Now I can get weed stems from right next to my base. Amazingly useful.
I was able to chop down a mushroom too, which earned me some mushroom chunks. I placed down a dew collector to collect water for me, a hugely convenient addition to the base, and I kept the machines chugging, crafting up a storm. I should also mention, the way I kept up on food production at this point was by hunting and cooking aphids.
Lily pad wax.
I was constantly scanning my craftables, identifying what materials I needed to find, and then trying to find them. Lily pad wax was a mercifully easy one, because the giant lily pads right next to my juice box base had plenty on offer. And so I was able to craft a pebblet dagger, which can be used to harvest and fight underwater.
Is it dangerous down here? Surely it is.
I was trying to work out what I could harvest, and I soon found some eelgrass that suffered the wrath of my little dagger.
Can't collect this. I think it's just eelgrass. Oh, this is, these are marble shards. These are useful. What was that noise? What is that noise? Oh no. Oh no. Get away from me. What are you in the water for? Why am I drowning? Go. Okay, I didn't drown, but I'm getting chased. Block. I thought I heard something. I was like, what is that? No, lily pad. No. No. Ah! Oh gosh, this isn't great either. Does it come out of the water? There's a molar here though.
I tried to sneakily claim the molar, but I think the orb weaver spotted me.
Run! Oh! Eh! Screw you, orb weaver. Screw you, orb weaver. Screw you, orb weaver. Oh, big parry. Oh, didn't get that one.
I switched to my axe, and orb weavers are vulnerable to chopping, so this was a good choice. But the big spider seemed to sometimes do a single attack, and at other times do a fast flurry of attacks, and I had trouble distinguishing between the two, so I got some perfect blocks, but not many.
Drink this. Oh, nice heals. Where you going? How dare you? I wasn't finished with you. I'm gonna regret that. Big parry. Just trust in the parry, baby. Okay, I'm finally getting half a clue. Oh, no fangs though?
I wanted spider fangs to get the tier 2 bow, so I was sad not to get any of those, but I defeated an orb weaver. A good effort. I realized I'd been using mutations that aren't very helpful for combat, so I made a second mutation loadout with extra health and block, and I tried to remember to switch between different loadouts for different situations. I killed another ladybug, and I guess I was feeling good after the victory over the orb weaver, because I decided to take on the wolf spider. It had a similar moveset, except it was faster, and it applied poison pretty much immediately, even if you blocked its attacks. Only perfect blocks would keep out the poison, and I certainly did not pull off a 100% perfect block record. This fight did not go particularly well for me. I next took on an orb weaver.
Oh, there's a baby too. Oh yeah, we got the big stun off.
The baby joined in, but this went surprisingly well, as I seemed to have the hang of the block timings. And I think more importantly, I had the tier 2 axe at my disposal now, and the increased damage from that made me feel much more confident.
A wolf spider is on a different level to an orb weaver. That is a true fact.
I figured an armor upgrade would have a huge impact, and it seemed the ladybug set would be simplest to get. I just needed more berry leather. After watching this epic battle, which the ladybug absolutely dominated, I killed the ladybug because I couldn't have her getting too cocky after her victory.
Problem is my armor is just breaking, man.
I chopped a weed.
Oh, this one made so many. They don't usually make that. What the hell?
And I finally realized.
Repair? Oh, I thought I had to get a special item to repair. Alright, let's just repair all this stuff. Oh, that was expensive.
Yes, you can repair items without a special tool. It just costs some materials. Also, maybe I should not have climbed into this milk carton.
Oh crap. Oh crap. I didn't want to fall down here. Oh, there's two? Great.
I managed to escape the fearsome duo, and then got revenge on them by shooting at them from atop a big rock. It was good to claim some valuable materials from their squishy corpses. And then I got assaulted by mosquitoes. I initially fought this one with a bow, before peeping it to discover mosquitoes are vulnerable to chopping. So I switched to my axe, and I worked out that these guys like to stab you with their big nose. Surprise, surprise. But when I got a perfect block, this one fell to the ground, giving me a chance to pretty much finish it off. But then another attacked, and somewhere in there I should have used a bandage to get some health back, but I guess I was a bit frantic. I took out the second, but then two more showed up and it was game over.
Getting swarmed.
I returned and got my vengeance. I knew I was going to need lots of ladybug parts to make and then repair the ladybug armor I wanted to wear, so I now killed these beautiful ladies on sight. And I figured an abundance of mozzie materials also would not hurt. So good night to yet another mosquito.
Big old bird. Crowtail feather. Oh, I can chop this.
Yes, indeed. My tier 2 axe was able to help me claim some crow feather pieces. Now that I was officially a destroyer of orb weavers, I destroyed some orb weavers.
Nice. Yeah, they definitely don't drop fangs though.
As you can see, I was back under the hedge, cleaning up some goodies with my newfound confidence, including taking out the nerds protecting the molar I'd spotted last time I was here. Delicious milk molar. I ventured back into the lab too, and claimed this cheeky mega milk molar upon the branch. I hadn't explored the ground below the hedge yet, so I decided to have a look-see, and I got in over my head when some juniors interrupted my fight with their mum. Very rude. I was able to respawn at a nearby field station though, and I got back to it. And I should mention the main goal of this mission was to collect berry chunks. Everything else was just me getting distracted. Before returning to pick up my dropped loot, I got distracted, checking over here. And how about that? There is a milk molar up there on that power plug. I tried climbing the cord up to it, but there was a thingo in the way. Also,
Mama said fight the power, rap mix.
Also, why must lava be so flamin' ugly? I don't like it.
How the hell do I get up there then? What is that? Is that a hot dog? A moldy hot dog here.
I chopped up the hot dog and claimed its bits, most of which were spoiled, but there was the odd fresh bite. Not too bad. I knew I needed all of the molars for 100%, so I left a marker next to this one and vowed to return. I had a good session collecting many berry chunks. I unlocked the chopper mutation, which improves axe attacks. I collected my fallen loot, and I fought this thing. I got excited about the debuff my new mutation was applying and forgot to watch my health.
Oh, it does. It reduces armor. I'm applying an armor debuff. It's glorious. Oh, what?
And I accidentally respawned at base. It actually doesn't take crazy long to get places if you just leg it with run speed buffs active, so it's all good. Also, I got revenge on this guy while he was stuck on a leaf. I found another molar in the other corner of the hedge area, and with that, I was pretty sure I'd found everything there was to find down here. But then I realized I needed to lift a burgle banner atop the bird bath over there, so I conspired to get on top of it. I traversed the hedge to eventually find this spot, where I crossed over to find a zipline anchor, but with no zipline attached. I had to make the connection myself. However, it was going to cost me 3 silk rope, and I had no rope on me, so sadly my adventure stopped short here. I fought a firefly on the way home, and it dropped a most glorious trinket. Some giddy goop.
Final hit in your 3-hit combo releases a spray of slowing goo. That could be cool.
And when I got home, I got wolf spidered again. I realized I randomly had some more achievements, and I was pretty sure I hadn't found 10 color schemes yet, so I was confused. But no matter, because I had a great volume of berry leather to make. With them, I was able to make all 3 pieces of the ladybug set. But then Steam started giving me more achievements, willy-nilly.
Bro, my game's gotta be bugging out. Okay, I've got a matching set of tier 2 armor. That's accurate. I haven't zipped across a teen-made zipline longer than 100 centimeters. I haven't been infused with 20 regular milk molars. I haven't achieved level 10 brain power. Wait, why is this bugging out? I'm level 7 brain power. It gave me the achievement to achieve level 10 brain power. Why?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but most of those achievements I would have unlocked naturally when just playing through the game. Though I'd have to remember to make a max coziness base later, because that sounds lovely. I used 3 milk molars to increase the amount of mutations I could have active, and a mega milk molar to increase my consumable items stack sizes. I played around with my mutations, and mainly added stamina bonuses to my loadouts with the new slot.
Got my axe with 1 upgrade on it. I got my tanky armor. I got my giddy goop, so I should get some like goop flowing. And we're gonna take on this big fella, because I want my molar.
This is not the big fella I was referring to, but as you can see, on every third attack, goop was flying everywhere thanks to my new trinket. It slows enemy movement and attack speed. This is the big fella I wanted to kill. It didn't work out.
Maybe I can't take on the wolf spider. Dude, he's crazy.
I'd gotten used to the slower attacks of the orb weaver, but it just wasn't working for me against this fella. I did slowly get better at timing the blocks, but even so, the poison damage was ripping through my health. On my third attempt, I was on fire. Perfect blocks willy-nilly. Parries you can ride home to your parents about. Defensive prowess never before seen. Except that one time I got hit and was poisoned, that was a bit rough. But I managed to defeat the nasty wolf.
I missed 1 parry, and I'm getting owned by the poison as a result.
Delicious milk molar.
See, there we go. I actually earned that one. I promise, guys, I have video proof that I actually earned that one.
With the spider fangs that dropped, I was able to make the tier 2 insect bow. And with the crow feather pieces I'd found, I was able to make tier 2 arrows. I'd found some more quartzite too, so I immediately upgraded my bow a couple of times. I did some hunting on day 21, just to stock up on materials, and I also made this mosquito needle, which provides lifesteal on hit. It was a solid stabby improvement over my dodgy spear. When I saw this wolf spider curled up in a hole, I thought, no worries.
Oh wait, wolf spider's the hard one, right? Oh, wait, I forgot.
Yeah, I mistook it for an orb weaver somehow. And though I defeated 1 wolf spider, I was not able to recreate the magic. Anyway, the reason I was wandering the wilds, dying like an idiot, is because I wanted to return once more to the hedge. More berry chunks wouldn't hurt. I stopped off at this field station to use the wolf spider milk molar to reduce my hunger, and thirst drain sounds nice. But mainly, I wanted to complete this zip line.
Wait, what? Where's my silk rope? Oh no.
Yeah, I forgot the silk rope. I believe what happened was I'd hit N to hot deposit items without thinking. And so I'd put the silk rope I'd intended to bring in a chest right before I left my base. So that was a waste of time. In other news, the mosquito needle was life-stealing all my health back when I was stabbing all these idiot lava. So that was nice. Also, look at all the goop flying everywhere.
Come at me, lava. I'll stab you in the face. All day long.
I ran all the way back to base, slept the night, and apparently I was sick of the hedge after my big fail, so I headed off to check out what was happening in this direction. Mosquitoes were one of the happening things. A floating can was another, and also ant spotted. I found another field station. It seemed once I found all of these, I'd have full coverage of the entire yard. This orb weaver was the guardian of this overturned pot, which yielded some loot, and a couple more orb weavers guarded the end of the oak fence. I quickly ran back to the foot of the oak to grab some acorn tops, which I used along with some stems to make a ladder, and with that I was atop the fence. And the Burgle banner here was raised high. Further west, there was plenty to explore, including a Burgle tech chip apparently. I continued that way, where I found another can, a big old Oreo, which I whacked with my hammer, and there was a mixer among the grass. I was feeling confident with my stabby poker of lifesteal, so I fired it up. And waves of red ant workers, red ant soldiers, and mites began attacking. There were quite a few, but the lifesteal on my needle was keeping me healthy, and the giddy goop did a lot of work as it slowed down all of their attacks.
Okay, that was kind of intense. Ant Annihilator rank 2.
At the top there, you can see a timer, and also the mixer's health bar. I simply needed to keep the attackers from destroying the mixer. The final assault was rather large, but my savage poking seemed capable of taking down infinite ants, so it was all good. And finally, the mixer was completed.
That was a ridiculous amount of ants.
I got the Blade Master and Guard Dog mutations while completing that. I took out a stink bug, but I decided to run from this one. However, I fled straight into a gaseous cloud of doom left over by the other stink bug I'd just killed.
Oh, what? I didn't... I'm so dumb, bro.
There were an abundance of red ants around, so I was assuming there was another red anthill somewhere, and I soon found it. Except my mosquito needle had broken by this point, and apparently I was completely useless without it. I respawned back at base so that I could repair it for the cost of 1 mosquito beak, and I got a terrifying warning.
Incoming payback. Orb Weaver spiders. Are you serious?
It's true that I am the destroyer of orb weavers, but I never thought they would be bold enough to seek revenge.
Oh, there's so many of them. Are they actually gonna attack my stuff? They're ignoring me. They're satisfied with that payback? Well, I'm gonna get payback for your payback. Oh, don't disappear into nowhere. They destroyed my stuff, man.
They destroyed my 2 spinning wheels. How rude.
A massive shovel? Wait, what? What is that? What is this? Infected lava? Oh dear. What is this stuff?
The gaseous cloud is the haze, a toxic gas that covers this section of the map. And apparently, the creatures here are suffering from some kind of fungal infection.
Gathering around my bag. Give me that.
That haze area was south of the red anthill I'd found. I stayed clear for now, and instead attempted to collect all my loot while 300 ants attacked me. It was good to fight some mosquitoes on the way home, because I wanted more of their beaks to ensure I was able to repair my beloved needle, and on the way I also paid a visit to this garden gnome. It was holding something weird. I found a milk bowler at the foot of the retaining wall, and this thingo.
Oh wait, what the hell? I can draw? I would like to draw on it, but I don't want to get owned.
Check out the beautiful yellow line I drew. It's quite straight. So with that little adventure, I'd scattered west a little. But on day 24, I decided I'd better investigate what was right on my doorstep. The world below the water.
Diving bell spider. Weak to slashing.
There were a couple of items I could make to increase my underwater breathing capacity and my swim speed, but to make them, I needed materials found underwater. While I was hunting for those materials, these plants that gave off oxygen bubbles were my friend. But have I mentioned that there was a koi down here intent on eating me?
Can I kill the koi? It's got all these scratches on it.
With some choice stabs, I took out a boatman.
Yes. What a boatman fin.
I stabbed a tadpole too, and one of the diving bell spiders. I'd been terrified of these guys earlier, but it turned out they weren't that much of a threat.
Get some.
After clearing out a few of the spiders and stabbing this absolutely hideous water flea,
Why are water fleas so terrifying looking?
I dived a little deeper.
But I'm gonna run out of oxygen is my concern.
A valid concern, but I soon spied a tube with bubbles of air coming out of it, and using it, I was able to stay alive down here. However, the koi was trying to eat me again.
That was so outrageously rude.
I collected more eelgrass, but what I really wanted was a sunken bone. But then I realized something.
I thought I could only make a bubble helmet. I didn't realize there's a tier 1 one. Okay, I can make a gill tube.
I analyzed the underwater loot I'd amassed and learned how to make a bone dagger and trident. I used the milk molder I'd found, and I mounted this handsome tadpole on a wall in my base. After a quick crafting session, I re-entered the water with a gill tube and fin flippers equipped.
I'm so much faster. This is crazy.
And as you can see, my breath capacity had doubled to 80 seconds. It was obviously now much easier to explore down here.
I need to make a trident so I can stab nerds underwater.
I needed sunken bones for the bone trident and dagger, as well as the bubble helmet, which I assumed would provide an even greater boost to my breath capacity, so I was looking for those. I found evidence of Wendell's shenanigans, including a big funky dome thing, but I was unable to find a way to enter the pond lab. And I continued making use of the cheeky air bubbles to extend my dive time.
I can parry all of you all day. Every day. No worries.
That might actually be the most impressive parrying spree of the entire playthrough. So behold it and weep tears of joy. I obsessively collected eelgrass and nearly died.
Give me a bubble, please. Dude, why did no bubble come? Oh, the last possible second, for goodness sake, dude.
I found Wendell's wife's wedding ring, and I thought it was an interesting spot to keep it, but fair enough, every marriage is different.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm confused. How do I get into any of this stuff? No, dude. Don't be silly. Requires a higher tier tool. No. Is that a molar?
Yeah, I was looking for ages, and then I realized one of the hatches I'd seen earlier wasn't actually locked.
Oh, what? This one actually opened? How did I pull that off?
I'd finally found a way into the lab. Nah, just kidding, joke's on me. It just led to a room with a locked door.
Could this be helpful? Depths mouth. Mutation discovered, Myrtine. So there's a deeper area. Surely that's where I have to go, right?
The Myrtine mutation improves swim speed and breath capacity. Great news. But if I was heading into the depths, I was going to need some light. And you may be aware that fire torches do not work well underwater. So I returned to my base and made these funky slime mold torches. And so began my quest to conquer the depths. Spoiler alert, it was a bit of a ridiculous quest. I discovered killing a diving bell spider replenished heaps of my oxygen somehow. So I noted that as potentially useful. And there seemed to be some serious business over here.
Are there sunken bones down here?
My friend, there are indeed sunken bones down in the depths, and with a dig of my shovel, I was able to claim my first.
Okay, so this is part of the lab. Oh, dude, this is crazy. Is there oxygen for me? Can I breathe through? Oh, that shoots me up. Oh, gosh. Where am I going to get oxygen?
Yeah, I drowned. I'd believed in my heart that the game would give me an obvious source of oxygen, but no. Either that or I was too dumb to find it. I headed straight back down and I found another bone and a koi fish scale this time too. And I found my way into this wreck hoping to find a pocket of oxygen. I found a dead dude, a custom scabby, and some lovely corpse loot, but honestly that was just a distraction that caused yet another drowning. The corpse had a trinket for me, the toxicology badge, but I chose not to use it, and I was relieved to see the game had shown mercy on me. My dropped bags of death loot had floated up to the surface. surface, so it was easy to recover all my goodies. I made 2 liquid gills smoothies, which I hoped would help me with my underwater breathing issues, and I used the 2 sunken bones I'd found so far to make a bone dagger. I headed back down again, and I was struggling. When my O2 got low, I drank the gill smoothie, but it did nothing. I think you're supposed to drink it before you dive. Classic.
Anything exciting on the big scuba duper?
I drank the liquid gills smoothie before diving this time, and as you can see, that bumped my max O2 up to 112.
I got the better dagger now. Maybe die really fast. You do die really fast.
The bone dagger proved its usefulness, and this time I didn't even bother looking for an entrance or a place to get O2. I just collected as many sunken bones as I could. I did find this random locked chest though. I of course drowned, but the buoyancy delivery service brought me my sunken bones, and I was able to make the bubble helmet and bone trident.
Okay, for the 57th time.
With the bubble helmet, my max O2 had risen to a whopping 3 minutes. Surely I could find what I needed to find in 3 whole minutes. But this whole time I had been thinking, and I still assumed, that my destination was at the other end of this passage with the funky light thingos. With my extra O2 timer, and also because I didn't get distracted by sunken bones this time, I made it quite far along.
The fans are pushing me this way. Wait, what? Is this where I was supposed to go the whole time? A, B, and C. Oh man, this is where I was meant to go the whole time anyway. Did I come in like the wrong end?
I was already in the right area. I just needed to look around properly. Turns out there was a rather hard to miss entrance above me the entire time. I swam through, slapped the biometric scanner, and finally I was in. That wasn't so hard. I found a tape and some documents indicating that this lab had some Brussels sprouts testing going on. That's random. And I flicked the power switch, but judging by the giant error sign telling me the breakers needed resetting, I worked out that I should probably reset the breakers. There was an arca in here, which shot cheeky orbs of electricity at me, except to save bag space, I hadn't brought my hammer, so I had to swipe at it with my dinky little dagger. I'd spotted one of the breakers outside earlier, so I flicked that one quickly, and the second I found in the same wreckage as the dead guy, and I found a milk molar in there too. The final one was nestled back here among some roots. With that, this hatch up here had been opened, and I had some exploring to do.
What's that? Password? I need the password again? What am I gonna have to fight though? Clearly I need to go down this way, but it's pitch black.
All of my waterproof torches had broken, so I deliberately drowned. This was much quicker than swimming back up. I put this hideous thing on my wall of horrors here. I made a bunch of slime mold torches. I remembered this molar from earlier, but I had my bone dagger now, so this time I claimed it. And before long, I was back in the lab and swimming. After getting extremely confused in the dark, tight spaces, and assaulted by a handsome leggy man, I found my way into this area. I claimed some loot. I found a Tully tape in which Wendell admitted that the shrinking process appeared to have made him age faster. And I mashed the keys on this terminal.
Biodome auto mode. Reboot Biodome terminal.
Mashing those keys had opened some new doors, so off I went to whack these guys. I'd brought my hammer this time, so it was much easier, and I soon found myself in the biodome, where there were some more robots to donk on the noggin. I climbed the ramp and observed a most glorious vegetable, a mussel sprout. There were 30 in fact, and I stole all of them. They can be used as a base for smoothies. The super chip and another duper disc were mine to claim too, and I listened to a tape from our mate Wendell, who admitted his work was stealing him away from his family. He'd missed Thanksgiving dinner, as he was too busy being a shrunken maniac in the backyard.
What's this though?
Remember that weird dome I'd found while swimming in the pond? Well, that was the cover for the biodome, and now it was open. As were these hatches that made it easier to travel around the pond.
This is cool though, dude. This is really cool. I actually did the pond lab. I was so stressed about it, and I just did it. It's all good.
The whole underwater nonsense had been giving me Subnautica flashbacks, and I'd been expecting some kind of fearsome boss, but no worries, mission success.
It requires a ceiling. I'm gonna make a stuffed tadpole because I have a quest, so I might as well. It dangles. That's cool. Rub for luck. Oh, increase the drop rate. Wait, what? What did you just say? It said something about drop rate. Loot luck harmless. More likely to obtain rare resources from creatures.
I also discovered that interacting with the mounted heads marks that foe, increasing my damage against them for 15 minutes. So these decorations were actually more than just pretty to look at.
The base is definitely going to be up there, and we're going to zip line all over the garden. I think that's what we need to do.
And so I got to work. I first beautified my random structure here and decided it could be a platform for a zipline anchor. I even whipped out some scaffolding so that I could make pillars, because I figured structural integrity was important. This philosophy soon disappeared, but for now I was being very responsible. It looks good, no doubt. I even added some lighting. On day 30, I had to figure out how the heck I was going to make my oak tree base a reality. I started with a platform on the rock right outside the lab, and my plan was to build a giant ladder. So I brought my stem pallet over and I built a a flamin' tall ladder. But that was as high as I could get it, because at that height I couldn't reach the stems in storage below anymore, and I couldn't make any more sections of the ladder because you can't climb a ladder while carrying stems.
I mean, I'm close to the height I want to do. I kind of want to go like just above those mushrooms.
I then remembered I'd totally forgotten to give Burgle the pond super chip, so I did, and he shoved it into his head. It reminded him that the embiggening cell had been destroyed, and it's pretty important because it stops the person being embiggened from overexpanding.
Overexpansion will cause bioorganic subjects, such as yourself, to pop like a gremlin in a microwave. Scientifically speaking, of course.
The good news was that Burgle had a spare embiggening cell. The bad news was that it needed to be filled with the embiggening cocktail in order to work properly, and Burgle could not remember how to make the cocktail. I needed to track down the other super chips in the Haze and Black Ant labs for that. I also told Burgle about the dream I'd had, and Burgle said Dr. Tully used to work for Ominent, so they were sort of in a race researching the shrinking shenanigans, I guess. Dr. Tully in his backyard and Ominent at their facility, and I was a test subject in Ominent's research. That night, I had another dream. I was strapped down, and they'd evidently been conducting some of those tests on me, and they were happy that my vitals appeared to be stable.
Sorry to crash your party. The Defense Department has arrived early to discuss Project Orc. The director needs you to be present at the meeting.
Not sure what's worse, our director or a 3-hour meeting with the military.
Look at those fingernails, man. Those are weird fingernails.
So I guess Ominent was trying to sell the shrinking tech to the military. Sounds fun. And you know what else is fun? A big ladder collapse.
Oh yeah.
I next tried using a big spiral staircase in the same spot. And I should mention these building efforts required constant acorn part and stem collection. Like a heck of a lot of collecting.
Getting a headache trying to walk up this spiral thing.
Yeah, it's a little bit nauseating with a mild risk of falling.
Trial and error, silly willies.
It was time for another collapse, because the plan that ended up making the most sense was a good old-fashioned giant staircase of glory. And for some reason, I decided I wanted the floor up there to be made of stems too. So I was destroying weeds willy-nilly. Grass floors would have been way easier, as grass is more plentiful, but the weeds seemed to respawn every day or two, so it wasn't too bad. I ended up with several stem pallets that I kept at the foot of the stairs. And I even drank a smoothie that increased my hauling strength a little, and thanks to the glorious relocate function, I was able to easily move a full pallet up the stairs, no worries. And so the platform at the top began to grow, and I began relocating all my stuff up high in the tree base. I set up my first zip line, a relatively pointless zip line because I could run down the stairs almost as quickly, but I needed to use my juice box building somehow. Destroying it would have just been rude. Basically, the goal with this base was to make it higher than everything else in the yard, such that I could build effective zip lines anywhere and everywhere. I still slept through each night, by the way, so before long it was day 33 and I was still moving stuff upstairs. I was chopping down weeds as soon as they respawned, and eventually all the workstations and machines had been moved, and the new base was officially established. However, you may have noticed there was something dodgy about the base I'd made. It was all being held up by one rickety staircase, so if any of the pieces of that staircase broke, the entire thing would come crashing down. But it'll be fine. With the base established and ready for zip lines to be set up, it was time to get back on the move, and to finally return to the hedge. You may find it hard to believe, but I actually remembered to bring the silk rope with me this time, so I was able to zip line over and carefully walk along this branch to at long last arrive atop the bird bath. Some mozzies were lurking, enjoying the standing water, so I took on a couple of those in my time here, and I also raised the Burgle flag, claimed some berry chunks, and a mega milk molar too. As the sun rose, I drifted down upon a dandelion tuft, and I set up a zipline anchor on this root here, which I was able to connect to the zipline anchor in my new base all the way back at the oak tree. My next objective was the molar on the power plug, except I'd forgotten to bring my ant armor, so I had to haul building materials 5 at a time, but I eventually built a lovely staircase to glory, and another molar was cracked. I then realized I could have made a clay ramp, and since clay can be held in your inventory, this might have been more convenient, but whatever. I took out some bombardier beetles on the way out, and they quickly fell to the chops of my tier 2 axe. I collected a bunch of clay too.
Alright, so it connected, and we can just build it. Boom. I've now got a route all the way over to the hedge.
I set up a sap collector on the oak tree. I got in a fight with a bee and I'm pretty sure it shot pollen at me. And I learned it's probably a bad idea to pick a fight while inside your base.
Oh no! No! Why did I enrage the bee?
I got all the materials back, so it wasn't actually that big of a deal. I finally made a cookery using one of the boiling glands I'd stolen from a bombardier beetle, but I couldn't cook anything yet. And I made a jerky rack too. I bought the hedge cookbook from the science shop, and this unlocked Lavanya, which gives plus crit chance, so I got a few of those cooking.
Oh, it doesn't stack? Why does it not stack?
They spoil over time too, so I think I cooked too many. Eating one, of course, gave me the crit chance buff, but also the meal buff, which stops your hunger from depleting for a while, and the well-fed buff, buff, which gives a bit of health regen. I next headed back out west, squishing anyone and everyone on the way, and it was time to venture into this red anthill. I of course donned my red ant armor, so the silly ants viewed me as a friend, and I had free reign to explore their meandering tunnel network. I found a molar, I stole some red ant eggs when no one was looking, and my exploring soon led me to a rather large royal.
Oh. Oh. Who are you? Red Ant Queen? No way.
I assumed I was in for a boss fight, and I didn't fancy my chances, but I figured I might as well try. But it turns out the queen didn't want to fight. There were a bunch of offerings around, with a warning not to steal.
Offer treat. Wait, what? Juicy mushroom sandwich. What the heck?
No fighting allowed, only juicy mushroom sandwiches. I continued exploring, claiming plenty of upgrade shards as I went, and eventually all of my torches broke, so my exploration became slightly more difficult.
Surely this thing is down here.
The main reason I was here was to find the burgle chip, and soon enough I found a promising looking hole, down which I jumped. The ants appeared to be hoarding all manner of crumbs down here, so I claimed a bunch of those because I love snacks, but they'd also hidden away the chip, which I was delighted to get my hands on. I used the molar I'd found to unlock another mutation slot, and when I got back to base, the ant eggs I'd stolen began to hatch. One of the newly born ants picked up its bro's egg and ran off down my giant staircase. It was great stuff. I gave Burgle the chip, and some new options became available at the science shop. I picked up the fiber bandage efficiency upgrade to make fiber bandages cheaper to make, the canteen upgrade, and the buff lungs mutation, which increases your stamina. I spent much of day 36 chopping down weeds, with some spider chopping sprinkled in, and the work continued into day 37 as I continued building out the oak tree platform. I considered making another level out of grass, but I decided I hated it and tore it down. And while my goal was to make a big fancy looking base up here, I began to realize how flamin' long that would take. So I lost confidence and decided a big platform would do for now. I felt like I had unfinished business in the pond, so down I went to check out a few things. I first wanted to see what was in the hatches that had opened up. The first I visited had nothing much happening except a door that I could not open.
Assistant manager keycard.
And what should I find in the other hatch but a little bit of loot, and on the other side of the glass a ton of loot, and another door requiring the mysterious keycard. I guess I'll have to come back to the pond later. I next found a different way down deeper, all the way on the opposite end of the pond.
This is the other entrance to the depths that I could never find.
As you can see, it featured a lovely T-Rex. And the main reason I'd come down this way...
I don't really care about anything except the chip. Here somewhere. Oh, it must be in this chest. Where do I get the mossy key?
Yes, indeed, there was yet another burgle chip down here, but the mossy key was a mystery. Since it was mossy, I assumed it had to be down here somewhere, so I looked around but eventually gave up and searched up a guide.
I was not going to find that without a cheeky Google.
It was a rather inconspicuous cave into which I swam, and after taking out a couple of spiders, I claimed the mossy key. I opened up the chest and found a mega milk molar, and of course the sunken outpost burgle chip. On the way home, I died to a wolf spider for old time's sake, and after handing the chip over to Burgle, I made a couple more purchases at the science shop. Most notably, I unlocked the Splat Burst, which is the upgraded version of a bomb that I wasn't even able to make yet. I'd amassed a decent pile of upgrade materials in my recent travels, so I upgraded my axe all the way to level 5.
Oh, I need mighty globs next? Wait, what? Ah, you can make it mighty, fresh, salty, sour, spicy. And then that works better against specific enemy types. Very interesting.
I leveled my ladybug gear up to level 5 too.
Bulky or sleek? Bulky is just higher defense. Sleek, more healing.
So for armor, if you choose to give it a sleek upgrade, it gives extra bonuses depending on the armor piece. For the ladybug set, it was indeed plus healing, but for other sets, you can get many intriguing perks as you'll see later. For now though, I couldn't go beyond level 5 gear as I lacked the upgrade materials, but level 5 was still a very juicy 25% defense on armor, 25% damage on weapons, and 25% durability too. So this upgrading spree definitely made me a lot stronger. Remember that elusive molar in the first Red Ant Hill? I wanted to build a ladder to get to it.
No land rights. What are you talking about, bro?
Apparently, it was against the law for me to build in here. So I googled it and discovered it could be accessed from the other direction, through the tunnel connecting to the Oak Lab breach. I had a bit of a swim here first, but decided I was probably gonna drown, so I backed out. And I finally made my way to the cheeky molar. And so I was able to cross it off the rather long list of molars I still needed to collect to reach 100% completion. The next day, I returned with all my swimming gear and I braved the underwater passage, where I found another milk molar, I fought a couple of uglies, and I claimed a mega milk molar too. It appeared exploring thoroughly was paying off, and I also discovered the water here connected back into the pond. How about that? I decided I wanted to prove myself against a wolf spider again, except an uninvited orb weaver joined in, and for some reason I didn't use any healing items even though I had 11 bandages on me. Anyway, it didn't work out for me.
Why did I have to get both of them at once?
I took on the wolf spider again, alone this time, and my recent gear upgrades certainly made me feel a lot stronger. I occasionally smacked bypassing ladybugs in order to keep a stock of ladybug parts with which to repair my armor. I of course had regular visits to base where I stored many goodies and crafted too, and at this point I decided it was time to venture further than I'd gone before. It seemed my next target should be the super chip in the haze, but for that I was gonna need a gas mask, and for that I needed gnat fuzz. And to get gnat fuzz I had to go to that swampy area near the hedge. Except the gnats did not fly at me like idiots this time, which was inconvenient because I instead had to shoot at them with my questionable archery skills. But before long I had a good stack of fuzz to return home with. Also, look how easily I destroyed this bombardier beetle with my level 5 tier 2 axe. It's always a delight to feel stronger after an upgrade. I made the all-important gas mask, and I built out this way a little because I wanted to set up a zip line in this direction. Soon enough I placed an anchor atop the log wall, which was able to connect back to base. I did a little more building, and on day 41 I zoomed down my new zip line to begin an adventure out west. I wandered over to these stones from which I spied a great many bees hovering around this picnic table, and there are always plenty of goodies to find, so I was methodical as I bounced between the stones exploring.
Busted jam, dance mix. A banana up there?
That banana convinced me. I decided I had to go investigate the picnic table more closely.
Leaning shovel.
There was a big rock next to the leaning shovel that could be blown up with explosives.
So what's the deal with this big old... What the heck? Is it chewing gum?
I found a milk molar bottle under the table, from which I claimed a molar. I found the remnants of an apple, yet another empty beverage can, and this massive crab thing was looking menacing in the area south of the picnic table.
Is that a peanut? Oh, no, it's a spade.
Down below the peanut spade was an exposed pipe with a crack in it, through which I entered to find some upgrade materials, always a gratifying find, and there was a way to swim further through, so off I went and began cutting through these roots.
What do we got here? Did I just find a key?
Yes indeed, this interesting looking key was the Minotaur Maze key. With that, I felt I'd reasonably thoroughly explored the area around the picnic table, and it seemed the way to get up to the table was to blow up this rock, because presumably the shovel would fall and act as a ramp I could climb. So I needed a bomb, and to make a bomb I needed fungal growths, but I wasn't sure where to get those, so I reverted to my original plan, which was to enter the haze with my gas mask on. The haze certainly had a degree of spookiness going on, but it also appeared to have exactly what I was after.
I think that's what I need, right? The fungal growth is what I need.
There were infected variants of some of the friends I'd encountered back in the grasslands. For example, these infected mites were much harder to kill than regular old mites. But they dropped fungal growth for me, so I was a big fan.
Oh, what are you? Oh! What the heck? Oh dear. Infect a ladybug.
Aside from shooting out random globs of explosive nonsense, the ladybug behaves similarly to regular ladybugs, except with more health and extremely impressive swirly eyeballs. I'd upgraded my axe because I was fighting so many enemies weak to chopping, but this made me think I'd better upgrade my hammer too. I found a field station with disturbing explosive fungus out the front of it, which was slightly hazardous, and if you can avoid getting blown up, it's always good to claim a cheeky 500 raw science. I ventured down this way where I claimed a milk molar, I took on some infected lava, and I whacked a fresh mint. This exploded into mint shards, so it seemed I might be able to make fresh weapons soon. There was a crow feather down here, so I chopped it into pieces, but I've got to admit, exploring the haze as night fell wasn't exactly my favorite activity, and when I was swarmed by a few infected lava, I died again. Apparently I just refused to use bandages during combat. I respawned at the field station nearby and kept at it, and I soon discovered the haze lab, apparently, except I couldn't see it anywhere. All I could see was haze, but no lab.
Can't see anything, dude. Oh, what is this? This is concerning.
Yeah, that is a big nope. Spoiler alert, there's a rather difficult boss in there, so a big nope was wise. I continued searching about, and I ended up under the stairs of the back porch where I found a mixer, some delicious bubble gum, and I even found a way to get on top of the first stair by climbing a stick.
It says that the super chip is here, so clearly it has to be below me, right?
This thing was inviting me to climb it, so of course I climbed, all the way atop this canister.
Scientist at work, watch your step, what?
From here I could see that the giant crab thing was a sand pit, and I discovered this canister was the source of the deadly haze. There was a burgle flag to raise up here too, and my character's voice line had suggested something sticky might be able to plug up the crack in the canister and end the haze, so I figured some gum was my answer, but upon trying to collect some, I discovered I needed a tier 2 shovel, so that'd have to wait as I was still rocking my tier 1. And then I finally spotted the lab entrance that that I'd completely missed in the darkness last night. I needed a bomb to blow my way in.
I need to get out of here and establish explosives.
On my way out, I came across a rake, and you know what you've got to do when you see something enormous and climbable. It got me up on top of this big rock, where I found a custom scabby and some raw science, along with some fungusy friends. Over at the base of this paint tin, I found another custom scabby. As you can tell, I was certainly distracted exploring close to the deck here, and that continued as I took on a wolf spider and stole the milk molar he'd been guarding, and from there my exploration became so sophisticated that I ended up back where I started at the very beginning of the game, and I literally did not realize until I saw the briefcase right in front of me. And then I got carried away with what I look back on as a completely unnecessary building project. I decided I wanted a base of operations out this way near the picnic table, just north of the haze, but I think if I just set up a zipline on this stone, that would have been good enough. But nope, I got way too invested in building a grass structure of glory. I took on a couple of interloping wolf spiders in this process, which I want to include in the story because I'm worried I've been showing you all of my deaths, and not that many of my successful combat efforts. And I'd hate to give the impression that I'm a massive noob, when clearly I am a god tier gamer. I defeated a lot of grass too, and on day 43 I had a lovely little structure coming along. It was somewhere to set up a workable table and some storage at least. I then ventured into the red anthill to steal some eggs, but I have a feeling it was unwise to purloin them right next to a horde of ants, because I ended up having to kill a literal horde of ants.
This is why you don't fight ants in an ant's nest. I may have killed every ant in the universe though.
Just as well I had the trusty Mozzie needle to give me infinite lifesteal. I was able to steal 6 red ant eggs while down there, and when I emerged, that allowed me to craft 6 brat burst.
Yes! Finally.
I of course had bombing business to do down in the haze, but I was inclined to topple a shovel first.
Hell yeah. We did it. We exploded. I can get on the table. Maybe I'll learn how to make a tier 2 shovel from this area. You drunk, B? Been feasting on banana.
The usual suspects were up on the seat of this picnic table, a juice box and some disposable eating utensils. But this black ant worker was unusual. I'd never seen one of these before. I spied a zipline anchor up on the table, but that wasn't much use because even atop the handle of the shovel, it didn't seem like I could ascend any further. So I did what any sensible tiny person would do. I brought a bunch of grass and stems up here and made some stairs. I once again did not have my red ant gear with me, so this took ages. But when this bee got angry at me, I came up with an ingenious plan. I died on purpose. I definitely did not get owned by a bee. I died on purpose, I promise, because this allowed me to respawn at the field station on the top of the table. And that saved me about 0 seconds because I'd already made my giant staircase. Anyway, I analyzed the black ant part I'd just found, and I began exploring the tabletop. And it appeared a board game of some description was set up here. I used 5 milk molars to unlock my 5th and final mutation slot, so I was now as mutated as possible. I continued to mainly use defensive and stamina boosting mutations, run speed and harvesting mutations when exploring, and mutations that benefited specific weapons when fighting. The only other major mutation switching I did was when fighting poisonous enemies. I made sure to switch the poison resistance mutation. As you can see, I jumped down and claimed a milk molar from this lunchbox, and then I resumed my exploration of the table. The fancy fletching trinket dropped from this crow feather. It makes shooting arrows less exhausting, but I was a big fan of the Giddy Goop trinket, so I wasn't interested in switching out. Long live Giddy Goop. I wandered into the maze of the board game, in which I spied a most outrageous looking man-ant monstrosity, in statue form thankfully, and it wasn't a particularly large maze, so I was soon at its end. I enraged a couple of bees and managed to take them out without dying, which I'm sure you'll agree is very impressive, and then that Minotaur key I'd found in the pipe came in handy as I was able to open up this resplendent chest.
And we're in. Oh, it's one of these molars. One of the mega molars. Yes!
There were some upgrade materials, a scabby, and of course a burgle chip too.
I just realized I wasn't wearing these for those fights.
I took out some bees while actually wearing my good armor this time, which I think helped, and I decided I must see what was in the can, and what was in the honey jar too. So I brought some building materials all the way up here. The honey was so viscous my tiny body didn't even sink into it, and the can was not easy to get into, but I was eventually able to build some stairs at a weird angle, which allowed me to duck my way in to claim a rather juicy 1000 raw science. After that, I cruised on down and jogged it all the way back to the Oak Lab, where some analyzing earned me a level up.
Black ant sword and shovel. Oh, there's the shovel.
I gave Burgle the auxiliary chip I'd claimed from the picnic table, and this added some very nice options to the science shop.
Oh, I can scan for milk molars. That is good. Mint mace. A giant club crafted from a chunk of fresh mints. Deals fresh damage, but useless for busting. Look at the damage on it, dude. It has insane damage and stun.
I couldn't make the mint mace just yet. Some of the materials in its recipe were beyond me, but being able to scan for milk molars was immediately useful. In fact, as you can see in the bottom left there, it detected one nearby straight away, though I couldn't find where it was. I assumed it was above me, where those wolf spiders lurk under the oak. After some busy work around the base, I saw something outrageous.
What the heck are you doing, dude? Stop levitating. It's illegal.
And then I zoomed back out west.
You're detecting a molar. Oh, up there. I see it. Good job, molar scanner thinger.
As I said, the molar scanner proved itself absolutely fantastic. And as I mentioned earlier, I needed every single one of these 100 plus molars as a part of achieving 100%. And now I was going to find way more organically, thanks to the scanner, meaning I'd hopefully have much less of a scavenger hunt to find the leftovers at the end of the game. I placed a zipline anchor here and tried connecting it to my oak tree base, but it said the connection was blocked, and I assumed this was because it wasn't high enough off the ground. So I got busy making my house a little taller. I eventually had it looking like this, but when I placed the zipline anchor on top, it still refused to connect. I then realized this was probably because the anchors I had up on the tree were around the other side of the tree. The vectors just weren't happening. Well, at least my janky house looked incredible, and not janky at all. At this point, I got fixated on finishing this building off properly, and considering my main base was an extremely dodgy floating platform of death, I think my building priorities were a little off. Nonetheless, I was determined.
Well, this building is pretty much done. I just need some sap for these little windowsill. Well, not really windowsills, these awning things. I can link a big old zip line once I build it on the tree, but why did I do this?
It looks great though, no one can deny.
Comfortably one of the ugliest buildings ever. It's very disappointing.
I returned to base and made the sticky Audi platform even longer, and that allowed me to get a connection over to the new zipline anchor on the stone out west.
Just leave it like that for now. It's not ideal, but whatever.
I cooked some meals in preparation for an adventure, and in the morning I zipped on down. And I noticed something about my house here.
It kind of looks like a weird dude with a mustache. I love it.
I marched south into the haze, and my new molar scanner came in handy once again as it led me to an area of the gassy region that I obviously missed earlier.
Supreme marble.
That is the highest tier of upgrade material, but I couldn't crack it just yet. For now, I blew my way into the haze lab at long last. These infected gnats kept knocking my weapon out of my hands, so I just punched them, and then I slapped the biometric scanner and I was in. As always, there was loot to claim, and as I continued through the haze, some robots to bonk on the head.
Explodey idiots. Oh dear.
Yeah, that is a decent amount of explosive fungus. This is when I realized I could destroy the haze fungus with my axe, so I did a bit of that to clear the way.
Okay. Mushrooms that talk. Edible, sponsored by Slapshot. Mushrooms were telling Wendell he was so smart. A recipe detailing how to cook the Red Ant Queen's favorite food, laced with poison. Do I want to kill the Red Ant Queen? That feels abusive.
I flicked this big switch, which opened a door, apparently. I found a tape revealing that Wendell had been trying to reverse the cell age in mushrooms, as he hoped that would lead to a cure for him, somehow. It seemed like he was going a little crazy.
I just need these blasted shrooms to reveal their secrets to me.
This passage led to water, and I ended up in a pipe with some roots that needed slashing, but once through I arrived at the door I'd just opened. I found a document revealing that Wendell's experiments on mushrooms had led to the fungal mutations plaguing the creatures in the haze. And through here I had to fight a few of those afflicted creatures. An infected ladybug and some infected mites. I just ignored the mites until the big girl was dead.
You little idiots. Yeah, I mean every single one of this guy's experiments just went not great. You know? He had a bad track record. Slap that, man. Slap it.
With that, I was through to the room with the juiciest of loot, and some more info about the source of the haze.
Complete the lab lockdown, blast the canister per protocol, and meet me in the Black Ant Lab.
I thought the haze coming from the canister was what was causing the mutation. So Wendell caused the mutations before the haze ever was a thing. Caused the haze to try and kill them off, but it evidently didn't work. Wendell, you're out of control, bro.
I claimed a third duper disc, and more importantly, the haze super chip.
We did it, baby.
I decided to explore further down the pipe, but I didn't have any of my swimming gear with me. These spiders at least gave me some breath back.
Oh, this was a bad idea. They didn't give oxygen. No, I'm dead. I'm dead. Why did I try that? So dumb.
I gave Rainbow Moustache the third super chip, which reminded him of some of the embiggening cocktail recipe, but not all of it.
One more super chip down here. I haven't even been up here though. Like, what is all this crap?
The haze chip also allowed me to purchase advanced production buildings, the haze cookbook, and I bought the scabby scanner too. I then went to bed.
Oh. That's another dream.
Dr. Schmechter, these...
Director.
Director Schmechter.
Director Schmechter.
These specimens are the breakthrough we've been looking for, just like you predicted.
Now then, what progress has been made on covalent space expansion? How did Dr. Wendell Tully, a lifetime failure, best the brightest minds at Ominent?
Yes, sir. We're still working on that formula. I know it's been months, but the embiggen process is far more complicated and dangerous than we predicted.
Ugh. Too bad for you, little ones. Prepare the specimens for termination.
Director Schmechter. What a ruthless fella.
I returned to where I died, wearing my swimming gear this time, and I found a mega milk molar, which I was pleased about.
Worth the terror of underwater darkness and death.
And the pipe eventually popped me out all the way over on the edge of the haze, next to the crab sand pit. I ran further south as I approached the bottom left corner of the map, where the final super chip awaited me in the Black Ant lab.
What is this? Oh, it's trash bags. Oh, there's so many ants, dude.
As always, I first attempted to explore the area as thoroughly as possible.
Why is this apple toxic?
I found a crushed can, and an overturned bin had made a considerable mess here.
The ants are looking at me funny. Yo, all this food's stinky, man.
I popped on my gas mask and headed into the garbage, where I found a mega milk molar. I saw a battery had been thrown out, which is a little irresponsible, and I was in love with my milk molar scanner.
The scanner's so good, you kind of know, but you don't have to look around like an absolute dingus.
I climbed up on top of the overturned trash can, from which I was able to jump over onto this thing, and then I climbed up a shovel onto this bin, where I found another tooth. Also, this gnat was meaty.
Meaty gnats are stinky.
It didn't seem like I'd be able to climb across to the other trash bags, so I returned to the ground and continued exploring.
Oh. Sickly roly-poly. Should I try fight it? It's weak to busting and spicy.
I found a field station, and upon finding it, my natural explorer mutation leveled up, which was great news, because that meant more run speed. And I continued to find these data tapes and docs, by the way. I didn't know it at this point, but I actually needed to find all of these data items to achieve 100%, so it was good I grabbed them. I'm not bothering to summarize all of them though, just the most pertinent ones. I claimed a scabby and some mint shards from this overturned cooler, and as I continued exploring around the far side of the big bags of garbage, I noticed a recipe in my crafting menu.
Oh, hang on. Wait, what? I unlocked the ability to make the embiggening cocktail. Berry leather, koi fish scale, gum nugget, whatever that is. Okay, so this is expensive.
I found another molar behind this open yoked girth packaging, and I peeped my first black soldier ant. I took one on, using the same stab like a maniac strategy I was fond of using against the red ants, and it was effective, though the black ants certainly have a lot more health than the red. I climbed upon a coiled up hose, and in the early hours of the morning I bravely attacked a big fella.
Come on, big fella. Bring it on. Don't roll at me. Get blocked.
This turned out better than I'd expected, though when I missed a block I suffered a fair bit of damage.
Oh yeah, we stunned him. He's on his back like a big idiot.
And so I successfully murdered a sickly insect. I then accidentally enraged some black ants and got stuck in what felt like a never-ending battle. But then I realized I actually needed black ant parts, so I embraced the chaos and farmed up some delicious materials. Once I had what I wanted, I ran off to craft some stuff. But on the way, my scanner detected a scabby somewhere near here. But I could not find it for the life of me. It felt like I was being trolled. I ran all the way back to the Oak lab, where I analyzed sickly roly-poly parts and then got trolled by the scanner again, because I was desperate to find the mysterious molar. Ultimately, my searching confirmed what I'd guessed earlier. Surely the mystery molar had to be in here with the wolves. I didn't try and get it just yet. I used the black ant parts I'd collected to make the full black ant armor set, because I'd assumed it would let me blend in with the black ants.
It's giving me a pincushion bonus, which reflects damage back. Unlike the red ant set, it's not gonna make me invisible amongst the black ants. They're too smart for that.
Oh well, it was worth a shot, and the trip to base gave me a chance to restock and repair.
You look kind of a little bit scary in this outfit, but I rate it.
I ran back to that corner of the map and attempted to run up an almost vertical hose. It didn't work out for me. I'd wanted to set up a zipline anchor up there, but I settled for putting it on this step.
So that will be from there to there, my connection to this corner of the map.
I was offended that the hose hadn't let me climb it up to the crab sand pit, so I decided to climb all the way up here to see if I could float my way over.
There's no way I'm gonna make it. Do I have to build my way up, you reckon?
I ran up the left side of the crab and found a molar on my way, and some orb weavers too. I think I ended up with 3 of them on me at once, which nearly led to my demise, but I pulled through because honestly, orb weavers aren't that hard. But ultimately, I was searching for a convenient way to get up onto the crab. Sadly, I did not find one.
I can't be bothered building up, man. Too lazy.
Fast forward 10 minutes, and this is proof that if you overcome your laziness, you are capable of great things. It's a great view too. Look at that awesome building. Whoever built that is a genius.
We are up in the... oh, it's a sand pit.
I thought I'd realized it was a sand pit ages ago, but apparently in-game Floydson was a bit slow.
I can connect a zip... ah. That was the way I could get here. That would have been slightly easier.
What treasure might await him in this sandy graveyard?
What treasure awaits? There's definitely a burgle chip. Oh yeah. What are you? antlion.
I really did not like the way the antlion was chasing me along the rim of the crab. Antlions are weak to slashing, but I didn't have any slashing weapons, so I shot at it as I retreated, and eventually switched to the old faithful poker. And to my surprise, I was able to take it out pretty comfortably. I ran around the edge of the pit first, just to see what I could see. And when I detected a molar in this pot I couldn't climb into, I yet again found myself lugging around grass and stems. But then it wouldn't let me build stairs anyway. Apparently the surface was invalid. But then I found the magic spot.
Oh.
With the help of that magical set of stairs, yet another mega milk molar was mine. I then poked some antlions and descended onto the sand.
Hot cha-chas. Sandbox lab outpost. Where'd I get the assistant manager keycard? I think there's a molar beneath me. That's a footprint. Spicy candy.
From that, I claimed my first spicy shards. I found a mixer that summons antlions over here, and an oasis of sorts over here, featuring a field station at which I did some analyzing.
Hey! Level up. Already know all that stuff. No worries.
I bumped my max stamina up a little more, and I discovered an entrance into the black anthill.
Now, how do I get up here?
There was a sandcastle on the other side of this moat, and I wanted to visit it. So I spent all night lugging grass, yet again. Once over there, I claimed some loot on the castle's outer wall, but now I needed a way to get up to the central tower, which made me realize I could have gotten grass planks from this oasis before, but for some reason I'd run all the way back down my giant staircase. What a goose. As I built, the antlions bothered me.
Bro, stop respawning.
And once the sun rose, the sand sizzled my little footsies, so that was not ideal. Also, I had the sweaty debuff because of the heat, so I grew thirsty much quicker. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'd upgraded my canteen by this point, so it carried 4 drops, and water had not been an issue at all until now. I was completely out.
I have no water, so I think I just drink the nasty water. And get sick for a bit.
And to escape the heat, I descended into the black anthill. I'd have to return and conquer the sandcastle tower later, perhaps when the desert was less sizzly.
We're in the black anthill.
And there was evidence of Dr. Tully's lab shenanigans immediately.
I can't get it from this side. It looks like a rock I can blow up, maybe.
I figured following the wires and the lights made sense, so down I went.
Oh, there's an entrance. Oh! Black anthill lab.
As you might expect, I ran into some black ants down here, and it felt like the black soldier ant was harder than the silly antlions above. I tracked down the explodable rock and claimed the scabby that had torn me on the other side of the roots, and then I played a game of try to find an open door. I found 0 open doors, but I did find another rock to blow up. With that, I gained access to this section of the lab.
Slap the thing, bro.
And I was able to open up all the areas marked A, and a tape recording made even more clear what was already pretty obvious. Ants had aggressively overrun this lab.
Can't get in there. There's no water cooler. I need a water cooler, please. I have great thirst.
It seemed I'd exhausted my options in this area of the anthill, so I wandered off exploring while dehydration threatened. I found another entrance/exit that pooped me out at ground level.
Oh, actually, while I'm out here, let's go find some fresh water on some grass somewhere, maybe?
After doing just that, and filling up my canteen a little too, I returned to the anthill and found this area. But it was another flamin' B door. Where are the A doors?
What are you guys doing? Ready? Get some.
I blew up yet another rock, behind which I found a milk molar, and then I found this area, which looked promising but appeared to be swarming with black soldier ants. I couldn't be bothered fighting them, so I nudie ran my way into the door. And I don't even think this was an A door, so who knows if that A override thing had any point. I found a document with a bit of an interesting paragraph in it.
Please try and behave around the assistant manager.
I needed the assistant manager's keycard to open like 8 doors around the yard, so I was excited by the prospect that I might meet the bloke.
Oh, goodness gravy. Hello.
I shall bring you an offering one day, my queen. I then returned to the very first lab area I had found, and it probably won't surprise you to learn there was an A door here that I'd completely missed. Ah, progress. And loot too, and an opportunity to open all those flamin' B doors around the place. Through this one, I found my way to another explodey rock, and then another. It was crazy, the old double explodey rock, and my reward for the double explosion was a mega milk molar. In contrast, this mega milk molar required no explosions, and then I got swarmed by soldier ants, which was rude.
That is a big old door. As far as doors go, that one is big. And old.
Once I pressed this button, the big old door was open too. Except there was a window behind it, so I couldn't get in until I used a bomb to blow up this section of glass.
This looks like a boss room, dude. This looks like a boss room. Management squad prepared. Yeah, I think I'm gonna fight the assistant manager.
Some robot dinguses floated down from above, the big door closed, and the fight began.
It is the assistant manager.
The assistant manager was a creation of Wendell's, and it saw me as an intruder, so the fight was on. My initial instinct was that if I tried to bonk these robots with my hammer, I'd take too much damage. So I opted for a bow and arrow strategy, and I figured I should take out the little guys first before switching to the boss.
Stop shooting globules at me. Oh, that did so much damage, dude.
The beauty of a fully contained boss arena was that I could easily regather 100% of my arrows. Once the Tase T's were dead, I turned my attention to the assistant manager, shooting and dodging the orbs of electricity that he shot at me. Before long, more little robots joined the fray, which I did not appreciate.
No, not more. What's he doing? What the hell was that? Oh my gosh. He split the room. Oh, they're moving. Ow! Oh, I can jump over them. Jump! I should have bought 500 more arrows.
In this fight, I actually used healing items, as I munched down on some granola bars to stay healthy. My bow and arrow strategy was working pretty well, although the number of robots seemed to multiply, and I chose to mostly ignore them, and instead kept chipping away at the boss as I ran around in circles.
Dude, what? Hey, don't turn all the pylons on. That's illegal. Eat another thing. Oh, there's more dudes. Get out of it. Oh, this is ridiculous.
When the pylons were sparking, while the lasers were spinning, while the idiots were chasing, it got a little hectic, no doubt. Fortunately, I'd found quite a few granola bars lying around in Dr. Tully's labs, because it was pretty hard to avoid getting hit when there was this much stuff flying around. I eventually cleared out the riffraff, and it was just me and the assistant manager once again.
Everything's quiet. Punch this guy.
I used the quiet to land a few hammer hits on the big fella, and then reverted to my bow, and the rest of the fight continued with lasers and sparks and orbs of zap flying around, but no more little robots, so I was able to slowly wear down the boss.
Hit him. Hit him. Oh, yes.
Finally, the assistant manager's keycard, and a pretty cool mutation.
Blocked attacks convert their energy to static electricity, occasionally unleashing a powerful burst.
Over here, I made use of my new keycard to open this door. I crossed the walkways above the boss arena, and I found a tape from Wendell bemoaning the failure of this lab. And also a photo of him looking rather wrinkly, a side effect from his shrinking. And in the tape, he sounded paranoid that someone or something was spying on his work. There was a whiteboard showing the location of the mixers around the yard.
So apparently there are 8 total. I've done 1, and I guess when you do all 8, this opens up. I mean, the mixers are combat challenges, so there's probably some ultimate combat challenge behind there, which sounds terrifying.
And I claimed the Black Ant Hill super chip.
The Black Hill Ant Lab is complete.
I ran up and out and eventually emerged at a door near the hose, a shortcut entrance for later. And honestly, I couldn't believe I finally had all 4 of the super chips. I returned up here and fought some ant lions, but then I remembered the sizzling was going to be an issue, so I began the run all the way back to the Oak Lab, with some distractions on the way, of course.
Whoa, what the? What? What happened there, bro?
I repaired everything and connected the zipline all the way down by the haze canister before running back to pick up the loot I dropped in the incident where I went flying. I got revenge on the bouncy stink bug and paid Burgle a visit to give him the super chip. It reminded him of the final 2 ingredients of the embiggening cocktail.
Of course, toenails! The tiny impractical spatulas at the end of human digits.
What?
But Burgle found that the final ingredient was missing. Wendell had deliberately removed it because he feared it would be stolen by those that were spying on him. My only option for figuring out the final item in the recipe was to track down Dr. Tully himself.
The Scabby is at Dr. Tully's favorite chair by the shed, of course. You should be able to find him there.
This is the shed, right? His favorite chair by the shed, somewhere here?
I picked up some advanced smithing recipes from the science shop. I admired the nasty toenails in the embiggening cocktail recipe, and I used the assistant manager's keycard to open this door in the Oak Lab, where I found something absolutely glorious.
Speed both up and down zip lines. Hell yes, I can get back to base. Up a zip line now.
I crafted the antlion set.
First tier 3 item, let's go. Absolutely glorious.
I'd made this because it gives sizzle reduction, which I figured would be handy in the desert of the sandpit. With the advanced smithing I just unlocked, I was now able to make sturdy plating and whetstones out of the tier 2 upgrade materials I'd been hoarding, which meant I could upgrade my armor to level 6 if I wanted. I saved them for now though, and upgraded my new antlion set to 5 with tier 1 materials, which I had heaps of.
There's an aphid doing it. It's aphid powered. That's so sick.
Obviously, gravity would still help me going down the zip lines, but the little aphid was now going to allow me to go up them too. I returned to the sand and made use of my new keycard to get into here, where I claimed the sandbox Burgle chip, and I found an update on how Wendell continued to go downhill.
Oh, Wendell, you look so wrinkly.
Because of his disfigurement, Wendell had exiled himself to the backyard, where he was trying to find a cure for his wrinkliness. I'd been tiny for over 50 days by this point, but I was not all wrinkly, thanks to my excellent skincare routine. The sizzle barely affected me thanks to my antlion gear, so I continued working my way up to the sandcastle tower.
Wait, what? No. You cheeky... You destroyed my thing.
Yeah, the idiot antlion destroyed my bridge. It was very annoying. And they wouldn't stop attacking me as I tried to build my stairs. It was very annoying. But I eventually got up there to claim a milk molar and raise the burgle flag of Sandcastle Tower. I then realized this fella was guarding the entrance to some antlion tunnels, and I was detecting a molar down there, so I wanted in. But I had no healing items left, and he was a bit of a beast, especially when he stirred up all the sand and I couldn't see anything. So I fled and left that one for later. I'd found some gum pieces in a chest in the Black Ant lab, so I climbed up to the haze canister, where I put an end to the gas leak.
Yes! That's an achievement as well. Okay, so now it's haze free.
With that, I had explored every area in the lower yard, and while I'd certainly missed some stuff and chosen to leave some other stuff for later, it was time to head towards the upper yard.
Hey, that wasn't supposed to happen. Oh no.
Yeah, there was a bush in the way of my zipline, and I wasn't able to chop it down. But falling down here at least led me to many spiders, and the tombstone of a hamster.
It's the hamster's skeleton.
I found a scabby color scheme on its big tooth. I built a little platform for the zipline anchor, so that the zipline would go above that invincible weed. But I'd somehow lost all the silk rope in the process of moving this, so I wasn't able to rebuild the zipline. I'd have to do that at base. But for now, I had to run home. On the way, I found an area of the previously haze-covered region I'd missed earlier, where I claimed a mega milk molar. I found a field station I'd missed too.
Let's increase the max resource stack size. Absolutely.
I found a tunnel under the glorious head here, in which I found the Girthscape Scabby scheme, and I took a ride back to base on the hedge zipline.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me, bro?
The flamin' plant life doesn't want me to zipline. How rude. I was able to destroy that piece of grass though, and finally I had my first successful zip up a zipline. I had a long session preparing for my next adventure, and went to bed. That night I had a dream about the ominent workers with a conscience, who decided to go against their boss Director Schmechter, who had ordered that I be terminated.
Wendell, wherever he is the only hope for these kids. I'll make the delivery to his yard discreetly. No one is even going to know.
I hope you know what you're doing.
So now I finally knew the full story of how I became tiny, and how I ended up in Wendell's backyard. Wendell was indeed my only hope of becoming big again, so it was time to figure out how to climb this retaining wall so that I could take on the challenges of the upper yard. This cave looked somewhat promising, but it led to a strange locked door.
I gotta get some coffee and some hideous monsters maybe, and then this will open up.
I had a break to draw some lovely lines, and I randomly fiddled with my scabby color scheme for a bit before continuing the search. I soon found what I was looking for, featuring a molar and a way to climb upwards. The way was blocked by a rock, which I blew up, and after a quick climb, I was suddenly in the upper yard. Well, the lower section of the upper yard, at least.
An overturned barbecue. I think I would like to systematically search this. That is multiple wolf spiders. Ah! This was not a good plan.
Yeah, I could take on one of these guys pretty comfortably by this point, but I didn't do too well against two, apparently. What's worse, when I hit respawn at a field station, it took me to the field station on the picnic table, because apparently that was the closest one. Though while I was up there, I found a scabby, so that was good. Also, bees.
Oh gosh. That's a lot of bees.
After retreating and killing several bees, I claimed the scabby, and by nightfall, I'd returned to the upper yard. From up here, I was able to climb on top of the Frankenline, where I found another scabby, and I encountered my first ladybird larva. It caused some sizzling when it hit me, and it certainly took a lot more hits to kill compared to the lower tier larva, but I took it out no worries.
A strong elastic goop that oozes exclusively from the tough creatures of the upper yard. Okay, so I'm officially into tier 3 territory now.
Those two wolf spiders were awake and patrolling, so I was able to take them on one at a time. And I decided to try fighting in third person mode. When fighting in first person, especially against big enemies, it's kind of hard to see what the heck is going on. So I wondered if in third person it'd be easier to time my blocks. Soon both wolf spiders were dead.
Okay, so I feel like it's a lot easier to have a sense of when you should press it, but because I'm used to first person mode, I still suck.
My dropped loot and the mega milk molar were now unprotected, so I claimed those. And over here there were some burning coals from the overturned barbecue. Walking near them caused a considerable amount of sizzle, and I'd switched back to my ladybug set because I preferred its bonuses, so I didn't have my anti-sizzle antlion armor with me. I fought a roly-poly, which took me a solid 4 minutes to kill because my tier 2 hammer still lacked any upgrades, and the big chonker kept curling up into a ball and healing up. It was a good opportunity to practice fighting in third person though, and I was actually consistently using bandages in combat for health regeneration by this point, so I eventually took the victory. I set up a zipline anchor on this stone, and it was so convenient to attach the zipline and immediately get a free ride back to base. Absolutely glorious. I went AFK while I zoomed, and while I was away, this happened.
Wait, what? Where did I die? Oh, I fell? Damn it!
I built a platform here so I'd have somewhere to land next time.
Analyze the roly-poly shell? Is this how I get the new hammer? I want the new hammer. And analyze the tough goop. Is this how I get... Ooh, tier 3 axe.
I needed termite chompers, so I couldn't make it yet, but it felt good to be approaching a new tier of tools. I finally remembered to give Burgle the sandbox chip, which got me another advanced smithing unlock, and I picked up the recipe for the red ant queen offering too. I then headed back to the upper yard with my antlion gear on. I discovered I could whack these chunks of coal to get Everchar coal chunks. I found the charcoal hot springs, which gave me a health regen buff after a quick dip, and I needed the coal chunks to make an oven, so I collected a few. I saw that I could climb to the higher area of the upper yard through the coals, but before doing that, I wanted to finish exploring this lower area.
That's a tiny human skeleton. Who died, roly-poly? Was that you? Did you sit on him?
I found a tunnel here, home to a great many ladybird larvae. I explored it for a while and claimed some loot. I couldn't go this way because of these dead roots that required a tier 3 axe to remove, but off in another direction I managed to find a molar.
I've explored this section here now.
But before continuing, I returned to base to upgrade my hammer, and to build an oven. This is where you can make the globs to upgrade weapons above level 5, and I was excited about finally being able to make mushroom bricks too. I'd already grinded a bunch of mushrooms into over 200 mushroom slurry, so I was ready to make heaps of bricks, and the plan was to of course use them to make a house at some point. Boss meals could also be cooked in the oven, so once my first batch of bricks was ready, I started cooking up the red ant queen's fave, a juicy mushroom sandwich. I analyzed a brick, and look at all those wonderful new building options. Also, I reached brain power level 12. A strange beast appeared to have moved in under the oak tree.
Why are you infected?
But while all the wolf spiders were out and about, I snuck in, blew up this rock, and claimed the mega milk molar that had trolled me earlier. This is the one that my scanner had been detecting from below in the oak lab.
The juicy mushroom sandwich. There you go. You can only submit an offering once. Yeah, I mean, I could poison her, but I feel like I want to be friends. Let's be friends. So happy. And what now? Wait, what?
This little diversion to feed the queen turned out to be a stroke of genius, as it led to the adoption of my first pet.
It can carry stuff? No way.
My inventory management had improved a lot since buffing my max stack size a few times, but having this little guy follow me around was still a godsend. I killed some bombardiers on the way home to farm some boiling glands. I managed to steal 3 red ant eggs while feeding the queen, so I made those into 3 more bombs. And the big girl had also given me some red ant queen pheromones, so I analyzed those.
Perfect for summoning a horde to your side.
I made a pet house, and this helped me learn more about my new friend.
Bonus effect plus falling strength. Oh, really? Oh, they give bonuses? This can be Scrappy. Scrappy! Get out of here. Stop it. How dare you? Tiger mosquito? What? Don't attack my stairs. Don't attack my stairs. The goggles don't even go in your eyes.
I also made a red ant queen scepter.
Look at it. It's got a wobbly pheromones.
And I discovered the hauling bonus from Scrappy was quite significant.
With the full ant set and my pet, I can carry 29. Look at that!
I made a repair tool and repaired my base after that rude mosquito attack, and I decided I should cook up some mint globs in the oven.
You want some, big fella? Wait, what? Ow, dude! You're supposed to summon an army of dudes. How do I make it summon an army of dudes? Okay. Yeah, that didn't work the way I was hoping.
The scepter is supposed to summon a horde of ants to fight for you, but I gave up trying to make it work immediately, apparently. No ants for me, I guess, except Scrappy, but I don't know how good he was at combat.
Scrappy, hit him. Hit him, Scrappy. Hit him, Scrappy!
After defeating this wolf spider, I unlocked the 3rd rank of Mithridatism, the poison resistance mutation, which is ironic because I'd forgotten to use it in that fight and the poison killed me 2 seconds later.
Oh, what? It killed me!
The mint globs were ready, so I made a mint mace, my first tier 3 weapon. I upgraded it to level 5.
Look at the damage on it compared to my other mace. Like, it would do so much damage.
Part of its massive damage was thanks to the fact that it was a 2-hander, but there's no doubt I felt way stronger with this thing. And since it's a minty mace, I now had a weapon with which to own enemies that were weak to fresh. It also had high stun damage, so enemies were getting stunned way quicker.
Get whacked. Get stunned already. Get whacked. Oh, get lightninged. Oh yeah, I'm a massive beast now.
That lightning was from the shocking dismissal mutation, which I'd gotten after killing the assistant manager. Also, I actually remembered to use the poison resistance mutation, which made the wolf spider's damage fairly trivial. I had my anti-sizzle armor on, so I made a break for it through the coals. And even with my resistance, I nearly started taking burn damage, but I was finally up into the upper yard proper.
What is that? Black ox beetle.
I ran into the barbecue like a maniac to claim this molar, and on the way out, the sizzle got the better of me, but I fortunately survived.
Okay. I believe I've gotten myself into a battle now. Stop throwing stuff at me, big fella.
I was impressed by how much damage my mint mace did to this big chonker, and even more impressed by how quickly the stun meter charged up.
Stunned already? I'm huge.
I took a few hits but managed to survive, and when I ran away for a bit it started lobbing rocks at me, so that wasn't ideal, but ultimately this tier 3 monstrosity was way easier than I'd been expecting. I think mainly thanks to my newly minted mint mace, and the healing ticks of a fiber bandage probably helped a little too.
Nice.
I next explored in these trenches, but I forgot to hit record for about 10 minutes of it.
I accidentally failed to record the last little bit, but I killed a bunch of termites. I got a bunch of termite parts. The termites are not particularly hard to kill. It's just some of these ones. I just can't be bothered trying to block them because there's too many to pay attention to. I just kind of stab. Collected quite a few quartzite and marble, which was nice. And down here, there was a note from a dude who was trying to befriend the termites. There's this thing, which I can't break yet. I need a tier 3 hammer. I found a mega milk molar here, and there was a scabby as well.
I'd finally remembered I unlocked the tier 2 shovel a while back, so I'd made one out of black ant parts. And with it, I was able to dig some goodies up, such as this salt shard. And clearly, someone was eating something rather salty with this fork. I thoroughly explored down here, but a lot of goodies were frustratingly out of reach up on shelves of dirt. So I eventually emerged from the trench to admire a giant bicycle. And further north, it seemed quite a serious termite operation had made its home in this log pile, and some termite soldiers were keeping guard. I found a gardening glove with a lovely flowery pattern, and I jumped down to some of those hard to reach places, starting with the crack in this pipe where I found a milk molar. Apparently my search of the trench earlier wasn't so thorough after all, because I found this spider's lair I'd missed.
Get smacked in the head, you stupid spider.
There were some goodies in there. I jumped down to claim more upgrade materials, more spice, and more upgrade materials, another molar, and some dust mites, which had a rude habit of shooting dusty crap at me that gave an attack speed debuff, which was rather annoying. I squished all of them, and I claimed some mints. With that, I felt good about my scouring of the trench. I next investigated the bag of coals. I found a tear in one corner of it, and I was amazed to find someone had left their tooth in here. I climbed this stack of coals to get on top of the bag, and I felt like the king of the bag. Also, I jumped over here and sucked up some juicy science. I climbed up the barbecue leg too, for some more juice. As I ventured east, I found myself approaching the underside of the shed's porch.
Lady Bird. Sounds so angry. Oh, there's two, and they really hate aphids? What the heck? Big old bag of fertilizer.
I wandered back west and climbed up this big thing. Up top, I had a nice view of the porch, this axe, and the bike too. I jumped down here to pay a visit to the field station. In there, I found a tape that revealed Wendell had concluded it must be Ominent who was spying on him.
It may be time for me to find a new venue for my research. Away from all these eyes.
Sounds like Wendell had established a new lab up here somewhere sneaky. I spent some molars and then murdered some termites.
He's fighting one. Scrappy's fighting one. Go, Scrappy. Get him. Get him, Scrappy.
I wanted termite chompers from the soldiers. Once I had a few of those, I backed off from the termite base for now. I decided to save invading it for later, and I detected a molar up on the bike, so I got busy climbing. With some elite parkour along the spokes and the frame, I was able to make my way to the milky treat.
I'm on a big bike. I'm on a big bike. And then we got a serious termite nest to conquer.
But first, I had to go make use of the termite chompers.
Termite axe. Yes! Tier 3 axe. Finally.
I upgraded it to level 5, and then deliberated about what level 6 upgrade I should choose.
Locks it into this type. Yeah, make it mighty. If I desperately have to get a fresh or salty one or whatever later, I can just make a new one. Let's just make it mighty.
That gave it a juicy plus 10% damage and durability, and the plus finale damage perk, meaning every third hit would deal more damage. I did some analyzing down at the lab and unlocked some Black Ox gear recipes, and I decided I wanted to bash up the infected wolf spider, so I did. It didn't drop anything exciting though. When I next logged in, I randomly got some achievements.
Why is this game so bad at giving me achievements when I actually get them? Construct my first mushroom brick building. I didn't do that. I made a mushroom brick.
I peeped this scarab wandering about.
Get it. Got it. Twinkling shell.
And I returned to the upper yard for some more adventures. I took on my first ladybird, and it seemed quite vulnerable to my mint mace bashing, so it went down no worries. I didn't time my blocks on the second one I fought though, and it hit pretty hard, so I nearly died. I explored this area below the porch, where I claimed a bunch of upgrade materials, and this ladybird was capable of walking through walls.
What the heck? Hey, that's illegal, dude.
I shot all these pupa off the ceiling and chopped them up with my tier 3 axe to collect a bunch of pupa leather, and when I analyzed some, I unlocked the exact recipe I was after.
Black Ox hammer. Yes!
I needed a black ox horn to make one though, which is a fairly rare drop from the big beetles, so I had to go on the hunt. This fella didn't drop one, and then it seemed I had to wait for the two that patrolled this area to respawn, so I filled the time by setting up another zipline here.
Was that kind of a redundant zipline to place? Because I had one so close, just in the lower part of the upper yard. That's fine. I can do another one like over here.
I'd cooked up more mighty globs by this point, so I upgraded my mint mace to level 6, and so far I'd barely explored east of this point in the upper yard, so it was time to undertake a methodical search for goodies. Theoretically, I didn't need to be so thorough. I could always come back later to get what I needed for the 100% collections, but the progression you get from finding plenty of bug parts for gear, molars for stat upgrades, and quartzite and marble for gear upgrades was important in any case.
Oh dear, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, I gave up on that particular cave for the time being. By the way, as I imagine you've noticed, I stopped bothering to sleep through the night a while back. And I don't think I've mentioned it for ages, but at this point, the way I fed myself was by making meals back at base every day or two. This bike provided me a way to climb up all the way onto the shed's porch, and as you can see, I brought some stems with me.
What do you want? Hey! What are you so angry about?
The Black Ant workers in the Black Ant Hill were pretty chill, so I was genuinely bamboozled by these angry fellas.
I mean, how important is the deck? Do I go into the shed, you reckon? I think I do.
There were lots of angry ants here. It was very rude. And you don't go into the shed, you actually go under it. That's coming up soon enough. But it seemed the porch was a decent place to set up another zipline. However, the angry ants worried me, so I collected more stems and made a little wall to protect it. I think it was a pretty pointless wall though, especially because I left the middle section incomplete because I couldn't be bothered. By the way, this big rusty chair looming over me is Wendell's favorite chair. And according to Burgle, this was where I would find Wendell's Scabby, and hopefully a clue as to where he was located. This hose took me up around to the right side of the shed, where I found a delicious dog.
Hot dog, what? There's a field station. Hot dog? Hot dog. Hot diggity dog. Oh, what is this business? He's got raw science in a big cable? The upper yard is bigger than I thought. It just feels so big.
I decided the healing provided by my fiber bandages was a little disappointing, so I used 2 molars to boost my plus healing by a further 15%, and I climbed up this branch in search of a way to get into the shed. I found no way in, but I did spy an interesting contraption.
A very special looking coffee machine. Oh, these are fire. Wait, what? These are tier 3 ants. I thought these were just black ants. Wait. The other ones were black ants. That's a fire ant.
I analyzed its parts, and then thought it would be a lovely idea to jump onto this car battery.
Will this electrocute me? Yeah, I thought it might. Okay, we can repair all my gear at least. I'm gonna need more berry leather soon.
I upgraded my ladybug set all the way to level 7, as high as it could go with tier 2 materials. I made 2 of the pieces bulky, but the pants sleek, which meant the pants had less defense in exchange for a plus healing buff. And thanks to my zipline, I was able to head straight back to the shed. I checked out the welcome mat, which had lots of clumps of lint that I chopped up and collected, and it had lots of annoying dust mites on it too. I collected some mint from this styrofoam cup, and I climbed the hose up onto this pot, and I climbed into the hose to get up to the next pot. This particular pot plant was rather interesting.
Oh. Orchid mantis kebab. Huh? Oh yeah, it says summon boss. I need to get a orchid mantis kebab somehow. Interesting.
Yes, indeed. I had found the arena for the Orchid Mantis boss. I climbed up this plant to collect some raw science, and from that height, I was able to float down into this succulent pot plant, where I claimed a shiny tooth. Up on this ledge, I discovered a cheeky way through here, which led to the top of the termite-infested woodpile. I cut away at these nasty splinters and collected a bunch. There were splinters everywhere. It was quite hazardous. And rather than going into the tunnels in the logs, I figured I'd see what there was to see up top. There was a big old blue tarp to see, and a gap under it with evidence of spidery shenanigans where I cracked a molar. And then the big mama came home, but as we began fighting, I found myself in an awkward predicament.
I'm stuck. Get off me. I'm actually stuck.
Yeah, I couldn't move, and I couldn't reach the wolf spider with my wild axe swings. It wasn't a good vibe.
How do I get out, dude? Why'd I die?
I just randomly went from 60% health to 0. Well, I was stuck anyway, so it was inevitable. Back at base, I made a glue masher. With this thing, you can make repair glue out of various insect parts. And repair glue is what is used to repair all items that have been upgraded above level 5. My armor and my most important weapons were level 6 plus now, so I began crafting some. And then I ran all the way back to where I died. I took out the wolf, and then proved how big of an idiot I am.
No, dude, don't do it to me. No. See? Am I stuck again? Oh my gosh.
I hit give up to kill myself, and I found the recover backpacks menu, because I wasn't going to be able to reach my loot under the tarp there. Using this option sent both of the lost backpacks back to the initial spawn point, so I headed over there to pick up my loot. Remember this mint container from way back at the start of the game? I don't know why I wasn't able to get in it back then, because this time I got in fine to claim a bunch of mint shards. I made some tier 3 arrows out of the splinters I'd collected, which earned me an achievement. I did some more analyzing and hit level 14 brain power. I kept mushroom bricks cooking in the oven, and I returned to see if the Black Ox beetles had respawned. They had indeed, and the first one I killed dropped a horn for me. I killed the second one for good measure, and then immediately ziplined back to base.
Black Ox hammer. Yeah, boy! Really?
I upgraded it all the way to level 6. I had my tier 3 axe now, so I returned to the cave from earlier and cut these roots out of the way, which gave me access to quite a bounty of quartzite. And with my new tier 3 hammer, I was finally able to collect some supreme quartzite. But then I got swarmed by ladybird larvae. Oh dear. I returned, but this time I fell back on my old faithful stabby mosquito needle strategy, which kept me healed up against the swarm. There was a molar and a bounty of marble to match the quartzite I'd collected before dying, including my first supreme marble shards. And when I emerged, I found I was in the upper yard. I'd entered in the lower section of the upper yard, so that was convenient because this was where I wanted to go next anyway. Because it was about time I climbed up the baseball bat to get onto Wendell's chair. A rather stupid number of black ants were waiting for me here. It was genuinely outrageous. The battle to conquer this crappy chair was hard fought.
What do you want, B? What are you getting involved for? How are there so many enemies? What? What the heck? Literally infinite enemies here.
I found some bits of rust I was able to hammer and collect, and I climbed up this hammer from which I floated over to this table. Wendell's big old pipe was here, so I went inside it, of course.
Hello?
I climbed up the toenail clipper and into the ashtray, where I found 4 delicious prizes waiting for me.
Toenail? Oh, grim. Do I have to come back here every time I want more toenails?
I found my first sour candy, so I whacked it, and it dropped sour shards, but also the plucker charm.
Adds a flat amount of sour damage to all of your melee attacks. I'll leave that with you, and if I fight something that's weak to sour, I'll hit him with the sour thing. That's sick.
Over next to the radio was Wendell's Scabby. Full size, obviously. I popped open the back and placed a replacement fuse that Burgle had given me in there, and that fired it up. Once fired up, it played a goodbye message from Dr. Tully. In it, he very much had a defeated tone.
I'm nearly out of time. My body shrivels more with each passing day. The spacer, my greatest achievement, a disaster. The final chapter in the book of my many failures.
He spoke of how it was all over, he'd given up, and in his self-imposed exile to the yard, all he wanted to do now was see if he could save himself from the raisoning that had aged him before his time. To attempt this, he was off to his secret lab underneath the shed.
Well, I feel obligated to do the termite nonsense first. We got a burgle chip in there as well.
So I didn't head out in search of Tully's undershed lab just yet. I instead finally revisited the tarp on top of the wood pile, and I managed to avoid getting stuck this time, so that was a vast improvement over the last time I was here.
Huh? Oh, rust. Yeah, rust.
Splinters and rust galore, mate. Yum yum. More mints, more mozzie, more molar.
We love a mega milk molar.
And over here, an entrance to the termite lair.
Seems like the spider has been trying to trap them.
I spent the next 8 minutes or so stabbing termites in the face. There seemed to be unlimited termites, and they did not like me.
There's so many of them, bro. There's so many. All I can do is stab them.
My level 6 needle went from 75% durability all the way to 0, and my gear broke too, so I repaired it all with repair glue, and by the time I finally got some respite from the endless trickle of wood munches, my weapon was down to 70% durability again. On the plus side, I collected heaps of rust. It was a bit of a labyrinth in here, with some tunnels leading to the front of the woodpile, another leading to a milk molar, another to a scabby, plenty of upgrade materials, and
so much rust. What is that? That looks scary. Termite King. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Time for some regicide. My poker was killing this big fella so flamin' slow, so I decided to switch to my mint mace, which certainly sped the process up, but it also meant I was no longer life-stealing to restore health. I had a bandage heal ticking along, but that's not going to save you if you fail to block, and I may or may not have failed to block one too many of his ferocious chomps.
Dude, he was on 1 health!
He was on 1 health, but I was on 0. Classic. I respawned at the nearby field station and re-entered the nest from the front this time, and I soon returned for round 2.
Hey, did he actually die? Is that him? He did die! What a cheeky fellow.
I have no idea how that happened, but my guess is my red ant Scrappy exacted revenge on the king on my behalf.
Where's the chip? There we go. Woodpile burgle chip. Alright, it's a very good feeling to be done with this side completely.
And it was time to push further east, but first I paid a visit to my base to regroup. I made a rusty spear, I analyzed a few things which got me up to brain power level 15, I spent some molars, and I gave Burgle the woodpile chip. It added some intriguing stuff to the science shop.
Wizard hat. Candy staves? What?
You can make a mint, spicy, or sour staff, apparently. I immediately began cooking some minty shards so I could craft one, and I returned to whack a rolly. By the way, by this point I'd gotten too lazy to cook food, so I was just surviving off random mushrooms I picked in the wild, because I'm a fun guy. I hunted down black ox beetles because I wanted their parts, and I began exploring more of the upper grasslands. I made a habit of collecting any spiky burrs I came across because I wanted them for building materials, and I regularly chopped down dandelions too, ensuring I had enough tufts with which to slow fall. There was a fungus-infected area here here under the shed's deck, so I had a poke around, killed an infected wolf spider, and claimed a molar. I then ventured east of the shed for the first time, where I admired a lovely puddle with a can in it, and I followed the quest marker under this gap here to find the entrance to the undershed. I slapped my way in and discovered a room with some goodies, which I of course purloined.
There he is. Oh, there's the beautiful family. Wendell, you good looking rooster.
I ventured through this door to find the dark and dusty expanse of the undershed before me.
Bro, this is huge under here. Oh gosh. Insulation.
I was a little spooked coming in here, but there was nothing for it. I just had to get exploring. As always, my goal was to be thorough, aiming to collect every molar and scabby. I began by checking the edges of this first area, taking on a couple of enemies in the process, and I soon climbed up to find this field station. I found a tape recording in which Wendell explained he was attempting to infuse himself with raw science, in a last-ditch effort to heal himself. I climbed my way over to this molar, and then I decided the open area here needed to be conquered, so I took on some black ox beetles.
I'll kill you both, bro. I don't care. Oh dear, not the double rock.
The mint mace continued to carry against these big buffers. Long live the mint mace. I collected a good amount of lint. I went into this pipe and after quite a jog claimed a mega milk molar. And with that, I felt I'd properly explored the first area of the undershed and it was time to carry on. However, I was low on food, bandages, and repair glue, so I figured it was wisest to have a pit stop back at base. During this visit to base, I finally used my brain and made a bunch of soothing syrup. These are rather strong healing items, and I have no idea why I hadn't been using them up until this point. I then decided I wanted a convenient way up to the shed's deck, so I went to the effort of making a giant ladder. Honestly, it's not that bad just climbing up the bike, so I'm not sure why I bothered with this because it took ages, but sometimes you've just got to build a ladder. I soon returned to the undershed, but with a mining helmet on my head this time, because you can't hold a torch when wielding the two-handed mint mace, so I figured a light on my head would be helpful. In reality, it was kind of crap, but I guess it was better than nothing.
Undershed sinkhole. Oh yeah.
In the section just before that sinkhole was a ravine, and I was curious, so in I went. It yielded up a molar, and a fight against about 8 orb weaver spiders.
Dude, how many of you are there? Go away.
These things were quite easy by this point, as they dealt barely any damage to my upgraded armor and died quite quickly. There was a tunnel here, which I followed down to some upgrade materials and a lovely view of the sinkhole, and then I returned to the top of the sinkhole to figure out a plan of approach. Ultimately, there was nothing to do but climb down, so down I went. There was a bunch of pupas here, so I chopped them up for their leather. A bunch of mosquitoes bothered me, which I found offensive, and as I tried to navigate this mess of roots, I fell in the water. I guess it was inevitable.
You're a pretty significant underwater area. Screw you guys. Stop making your stupid happy noises.
The underwater area wasn't actually that significant. All I found were a bunch of spiny water flea dinguses and some raw science. I found a spot to climb out and I parkoured my way over to here, where I was able to jump down onto this ledge, which appeared to serve as a doorstep to a rather terrifying spider lair.
Black Widowling? Oh dear. Oh gosh. Black Widow. Oh, he's weak to sour. He's weak to sour. Put the sour thing on. Do I just use my big old mace? I think I do. Oh, is this like an actual boss?
No, she is not a boss, just a very tough enemy. And as you can see, my strategy was just to spam block and hope I timed it properly. It's great stuff. I'd popped on my sour damage trinket to get a damage bonus, as black widows are weak to sour, but I think it's fair to say black widows are significantly harder than wolf spiders. Faster, tankier, and much more deadly. I was not up to the task, and I died while my foe was still at about 75% health. On the run back, I decided some platforming shenanigans were in order, because I'd seen a hard to get molar earlier, and I was determined to figure out how to claim it. My fierce struggle against the Black Widow would have to wait a little, but to be fair, this was kind of a fierce struggle too. I fell a few times while figuring out my way along, but soon landed on the nail, then back on this cable thingo, and on the top of the pipe on the other side. This got me close to where I wanted to go, but I was still confused.
How do I get that mega milk molar?
It wasn't that complicated. I just needed to float my way over to this other pipe, which got me onto this cable, which overlapped with another cable that got me up to the insulation. Give me the molar. And all the lint too, please. I also wanted to see what was in the pipe here, so in I went. It randomly had quite a few of these shiny scarabs, so I was pleased to claim a few twinkling shells. I then got back into the fight. I tried using the rusty spear instead, which gives enemies an infection that lowers their attack damage. It did not seem to help much, and I didn't want to run back a bunch of times, so I saved right before the fight and reloaded after every death, which meant I got in a few attempts in quick succession. I really wanted to improve with my perfect blocks, and I did a little, but it soon became apparent I was going to need to use a lot of healing items. Fortunately, I brought a stack of 20 soothing syrup with me, which heals a good chunk to complement the healing over time from the fiber bandages. As you can see, she summons her little spiderlings into the fray, so I had to deal with those, but really it was a matter of spamming heals while trying to block while trying to deal as much damage as possible. On my 4th attempt, it was looking good, but my rusty spear broke, so I had to switch action bars to pull out a different weapon, which resulted in a big mistake.
Oh no, no, no. No, dude!
Yeah, I accidentally used a fiber bandage, which put my soothing syrup on cooldown, so I couldn't use it to top up my health, and yeah, what a fail. I think I was mildly triggered because I proceeded to play even more terribly, and I failed like 6 times in a row after that. But in reality, all I needed to do with this fight was drink the potions on cooldown. Just slam all them potions to heal up, mate. There's no need to be conservative. Seriously though, they cost algae and mushrooms to make. They are super cheap. So again, I don't know why I wasn't just chugging them like crazy. I learned eventually though, because in this successful attempt here, I was chugging. They were healing more than a quarter of my health pool, so it was incredibly strong.
Come on, baby. Yes, easy fight, easy fight. I only used 19 potions.
Her lair had a mega milk molar in it. Very delicious. And the passage continued up to the final area of the undershed, where I found, you guessed it, a milk molar. And while trying to repair my mining helmet, a cheeky termite did me dirty.
But you knocked me down? You butthead.
So I had to do the run through the spider's lair again. It appeared Wendell had a rather big tank of raw science here, and I found another molar. And up here, yet another molar.
Oh, here we go, another one. Bro, there's so many. Holy dooly.
After all that searching in the darkness, it was time to head into the lab.
Alright, Dr. Tully, you in here, bro? The Undershed Lab.
I found a tape that shed some light on Wendell's efforts to infuse himself with raw science.
Countless infusions, countless migraines. I'm so shriveled now, I can barely walk. I have only one option that remains. One last toss of the proverbial dice. Commence Project Mant.
Project Mant. What the hell? Where'd you come from? So the infusion of raw science failed. Now he's doing Project Mant. Has he got every... What's going on in here, dude?
Yeah, there was a rather random variety of insects in here. There was an analyzer in here too. So I took the opportunity to analyze the Black Widow parts I'd collected.
Wait, did I reach level 16? I did. Wasp breastplate.
Level 16 is the highest brain power level, so that was a good milestone. And as you can see, the number of tier 3 armor recipes at my disposal was growing nicely.
This way is a monstrous roar in the distance. Is this where I'm gonna fight Wendell in ant form?
Back in the other direction was a random mix of insects, and evidence of some outrageous experimentation.
I've successfully transplanted several spinneret glands from local orb weavers into the Mant cadaver. What? He was able to pilot the Mant from a prone position. Oh, so he's controlling the Mant.
So Wendell had created some man-ant abomination. Sounds disgusting.
Oh yeah, it looks like it rampaged. Oh, we can open the door. The door is open. Is it gonna come rampaging out though? Yeah, so he was trying to make the perfect vessel to replace his crappy body. Why is there a giant hole in the wall here that just ends? Who be digging? I guess we got a fight on our hands here.
I headed through that door I'd just opened, with more than a little anxiety as to what awaited me. Considering how poorly I'd fared against the Black Widow, I figured a boss fight wasn't gonna go down well.
Oh! No way, dude. Did you kill Wendell? Well, Wendell's trapped you in there. Oh, I can get in through the roof. Weak to stabbing. Okay, that's good. Weak to fresh as well. So I got some options here. Thankfully I found some granola bars, so that'll heal me up a bit. I guess we just gotta find out. Hey, big fella.
I had exactly one soothing syrup left, but as I said, those granola bars were gonna help as they also heal a decent chunk. And as you can see, I began the fight using my rusty spear.
Hey, this guy's way easier. What the hell? Okay, he's kinda earning. What's he doing? Don't do that. Oh, he brought some friends? Oh no. Don't throw bombs at me. Let's try the big hammer. Oh yeah, that's big damage. I feel like this is owning. Oh dear, what the hell just...
I somehow nearly died to the exact same explosion nonsense on my next attempt. And it was a little tricky staying healthy with so few healing items available to use, especially once the ant summons began bothering me. But ultimately, I was able to wear the big fella down.
I think we got him here. Big hits, big hits. Big hits.
After a flurry of attacks from the Mant, which I attempted to block but only blocked 1 out of the 4, the Mant monstrosity was laid low.
Monstrous stranger? You feel as though an unlikely ally is always looking out for you. The Mant shows up to help fight? Dude, I was using my wrong mutation, by the way. I was using my anti-spider set.
What a goose. With that victory, I was able to open the way forward.
Wendell?
You may have defeated my Mant, but you and your eminent paymasters will never get their hands on the embiggening cocktail.
Oh dear.
I'll take that secret to my grave. To my grave.
Wendell, I'm your friend. I'm not ominent.
Though you are a bit small for an agent. How can this
Wendell! Oh. What the hell?
Well, here I am, Wendell Tully in all his glory.
Goodness gravy. That's a good looking rooster. Alright, bro.
So old mate Wendell had well and truly shriveled up, and now he was a sultana in a floating jar. What a legend. Wendell was amazed that I had not shriveled up, considering I'd been tiny for a couple of months by this point. He assumed it was because I was a child, and he guessed that that was why director Schmechter had been experimenting on children, to figure out if there was a cure to the raisening side effects of shrinkage. If the evil leader of Ominent had indeed found a cure, there was hope for Wendell after all. But I had one main question.
What's the secret ingredient, big fella?
Apparently, I needed some grilled science. Not raw science, grilled science.
Okay. Sorry, buddy.
I headed into Wendell's fridge to collect the key ingredient.
Grilled science.
We need to head to the Java-matic machine in the upper yard. There we can blend the embiggening cocktail needed to run the spacer safely.
So now Wendell the floating head was following me around, and it seemed I was pretty much ready to grow big again.
We gotta go to here now. But I've still got this entire side of the yard to go, so... Whoa, what the hell? What? What? Orc worker? Wait, what? Wendell's shooting stuff at him.
This ant had a strange device on its head, and I had the feeling this was evidence Ominent had successfully found a military application for insects.
I can't believe the floating head of Wendell is following me around. What a legend.
In the early hours of the morning on day 69, I crafted the Black Ox armor set.
Stunning charger. Your charge attacks with melee weapons pack a weightier punch, dealing more stun damage. Charged attacks have a high chance to lower enemy damage dealt.
I upgraded all 3 pieces to level 7 sleek, which gave them the quick charge perk, increasing the speed of charged attacks. It appeared orc insects had infiltrated the yard at large, so this bombardier enjoyed a couple of charge attacks to the face, as did this ladybird. But even with the quick charge perk, my two-handed charge attack still felt flamin' slow. And it also meant my favorite trinket Giddy Goop would be useless, since that only triggers on the 3rd attack of combos. So I wasn't sure I was a big fan of the Black Ox set. I collected some pupa and ventured deeper into the upper grasslands. I set up a zipline anchor about halfway along the retaining wall, except I didn't have an anchor facing the right way back at the oak tree, so I couldn't connect it just yet. And I figured I should make some kind of base up here, so I got the ball rolling on that. I found a cracked pipe nearby, so in I went, and I was rewarded with some supreme marble. There was an area I couldn't get down to, so I thought this passage underwater would help me out. But I needed to blow up this rock, and I'd sadly ran out of bombs by this point. I found the Fizzum can, I whacked many foes, and apparently I'd already given up on using charged attacks, so the switch to Black Ox armor was a bit of an anticlimax. I found this super mixer, which I ignored, I was saving all of these for later, and I instead continued scouring the upper grasslands.
What the heck? That's a leg. That's a leg, man.
I eventually made my way towards the Java-matic, where a jumble of raw science cables led me to a zipline anchor, which I connected and rode up towards the giant coffee machine. This is the device capable of brewing the embiggening mixture, so it was essential to my quest. However, my lack of bombs was once again an issue. I wasn't keen on growing big yet anyway, as I had a lot of unfinished business, so I was content to put the main quest on pause.
Oh, wasps. Weaknesses, salty.
I ran along the back of this thingo here, and it seemed my scanner was detecting goodies inside it, so I was keeping my eye out for an entrance. At its eastern edge, I found a big old trash bag, and some gunpowder clumps from these pop caps. I found a pine cone, from which I collected my first pine cone pieces. I spied a toolbox over there, I bashed up another pine cone, and I believe that is a lawnmower. I backtracked at this point because I figured I'd better take on some wasps. I shot at this wasp drone to get its attention, and it yelled in fury. I hoped it would charge at me so I could whack it in the face, but instead it hovered and shot poisonous barbs at me, which was rather frustrating because, as I said, I really wanted to whack it in the face. I eventually did manage to whack it, but then the drone's friend, just a regular old wasp, stabbed me in the face with its butt.
Stop shooting at me. Stop shooting at me.
I hid in the crack at the bottom of this wall, and this made the wasps hover lower so that they could get an angle at me, and that allowed me the opportunity to get enough of those face whacks off. It seemed like regular wasps, as opposed to drones, didn't shoot stuff at you, so they were easy to kill as they got in close to try and hit me. I found another tooth behind a leaf, I visited a fill station and spent some of those teeth to get more health, I analyzed some stuff, and it was nice to see the large storage chest recipe pop up when I scanned a pinecone piece. And as the sun rose, I tried to find a way into the big box thingo here, but it seemed there was officially literally no way in, even though I was sure my scanner had been picking up the presence of loot in there. I claimed a bunch of sour shards from this rocket, and I wandered over to see what this tire was all about. It appeared some water had pooled down there, so I figured it was only right that I jump in. I was immediately assaulted by quite a few spiny water fleas. It appeared the only useful thing in here was a chest, for which I needed a sticky key. I lacked a sticky key, so I parkoured up this bush and left the tire and its idiot water fleas for the time being. I found a molar, a field station, some chewy, and I must say this toolbox was in a rather shambolic condition. It was also wasp infested, so I didn't investigate it just yet, but instead wandered over to check out this fallen tree trunk. While enjoying the vibes, I was rudely assaulted by 2 ticks. They had an unnecessarily large amount of health, but it was good to claim my first 2 tick fangs. I then spent a rather long time showing off some excellent parkour skills, because I was 100% certain there were going to be goodies to claim up the top of this woody mess. And by excellent parkour skills, I mean I fell off a lot and got rather frustrated, but I eventually made it to the peak of one side.
Wait, what? There's a moth up here. Whack. Come get some.
The moth was quite weak to my big fresh wax, and it was pretty epic fighting it with that glorious view in the background.
Hey, no gusts.
It would have been amazing if it had managed to knock me off with its gust, but I am much too sure-footed for that, and soon the moth was defeated. There was a milk molar of the mega variety up here too.
I climbed the log. I am a log conqueror.
I found a toenail over here. Who put this here, and how dare they? And I managed to get atop this section here to claim another molar. With the fallen trunk now defeated, it was time to investigate the stump of the tree. Discovering it unlocked Natural Explorer 3, which was another run speed improvement, so that was very nice. There were many ticks waiting for me in the stump, so I killed many ticks. I found an ominous looking hole and a field station, which prompted me to use the resource surveyor.
Where are red ant eggs?
I needed red ant eggs to make more bombs, and according to the surveyor, I was going to have to go all the way back to the original red ant nest to get some. I took on some tiger mosquitoes. These are just harder versions of the original mosquitoes, and I was quite pleased to find these guys because I hoped they'd give me the materials to make an improved stabby needle of lifesteal goodness. I of course did some stump parkour too, because wherever there's verticality in this game, there are bound to be hidden goodies. I ended up with a trifecta of cracked teeth for my efforts. Hang on a sec, just give me a chance to parkour some more. Yeah, make that 4. I could see on my map there was a burgle chip below the stump, but I was hesitant to go down there without upgrading my gear some more, so I decided to leave that for later, and I carried on exploring.
Uh-oh. You guys are in trouble. You guys are in trouble.
At the northern edge of the upper yard, next to the stump and its array of toy soldiers, was a big old ladder lying on its side. I bashed up a black ox beneath its metallic sheen.
Molar in the ladder.
The entire exploration mission was of course punctuated by the collection of materials. I found another molar in this pot, and then I did the only logical thing.
I feel I need to get inside the lawnmower. It's the only logical thing at this point.
I discovered another super mixer for later under the mower, and a good dose of rusty screws too. But the question was, how does one get atop the mower?
I could devour a billy hog right about now.
Alright, Wendell, shut up, bro. Everyone knows how good you are at devouring billy hogs.
Turns out, if you climb up a bush, it helps you get on top of the mower. I soon climbed atop, and I helped Wendell out by doing some rust removal, restoring his mower to brand new status.
It'd be a nightmare mowing this year. There's so much crap all over the place.
Yeah, if I was Wendell and it came time to mow the lawn, I would definitely be yelling at the kids to get them to clean up all the rubbish lying around. Oi son, pick up the 300 cans and Oreos and packs of mint and yoked girth figurines you left lying around. Also, can you roll this random car tire away? I need to cut the grass. Watch out for the spiny water fleas. Anyway, I climbed up the handle of the lawnmower, and in so doing, I found myself atop the ladder. From that high vantage, I spied a sneaky molar.
No, I missed it. I'm such an idiot.
It really wasn't a complicated jump, I am just a goose. But next time round, I was more careful. I next made the toolbox the focus of my attention. But my attempt to use screwdriver tactics was foiled by this inconvenient leaning spanner of blockage. And so I concluded I had to climb into the box from the other side. Except once there, black widowlings kept attacking me, so I was fearful a black widow was going to eat me. I plowed on regardless, and my screwdriver tactics over here were much more fruitful. However, the wasps were not appreciative of my intrusion.
You're in here with me, are you, bro? You sure you want to be in here with me?
I am pleased to report that the inside of a toolbox is an ideal place to take on wasps. It makes them much easier to whack in the head. I found it strange that I required a bomb to collect this chewing gum. Usually I could just dig at it with my shovel. And in the upper drawer of the toolbox, I was half expecting a black widow to be lurking, but no, the significantly less terrifying foe known as the milk molar was all that awaited me.
I've got to be doing pretty well as far as molars go, right?
I was at 75 out of 123, so I was more than halfway. That is pretty decent. I also took the opportunity to collect a stack of rust while in the box of tools. And then it was time to take my leave with a dive off the pliers.
I don't think there's anything else here. There's some pipes in the corner I need to look at, and I still haven't done this side of the map or down here. There's a hole I need to blow up and go in there. I need some blowing up. I definitely need to go get bombs. I need to get in here somehow. I don't know how to get in there.
In the trenches below the toolbox, I found the lair of the Black Widow, who I took a quick peep at before retreating quietly. I spent some of my hard-earned molars at a nearby field station, and the question of how to get into that bin box thingo was bugging me. So I googled it, and learned you can gain entry to it by angering the wasps of the yard. And the way to anger them was to chop down their nests. So I took down this one at the toolbox, which earned me some wasp paper, and I threw my axe at this one until it fell down. And I hoped this would be enough to elicit the necessary fury from the wasps. And with that, after 2.5 in-game days of exploring the yard, which is pretty much 2 real hours, I finally returned to my base to regroup. My bag was full of loot, and so was Scrappy's, and I now had some crafting to do. I made a wizard stick.
Mint staff. Oh. I just damaged my own base. That wasn't smart. Okay, so I also want to make a tick makaholutu. I want to make a tiger mosquito rapier.
I made some roly-poly gear and the full wasp set too. It gives bonuses to ranged attacks, so I never used it, but it was nice to have, I guess. I then did a bunch of upgrading, and I had heaps of materials, so this was no worries. I eventually made a black ox crossbow too, because it seemed to be a decent upgrade over my tier 2 bow. I eventually made a new zipline anchor, connected it to my spot on the retaining wall, and back north I went, where I immediately encountered something concerning about my chosen building location. I did not enjoy the prospect of ladybirds wandering too close. I decided it'd be fine and began considering what to build, but I immediately realized if I was serious about setting up a proper base here, I was gonna need to ferry a bunch of stuff from my oak tree storage. But before doing that, it was time for bed.
I sleep through the night. Am I gonna get the wasp cutscene? I did. Okay, so I've annoyed the wasps enough. Oh dear. Oh dear. There's now wasps over here. So wasps are kind of just around the yard now.
And the tunnel into their lair was now open too. Finally, I could go into that big box. On day 73, I got a start on the new base. And the executive decision was that the oak base would remain in its dodgy glory, forever unfinished, just a floating platform. But this new base on the retaining wall would be a proper establishment, and an opportunity for me to enjoy the creative building options this game has. As you can see, I opted for burr floors and mushroom walls. I had tons of mushroom bricks by this point, as I'd had the ovens cooking them up for ages, but I did not have many burrs, so the floor remained very much incomplete at this point.
Oh dear. He's angry. Don't attack my building.
If I could just stop the wildlife from eating my delicious mushroom base, then I was in with a good chance of making something glorious. There happened to be a bunch of mushrooms right next to this spot, so I chopped them down and collected plenty of mushroom chunks, as I'd already placed grinders down here to continue making mushroom slurry so I could make even more mushroom bricks. I set up stem and grass pallets and collected some of those to use in the project, and I put up a wall out front, complete with a big old curvy door.
Oh, that's pretty cool. This is a problem. He's gonna knock me off. Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, I shouldn't have built near these wasps. This is a mistake. Why do the wasps have to appear as soon as I decide to build a base there?
It's because you deliberately antagonize them, actually.
I should build like over there.
Well, too late now. I'm sure the wasps won't be that annoying. Spoiler alert, the wasps were extremely annoying.
This is not good. This is not good. Come find me over here, you idiot.
I guess that spoiler alert was really not necessary because this happened about 1 minute later. And again, it was too late. I'd put down roots. I'd even moved my ovens over. The move was official. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be fine. I then returned to the lower yard to search for red ant eggs. I managed to steal 9 in total, which meant I was able to craft 9 bombs, which was plenty to keep me going. I continued moving stuff over to the new base, and the storage and crafting area out front was coming along nicely. But on day 75, I put the building project on hold and headed out to make use of my bombs. I first returned to the cracked pipe cave, where I had to throw the bomb through the gap to blow up the rock. This meant the way through the water was clear and I was free to claim some goodies.
Wait, how much does this do? Get frozen. Get frozen.
I next went to this blocked cave I'd noticed earlier, and the rock of course went boom. And inside, a molar was tantalizingly making eyes at me from up on a ledge.
I have concerns there's a Black Widow in here, but I'm going in. How did I defeat the Black Widow last time?
I beat it through sheer volume of healing items used last time, but this time I wanted to try something new, so I upgraded my tick sword all the way up to level 8.
Alright, so I got a really big tick makahoti, or whatever it's called.
I popped on the Blade Master mutation, which makes sword attacks lower enemy attack damage, and also helps mitigate exhaustion when you run out of stamina. And of course the tick sword has lifesteal on it, and with a bonus 45% damage and the extra finale damage from being upgraded to level 8, it felt pretty strong.
I can just tank it. I can just tank it like a beast. So much heals. Look at all my heals! I don't need it. I don't need to do anything except attack. Get some, idiot. My Makahukatuku is just healing me up like a beast. Long live the Makahakatuku weapon. Wendell's stuck in the web. Honestly, sucked in Wendell.
So it seemed I had found myself a new build, where my average blocking skills didn't matter as much. Why block when you can just soak up all the damage, use lifesteal, and use healing items? In the spirit of this revelation, I took all my block-related mutations off, because I no longer considered blocking in combat a priority.
The downside is my armor is constantly getting a beating.
But I was able to repair it reasonably affordably, so it's all good. But speaking of armor, I was wearing a couple of roly-poly items at this point. I'd gotten rid of the Black Ox armor because I didn't like charged attacks, except the roly-poly armor helps your blocks, so it was also less than ideal. I left it on for now though, because it was time to enter the tunnel the angry wasps had made. And upon entering, I learned this thing was called the Brawny Boy Bin, and I was in.
Brawny Boy Bin, Brawny Boy Bin, Brawny Boy Bin.
It was like a storage or toy box, judging by the random stuff in it. But I couldn't imagine why there'd be a whole dang keyboard in here. I poked around, taking in the sights, wondering if any wasps were still lurking. I soon found a molar, and as I arrived at this rip in a cardboard box, a tick started bothering me. I had the Mysterious Stranger mutation active, so this happened.
Hey, he came.
He arrived as the tick died, which was poor form, and he didn't last long, so I decided to get rid of that mutation. Tucked in this corner of the bin was another Black Widow. It got the tick sword treatment, and I claimed the molar it was protecting. Around this way, I spotted some of those wasps I'd been expecting. I found a scabby scheme in the corner, and I climbed up here to discover I could hammer this thing, which caused it to fall towards the entrance, so this would act as a ramp and a bit of a shortcut later on. The thing above me was actually a full-size tasty robot, and it was home to a cheeky tooth.
Another tooth, another dollar, as they say.
That genuinely is exactly what I imagine the Tooth Fairy says. I wandered into this rocket candy container, in which I found a trinket that improves shields. I didn't use shields anymore, so I wasn't impressed. And you see what I mean? It's a big tasty bot. How cool.
Oh, look at that. That's interesting.
I found another molar, I picked up a fair few wasp papers, and then I figured I'd better clear out the riffraff. I did my best to lure them under the tasty, and killing the wasps was pretty easy, but once again the drone proved to be a bit of a headache, as it was so fond of shooting barbs at me from on high. I admired a big old stick of joy, and whacked it for good measure, and up here I discovered another joint I could hammer to cause a ramp to fall in the direction of more wasps. Once again the drone trolled me, but I eventually managed to lure it below the tasty. There was a field station up here, in which I bought more max health, and it seemed I'd seen everything there was to see in here, except whatever awaited me in this absolutely monstrous wasp nest. So I floated my way down there.
Look at this. This is sick. Anyone home? BBQ medley. Oh, yeah. I need to summon the boss with a BBQ medley. How do I make a BBQ medley? I have no idea. Wait, where's the burgle chip?
Another boss whose favorite food I'd need to somehow cook. And yes, the entire point of my visit to this bin was to find the burgle chip. I soon spied it in this blue thing, and so I claimed the forgotten burgle chip.
Alright, I just looked up where to find the BBQ medley recipe, and apparently there was a dead body right next to the thing.
Yeah, I somehow completely missed this skeleton. It had an orc receiver on it, so I finally realized all the random dead people around the yard were probably working for Ominent, spying on Wendell, I guess. This guy was the health and safety officer, but I believe both his health and his safety were compromised. Anyway, I got the recipe.
Bee stinger, mosquito, tiger. Oh, that's pretty easy to make, actually.
Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, 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 buzz. Buzz, 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 buzz.
All of that top-tier burr collecting allowed me to fill in a fair bit of the floor of my house. It was coming along nicely. And you may have noticed the bulk of it was actually hanging over the large drop down to the lower yard. This may seem like an engineering faux pas, but in reality, burrs are just good at defying gravity. I gave Burgle the brawny bin chip, but the new stuff for sale wasn't that exciting to be honest. And then some idiot wasp attacked my beautiful oak tree base. I was just going to ignore it, but then I remembered if it destroyed a piece of the stairs, the entire thing would collapse, so I fought it off. I next ran east along the retaining wall, because there was still plenty I was yet to explore over here.
Is this a Barbie car? Christy doll. Oh, hello. She's got some good stuff in her car, you know.
I'd spotted this molar halfway down the stone wall ages ago, and it was finally time to float down and claim it. And then I went for a dip in the pond. I should mention that at this point in the playthrough, I began referring to an interactive grounded map on mapgenie.io, because I'd explored almost everywhere, but I wanted to know what I'd missed. For example, this molar in the pond. But the main reason I'd went for a swim was because I'd remembered that there were some locked doors down here. And now that I had the assistant manager's keycard, I figured I'd be able to get in. Through here, I remotely opened a door that I later worked out was all the way back in the stump. So basically, I could now properly access the stump lab. I grabbed a scabby I'd missed from the pond lab, and some muscle sprouts while I was there because why not, and I found a molar in the depths, a lab note, and another scabby in a different section of the lab. That was my first official cleanup collecting session, where the whole point of it was to focus in on charging towards 100%. I still had a long way to go though. I then got back to exploring the areas of the map I hadn't been to yet.
Hey, what the hell was that? Oh, not the roly-poly.
Oh, for goodness sake. Below this yoked girth figurine, I found an entrance to the jungle anthill, home to the fire ants, including the first ever fire soldier ant I'd come across. I finished it off with my frosty wizard staff. This was the biggest of all the ant nests, and unlike the other nests, even the workers in here were aggressive towards me, so I had to fight my way through. I was rewarded with more upgrade materials than ever. I used bombs to get at the good stuff, and I randomly popped out halfway up a big hole.
Wait, where the hell am I now? Oh, dude.
I found spice, gum, tooth, and more tooth.
Frost staff. Boom. Boom. Frost staff in your face.
And you get the idea. I cleared the place of both ants and loot, with some parkour thrown in to get at the more elusive goodies. I eventually emerged at the bottom of that big hole, where there was a weird head looking at me, and as always, stuff to grab. And I found the fire ant queen, hankering for a tasty toe jam sandwich. Again, the amount of upgrade materials I found was truly outrageous. And I was exploring this labyrinth for so long, the chewing gum respawned. Back upstairs, I found the field station of the southeastern grasslands. And analyzing the fire ant mandibles from the fire soldier ants, unlocked the last piece of the fire ant armor set, a set I was soon to become rather fond of. I of course also spent my molars, and it seemed I was getting close to maxing out, though of course all the final purchases cost the most, so I had more to find than it looks.
Oh, there's one like in here? Yeah, there's one. Wait, is that a bunch? There's a bunch in here. What? How do I get to those? It's over in this area, by the way. It's like a whole new world. Oh, it's a berry. Wait, are those berries? Huh. Pour some poison on me. Glam mix. What? Oh, hello. Ooh.
Under the blue cap was a tunnel in which I found a dead Ominent intern. Bad luck, buddy. I hope you're at least a paid intern. And it led through to the glorious bounty of 5 molars. And here's an indication of how many flamin' fire ants I killed. I had almost 100 of their delicious parts with me when I returned to base. By the way, the various Ominent staff trinkets I'd been finding all gave a bonus, but also a debuff.
This gives an extra 15 hauling strength, but minus movement speed. But if you use Natural Explorer with it, I think it kind of evens out.
I never used any of them. I made the complete fire ant set.
Kind of looks stupid, unfortunately.
I upgraded all 3 pieces to Sleek level 7, and this set gives plus acid damage, a chance to cause an explosion of acid on melee attacks, and it gives attacks a chance to apply the corrosion debuff, which makes enemies take 15% more damage. I was a big fan of this set, and I wore it for pretty much the rest of the playthrough. Now that Black Widows were no longer scary, I returned to under the toolbox, and with my new armor, this was easier than ever.
You suck. Black Widow, how did I ever struggle against a Black Widow, man?
The extra damage from acid splashes and corrosion not only killed enemies quicker, it also increased the amount I was lifestealing. And I couldn't believe it, but this Black Widow was not guarding a molar. I stole some raw science from this soldier, and down in this tunnel I came up against the biggest challenge of the entire game. The trial of the big red ball.
Move out of the way, Wendell, you idiot. Stop messing with my big red ball.
Yes, go big red ball.
Yeah, we on the big red ball. Bro, what is going on when the devs just randomly add a big red ball puzzle? Someone on the dev team was just like, bro, you guys mind if I make a big red ball puzzle? And everyone was like, huh? Stupid big red ball. Stay in your corner. Wendell, you idiot. Wendell, Scrappy and Wendell are killing me, bro. I hate the red ball puzzle. The red ball puzzle is evil. Go red ball. Go red ball. No, go that way. No, this way. Oh, we made it. Okay, good. I love the red ball puzzle. What a great puzzle. Buzz. Come back, Buzz. Come back, Buzz. In my defense, it would be nice if my entire house had a floor. I feel like that's a respectable reason to get obsessed with burrs. Oh, it's a bonanza. Get him!
I feel like I've probably hit the upper limit of burr collecting clips that I should include in the video. But what can I say? I always make hilarious comments when collecting burrs. Here's a pinecone piece collecting clip for some balance. I next explored the very top right corner of the map, which yielded up a gold tooth and some shards. I continued south from there, poking around the area west of the stump, and the major landmark over here was big, red, and leaning on the wall.
I feel I should investigate the wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow?
I dispensed with the defenders of the wheelbarrow, and you'll notice I still used my mint mace against the beetles. This was because it did way more damage and stunned them quite quickly. But then came the important question.
Can the wheelbarrow be climbed? Yes.
Yes, but not really. I couldn't actually get higher than about halfway up the wheel.
What the heck is that? Oh, a green shield bug.
It was weak to stabbing, so I got in there with my rusty spear. And I think it's fair to say this thing was rather flatulent, so I had my gas mask on too.
It's farting like crazy, dude.
It took a lot of stabs, but the stink bug's bigger brother was ultimately pretty easy to defeat. I persevered with my tire climbing and finally managed to get on top of it, but with that I'd officially reached the actual limit. It was much too steep to go any further. I concluded the only way up must be via the vines and leaves and bricks of the wall.
I feel like I can get up pretty high like this. Okay, this is promising. This is somewhat promising. Can I get any higher? Yeah, you can get over there. I just don't understand how. I think I'm supposed to climb these leaves.
I climbed a vine all the way up rather far north, and at least managed to raise this random burgle flag. But the ascent to actually get onto the wheelbarrow was a lot trickier, and I soon grew frustrated and resolved to return with some building materials to make things simpler. For now, I headed further south, past this log wall, where I found what I'd say is the hardest mixer in the game.
Oh, that looks serious. Ticks, tiger mosquitoes, and the fat stink bugs? Holy dooly.
I returned home to regroup and use some of those burrs, and I outrageously did not have enough for my floor, but I was close. I then accidentally fell down, and I used that as an excuse to get more burrs, because burrs had begun appearing in the lower yard too. Remember Trowel Gulch from early in the game? I finally blew up its big rock and found a field station, and a little puddle with a mega milk molar and Scabby in it.
Maybe that was the field station I tried to find like a million years ago, and I couldn't find it anywhere. It was below me.
I placed some more floor down, but this time I ran out of lint rope. My base was then raided by fire ants, which I guess is fair because I'd fairly thoroughly raided their home a couple of days ago. And I had a recurring problem where I would run out of plant fiber to make crude rope or bandages, so I got fed up and collected a bunch of grass, which I turned into plant fiber with my grinders. I eventually returned to the final frontier of the map, south of the wheelbarrow, where I of course explored as thoroughly as possible. I found the area's field station, and then I realized I was just north of the good old hedge. How about that? I found another black widow lair, so another scary spider got the tick sword treatment, and this one was guarding a tooth, so balance was restored to the backyard. Also, toenails. I found this thing. What is it? I don't know. But below it I found these two chunky boys guarding a molar. Over on the wall here I found a cheeky nook with a Scabby and another molar, but once down I couldn't get back up, so I was forced to jump down to the lower yard. But that led me to another molar among all the fungus, so that was something. I made my way back, and it was time to turn my attention to the main feature of this area, Castle Moldork, which was sitting pretty atop a rock in the center of this moat. I jumped into the water to see if I could find a way up to it.
So many water fleas, holy dooly. There's so many of them. Leave me alone.
There wasn't much down here except for the spiny water fleas that would not leave me alone, and some pond moss, which I couldn't collect because I apparently needed a higher tier tool. After clearing out some tiger mozzies, I found evidence of a lab here, but the door was locked. So I made use of this fallen bird bath to climb and jump my way across to the stack of stones on which the castle was located. I ended up under the rim of the castle, and I tried for quite a while to find a way in, but was eventually forced to conclude I would have to build my way up there. By the way, you may have noticed I'd been iterating on a giant staircase at the back of my base. I was planning for this to become a big old tower one day.
Wait, I need 2 more burrs? Oh no. I need 1 more lint rope. No.
I returned to Castle Moldork as the sun rose on day 82, where I placed down a zipline anchor for later. And I used a bunch of clay that I'd brought to make a bridge all the way across the moat, with some mushroom stairs at the other end to help me get up onto the big tongue. There was a crack in the floor here, but I didn't trust it because I thought it was just gonna lead me down to where I'd been stuck earlier trying to climb up. Apparently I'd totally forgotten I'd seen a lab door down by the water.
Oh dear.
There was some raw science in here, and plenty of stairs to jump up as I made my way higher, but otherwise the castle of Moldy Orc seemed rather empty. There were some mozzies to go along with a couple of goodies, and it's always a triumphant moment when you get to raise the burgle flag high. But most exciting was the opportunity to rudely wake up a moth.
Don't shoot dust at me, you dusty idiot.
And finally, I floated down to this cage where I claimed a shiny Goldie. I next returned to conquer below the stump. This door here was the one that I'd opened with the switch down in the pond, but there was something off kilter about it.
Alright, we're in. This looks dangerous, you know?
I believe some calamity may have befallen this lab, because it was not oriented in a way that made sense in relation to gravity, if you know what I mean.
What the heck? It's all sideways. Oh dear. Oh, this is so disorientating.
I had some trouble adjusting to this confusing perspective, but I managed to jump my way up the floor of this room to get to this hallway, which led to a molar and another room to jump into. I made my way to this terminal, which when pressed opened a door back in the first room, and then I had more than a little bit of trouble navigating the dodgy lab.
Dude, I hate my life.
That, my friends, was hyperbole. I love my life, almost as much as I love burrs. Anyway, I eventually made it up and out, and I returned to the first room, went through the now open door, and claimed the stump burgle chip.
That super chip was pretty much the last thing. I mean, there's stuff I know I need to do, but I feel like I've pretty much explored the map. The final chip. Advanced smithing. Yes! Can finally get my gear fully maxed. Oh, you need scarab things? Well, I do have 14 of those or something.
I bought the advanced smithing stuff, and I spent some molars too. And at this point, I still needed tons of raw science to buy all the other stuff in the science shop. I needed 20 more molars. I had quite a few burgle quests still to go, and I had numerous bosses to kill too. I first went to the hedge, where I began collecting stuff I'd missed the first time round. And remember this terrifying spider's lair I'd seen near the frisbee way back when? This is the broodmother's lair, so I wandered in ready for a serious boss fight.
Oh, do I need to offer something here as well? Broodmother BLT.
I don't know why I was expecting this boss to be different, but yes, I needed to bring food to lure the broodmother out. So no boss fight just yet. I did the hedge mixer while here. It was an easy one as it only summoned lava and orb weavers, which were extremely easy with the gear I had on, but I somehow still nearly lost anyway, purely because with so many enemies attacking, it was hard to get their attention, and some of them bashed up the mixer when I wasn't looking. Also, I think I may have accidentally hit the mixer with my wild sword swings. Anyway, I was ultimately successful, and that was 2 out of 8 mixers completed. I then tracked down some of the hedge molars I'd missed, and I discovered a sneaky lab outpost out on this branch. It had a scabby and the recipe for broodmother BLT. There was also another molar out here too. After one more hedge scabby, I grabbed a couple of goodies from some caves in the lower grasslands, and remember this power outlet that I ramped up to at the edge of the hedge? I had to build another ramp up to it, because there was a scabby on top. I used clover roofs this time, which was much faster. I likewise used clover roofing to ramp my way all the way up to one of the lasers, just to get me up onto this wire, and from there I was able to climb further still to claim another scabby. Since I was finding so many scabby themes, I figured I should actually use one. I chose Hyper Blaster. Over at one of the other laser tripods, I was able to get up by climbing this bush, and add another scabby theme to the collection. 9 more to go, by the way. I defended my base from another assault, except I suffered a casualty.
They destroyed my oven? What?
Fortunately, they did not destroy my oven that was cooking the BLT.
I have the broodmother BLT.
I grabbed this scabby here, make that 8 more to go, and then it was time to find out if my get hit in the face and then lifesteal like an idiot build was good enough to take on the broodmother. I whacked the delicious bombardier, ladybug, and thistle sandwich in there, and down came the big mama.
Oh, she's weak to slashing, that's good. Hello.
My initial impression was, holy crap, I'm dealing a lot of damage, and I'm barely taking any damage. This is the first optional boss of the game, and it's probably designed around being fought a bit earlier than I was fighting her. But it did get a little more intense when she summoned some little ones, and once she got below 50% health, she started taking way less damage. But ultimately, I was pretty much able to steamroll through this fight.
Die. Yes.
I analyzed the bombardier parts and was amused to see not only armor and weapon recipes, but also decorative recipes. And when I got back to base, I made the baseball bat of the mother demon, because I figured why not. I then did some work on my roof, which involved a fair bit of stem and clover collecting, but I made decent progress. And I also randomly made a stuffed infected wolf spider.
Oh, I'll just leave him there. Terrify me every time I walk out my base. I'll be like, ah!
I began work on the wall of the tower and added some pillars too. And now that I actually had an interior, I figured I'd better do some work decorating it. I lounged for a bit and earned an achievement for successfully lounging in a chair. I hung up a red ant queen chandelier, and as I continued placing down lighting and furniture, my house reached coziness level 2, and I unlocked a bunch of new decorative recipes. Fast forward a bit, and it looked like this.
Okay, it's coming along.
Fast forward some more, and check out these ones.
Let's make it a nice pink car. Yeah, that looks nice.
And so does the rest of the room. I am truly an artist. Why is there a roly-poly in the corner? Somewhere in there, the coziness level got up to level 3, by the way. You can tell by this little thingo here. Inspired by my foray into interior design, I went and bought a bunch of decorative recipes from the science shop. I made a little corner here to display some of my items, and then I had a break from decorating, and I tried to get a very random Steam achievement. I needed to get my tiny basketball that was made out of berry leather into the tiny hoop from more than 40 centimeters away. I was just guessing the distance at first, and it took me ages to get one in. Sadly, it was not more than 40 centimeters.
Well, that wasn't 40 centimeters? No, how far is 40 centimeters?
I set up a beacon so I could tell how far I actually was, and I switched to shooting pebbles because Google told me if those go in, it counts. And I was of course able to keep a stack of them on me so I could throw way more shots.
Oh, that went in. That didn't count? How did that not count?
Yeah, I'm a bit sad that one didn't count, because literally 15 minutes went by. By this point, I'd made a little staircase to get some height, which made reaching the distance a little easier.
Come on, man. Oh, there it is. Yes!
I cooked and crafted a couple of things to knock over some burgle quests, and I'd also cooked up a BBQ medley by this point. So it was time to summon and take on the Wasp Queen.
Good and gracie. Weak to salty, huh?
At first I wondered if she'd just fly out of range and shoot stuff at me, so I whipped out the crossbow as she began summoning some little wasps to join the fight. But she soon charged at me, and I was able to begin swinging away with my tick sword. A bit of lifesteal and using some healing items stabilized my health, and even once she began hovering again, I decided to just jump like a madman and try my best to hit her.
Bro, my strategy's actually working. My healing strategy's OP.
I'd honestly thought it was not going to work well for me in this fight, but everything seemed to be going smoothly. I especially liked it when she randomly chose to land for a bit, which allowed me to slap her silly. She summoned plenty of wasps, but they seemed weaker than the ones in the wild as they died rather quickly.
Bro, this is easy. I'm huge.
I kept a bandage heal ticking the whole fight, so I used a few of those, but I only had to use one soothing syrup. Other than that, my life still kept me healthy, and the Wasp Queen was squished.
Sorry. Sorry, Wasp Queen. You dead. You dead. Kill the Wasp Queen. 3.6%, huh? Twing of your bowstring mimics that of a harp, empowering your allies as you shoot. Okay. So you can buff your allies. It's a good multiplayer one, I guess.
I rounded out my trip to the brawny bin by grabbing the scabby I'd missed earlier. I then returned to the stump, because apparently I am very good at missing things. I picked up the mantis research node, which taught me the orchid mantis kebab recipe. I had no idea how to find the sticky key for the chest in the tire, so that was a Google job, and I learned it was all the way up on the wall above the ladder. And I learned why it was sticky. It was inside some chewing gum. Delicious. I of course took the key straight to the tire, jumped on in, opened up the chest, and there were 2 milk molars in there. How generous. I then finally, after many days of gallivanting distractedly, decided to return to the main quest.
We're blowing our way in.
Yes, indeed, I was in. I climbed this battery and placed the embiggening cell in its place, and the only thing remaining to do was climb up above to the pencil sharpener, into which I needed to place all the ingredients for the cocktail. Except, I forgot to bring the ingredients. Back at base, I realized I only had 2 more broodmother chunks, and the orchid mantis kebab required 5, so I was gonna need to kill the broodmother again before I could have a shot at the mantis. But first, I returned to the pencil sharpener, with the ingredients in tow this time.
Let's get big again. Get big again. Big again. Get big again. Big again. Get big again.
I was getting a little ahead of myself. This was not going to make me big again. It was just going to brew the embiggening cocktail. But this was nonetheless an exciting moment. In went the materials, and it was time to press the big red button on the calculator.
Alright, are we doing this? I guess I'm doing it. Here we go. Here we go.
The Java-matic fired up with some glorious purple beams. However, it appeared there was a power issue.
Uh-oh. What?
It looks like there are still a few bugs left in the system.
Ominent and its orc bugs were still meddling. How rude.
Ew, stop it.
I killed the offenders, but the pink mixer module thingos needed repairing, so I ran back to base and grabbed a repair tool, and they were back in top shape in no time. Wendell was outraged about Director Schmechter's continued interference, and he warned that if we tried to fire up the Java-matic again, more orc bugs would attack. But he gave me access to this storage facility, from which I looted a bunch of stuff, and his suggestion was that I build some defenses, so I began work on that. Back at base, my first 5 mighty jewels were ready. These are made from supreme quartzite and twinkling shells. I used them to upgrade my tick sword to level 8. I fired up the machine again, and sure enough, the orcs began to attack. As you can see, the brewing was going to take a while, as indicated by the purple bar up top, and I had to defend all 3 mixer modules, because if one of them was destroyed, the whole operation would come crashing down. As you can see, I built mushroom walls around each one, but even the early attackers began destroying sections of the wall, so I was worried I'd underdone the defenses. And these glowflies were a spanner in the works. I hadn't thought about defending against flying bugs. They were obviously able to ignore the walls completely, and since they were hovering about above ground, I found it hard to kill them, so while they distracted me, the ants below destroyed an entire side of the wall. And then came a fresh wave of orcs, including a rather tanky ladybird.
Dude, how am I supposed to do this? What the heck? This is ridiculous. I'm just getting knocked around. I don't have time to distract them all. What? What?
I did some more work on the tower to help calm down.
It's like in my base. This is not good. Bro, why are there so many wasps attacking me? Idiot wasps. Bro, I hate this. Stupid.
One design choice I was happy with was the chimney, which I planned to have go all the way up the side of the tower. It made for a nice point of difference against the white of the mushroom walls. Wendell had mentioned that Ominent must have a lab somewhere in the yard, and he'd hinted that if I destroyed it, perhaps the orc onslaught wouldn't be so powerful, so I figured I'd give that a try. I wasn't exactly sure where the base was though, but then I remembered the cheeky door at the bottom of Castle Moldork. The hole here didn't lead to nothing after all. It led to the sneaky Ominent base of operations in the backyard.
I knew it! Schmechter has been spying on me this whole time.
Burgle hacked the door for us, and in we went. There are a bunch of orc receivers lying around, and a most interesting moldy note. This gave me the recipe for the fave food of the final boss of the game, the infected broodmother, and it requires parts from all of the other bosses. I descended and saw a bunch of captive insects on the way down, and then I arrived to see an ominous room with a big red button.
Bravo, bravo. So the lab rats have finally reached the end of the maze.
Wendell and Schmechter exchanged some fiery words, and it gave me the impression that they don't like each other.
You were pathetic before I fired you. Look at you now. You're nothing. Just a shriveled, sad raisin.
No one talks to my floating head like that, so I opted to attack, and Schmechter floated down to fight me in robot form.
Get some. Get some. I got my unstoppable buffhead build. My unstoppable buffhead build will slap you in the head and heal infinitely.
He summoned some of his mind-controlled bugs, but the famous buffhead build was too strong.
It's crazy. It's cool how the screen goes all red when I whack him. The build I've got is so stupid. Just stand there like a massive idiot and smack.
The lasers did quite a lot of damage, so I had to be careful, but I had plenty of soothing syrup to heal up with. And so I was, with many swings of my tick sword, able to finally expel the forces of Ominent from the yard.
Oh dear, that owned.
That was a Steam achievement, and I looted all of Ominent's files from the robot corpse. So now Wendell would hopefully have access to information that might help him heal himself. I unlocked some juicy recipes too.
Acid Edge. Supreme Whetstone. Oh, can make Supreme Whetstones now? Yeah, with sap and ladybirds, and that's not that expensive.
So now I could craft all of the upgrade materials, meaning even once the naturally found stuff ran out, I could still upgrade infinite weapons and armor if I wanted.
Does that mean that if I do the embiggening, I won't get attacked now? Or am I still gonna get attacked?
Yes indeed, now that Director Schmechter's base had been cleared out, I wondered if I'd still have to do the wave defense. I immediately learned the answer to that question. You still get attacked, and I'm pretty sure it didn't make it any easier either. But I was a little more organized, and a little more cluey as to what to expect, and apparently that made a massive difference. I think the key was that I managed to clear out waves fairly promptly, which meant enemies didn't build up to the point of overwhelming me, unlike last time. I got through the first big section of madness that killed me before, and then there was a bit of a lull in which I did some repairing. A black ox showed up, but thankfully there wasn't an army of smaller insects to deal with at the same time, so defeating it was manageable. And after another lull, the brewing was more than halfway complete. And from there, it was pretty much non-stop. The bigger insects that attacked felt manageable. It was the little sneaky ants that were tricky. They started beating on the walls when I wasn't looking, and so I was running around like a goose on the loose while modules A and C constantly took chip damage. Even though my walls ended up with gaps in them, they distracted enough attention to be effective, and I managed to take on and kill all of the bigger bugs reasonably far away from the modules, so they didn't get off any of their superior damage on the objectives. Eventually, all of the enemies were defeated, and after one final lull, the brewing was complete.
Okay. I believe I have done it. Successfully brew the embiggening cocktail. We can embiggen now.
I grabbed the cell, and it was ready to be taken to the spacer in the lower yard, where I could finally grow into a big boy again. But first, it was time to work on my tower. Good progress. The problem with building a giant spiral staircase is it gives you a headache every time you run up it. But I'd finally decided this was high enough, and so I began building a floor up here. I couldn't be bothered collecting more lint and burrs, so I stuck with the stem platform.
So I'm meant for this tower to be like the avenue to the north. You zipline from there to here, and then you can zipline from here to anywhere. But I don't really have many zip lines. I got one like over there, and I got one up there.
Soon the platform was finished, and the next job was the remainder of the walls. But it was kind of a finicky process to build it.
It's really annoying to build this tower. I think I might have enough bricks. Oh, maybe not actually. I'm gonna need a lot of bricks. I just really can't be bothered right now.
So I figured it was time to grow big instead.
We're right back where we started, at the mysterious machine with the 3 lasers. And it's time to grow big again. Oh my gosh. So this is the spacer the whole time. Hey, you guys are still bothering me? Oh, here we go. Turn on the spacer and go home. The embiggening cell is in there. Okay. There's a crow feather right there. Okay, I'm getting big. Embiggification. Here it goes. Here it goes. Oh. Oh, I wanted to see from like the third person growing big again. I'm like taller than that oak tree. Is that just an oak tree sapling? Several months later.
And with a flash, that was the end of the tiny adventure of a lifetime.
Yes, indeed.
At least that's what the local papers call it. It's hard to believe how much has happened since then. There were reporters, investigators, even the FBI got involved. They tried to keep a lid on all of it, but the whole story came out. About the kidnappings, about the dead teenagers, about Omni. Turns out, everyone did learn the name of Director Dalton Schmechter, just like he always would. But when the dust settled, the weirdest thing happened. People learned the truth about the shrinking technology and about me. It felt good to get the recognition that I had always wanted for all my life. Pete, Willow, Max, and Hoops tried to go back to being normal teenagers. Burgle has joined the kids' new science and robotics club. He's the mascot, they didn't tell him. I'm expecting big things from all of them. Life's getting back to normal around here.
Wait, how did Wendell get his body back?
Can still see
He's a shriveled head, bro.
And no, I haven't come up with my next big invention. And I don't mind one bit either. Because when it comes down to it,
yeah,
all that really matters is that we make the most of the time that we have together.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Game report card. Killed 1,859 creatures. Harvested 460 grass. 802 perfect blocks. Unbelievable. That's way more than I thought. And I died 49 more times. I'm already at 90%.
For some reason, I didn't get the achievement to grow big again, so I grew big again.
There we go. I got it that time.
And 90% was a good report card, but I of course wanted 100%. And this was the interactive map that helped me track down all the stuff I was missing. I got busy immediately, and one of the things that I hadn't been paying enough attention to was the data tab. I needed to collect all of this stuff as well. Here was some data I'd missed on a dead Omniman idiot near the hedge. I killed the broodmother, not once, but twice, and that got me the materials I needed to make both the mantis summoning food and the infected broodmother summoning food. I spent some molars, I was getting real close to finding all of these, and I snagged any stuff I'd missed whenever I was in an area.
Uh-oh. No! The orchid mantis kebab. Hello. Hey, don't attack my stuff. No! No, not my stuffed. Not my stuffed infected spider. How dare you? They destroyed it. They destroyed it. That's rude.
I spent some time working on the tower walls.
Alright, the big old tower is getting there. It looks pretty cool. I like it.
And though I enjoyed the view below the house, it made me too vulnerable to idiot wasps, so I enclosed it. I made some liquid rage for plus attack and a black ox burger for damage resistance, and I wandered over to the orchid pot plant, up the dodgy hose, and into the mantis boss arena.
Blade Masters reduce the damage they do. Meat shield for health, buff lungs for stamina. This for crits. Let's try the Mysterious Stranger. Maybe the man can come help me.
I ate the burger and drank the rage, and I popped the orchid mantis kebab in there.
Oh dear. Weak to salty. And immune to like everything. Ow.
It wasn't immune to everything, that would have been rough, but it was resistant to slashing, so my sword was dealing 25% less damage. And I thought for sure my rampaging success with the lifesteal build would be over. Surely it wouldn't work against the mantis. I hadn't even fully upgraded my gear, but apparently I was fine.
Bro, am I owning? What's it doing? What's it doing? I don't know what it just did. It's got heaps of debuffs on me. Yes, the mant's here. Get him, man. Get him. Get him, man. Yes, man. Big stuns. What a beast. The Mant versus Mantis. Man, why are you fighting Wendell? Go, Mant. Bro, the Mant's OP. No, never mind. He's dead. Bro, I'm owning. My build is so OP. I don't block anything. I just attack like an idiot. Pop heals. Mant's back! Where'd you go? Come here. You can't get away from me and the man. Get him, man. Man, what are you doing? I think the man's fighting Wendell, I swear. Bro. My strategy just owns everything. Amazing. All right. We did it. We got the mantis. That was so much easier than I thought. Amazing. Apex Predator. I've become the strongest creature in the backyard, and I'm able to bring the hidden strength in weapons made from bosses. Oh.
If you use the Apex Predator mutation while wielding this bard's bow, which I'd made out of Wasp Queen materials, it's granted the ability to sometimes summon wasps to fight for you. And obviously the other boss weapons get special bonuses too. I was definitely impressed by the variety of build options in this game. Not that I tried any of them because I loved my buffhead build too much.
It's done. It's done! It's actually done.
I analyzed the mantis stuff, yet more gear options I didn't make use of, and I set up some new zip lines from the top of my tower. I collected some Everchar charcoal chunks and used them to build a hot tub.
Aha! Finally build a hot tub. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
That helped get my base up to level 4 coziness, which unlocked a bunch more decorative options.
That is intense.
I had a decorating session trying to get my coziness up to the max level of 5, with a lint and toenail collecting expedition thrown in there somewhere.
I can make the moldy hoagie. I have enough toenails, and the mantis head, and the wasp queen head, and the broodmother fang.
I was extremely happy with this bee rug. It's very cute, but my coziness was struggling to get up to 5, so I resorted to placing down taxidermied insects on the roof. Apparently these are cozy, so I placed quite a few of them.
Alright, surely. There it is. Max coziness.
This unlocked yet more decorative recipes, like this pinecone grandfather clock.
This achievement I got for free somehow months ago when I was first playing the game. It's now November, by the way, and I needed max coziness, which is 5, and I now have it. This is when I should have gotten that achievement. And by the way, this house looks amazing, and then the big tower is glorious.
I next went and did the nearby super mixer, and it wasn't too bad, just fire ants and the occasional roly-poly. However, I think I should have placed down more mushroom walls just to be safe. It was a little bit rough to fumble right at the end of the wave defense.
Oh, it's actually getting attacked. Hit him. No, dude! Oh, for goodness sake.
The next time I tried it, I had a few more walls up, and I was a little more on the ball, and so I successfully held off the waves of foes. I'd forgotten to use the guard dog perk, so it was nice to be reminded it exists when it leveled up to 2. It gives increased attack when doing wave defense, so I used it for the rest of these. I finally fully upgraded my beloved fire ant set to level 9, but I didn't have enough twinkling shells from scarabs to upgrade my tick sword to level 9, so it stayed at 8.
I came here ages ago and it was blocked off.
Well, it wasn't blocked off anymore, and so I was free to stride into the fungus-infected lair of the final boss of Grounded, the infected broodmother.
Wait, what? Oh, it's giving Scrappy a buff. Oh dear, I shouldn't have drunk that.
What's the first thing you do when you enter the lair of a disgusting beast? You drink the radioactive puddle on the floor, of course. It gave me temporary buffs and debuffs, and the permanent sick debuff. But all that does is make you get hungry faster, so it wasn't a big deal.
I guess I don't want her to stand in that. I'm gonna guess there's gonna be explosions, fungal explosions, so maybe a corner will be good. And we've saved, we go for it. Oh gosh. Oh, it's so ugly. Oh, weak to fresh, that's interesting. Come get some, bro.
I had the same food buffs and mutations as against the mantis, except I'd swapped out the mant mutation for Mithridatism, which grants resistance to poison. Except she doesn't inflict poison, she envenoms, so that mutation was useless. But anyway, I felt like I was doing quite well.
Like, why do I do so much damage?
And so I vanquished the infected broodmother. Too easy.
It just does no damage to me. She's not dead, right? Is she actually dead? No, I didn't think so. I'm getting trolled.
Welcome to phase 2, where things get much trickier.
What is this debuff on me? Oh dear, explosions. We got second phase here.
She inflicted a whole range of debuffs, including temporary attack and damage resistance penalties, but the most brutal debuff was a permanent stacking penalty to my healing. As the fight progressed, this stacked up quite high, and it meant my soothing syrup and bandages became less and less useful.
I can't see what is going on, by the way.
At this point, I didn't quite comprehend how deadly that healing debuff stack was going to be, so I was sticking to my good old strategy of not blocking very much, if at all, and instead relying on lifesteal and healing. But I'd been just waiting for my build to fall flat against a boss ever since I started doing it, and perhaps it was about time I hit a brick wall.
Yeah, between my bandage ticking and my auto attacks healing, I'm doing alright.
I was doing alright so far, but it didn't help when some fungal explosions healed her up a bunch.
Oh, she healed up? What healed her up? Oh no.
It was taking ages to wear her down with my sword, so I whipped out the mint mace for a bit to enjoy the benefits of the fresh damage she was weak to. But without lifesteal and with increasingly weaker soothing syrup, my health fell to dangerous lows. I suddenly had to begin chugging the potions on cooldown, and soon out of the 23 I started with, I only had 10 left.
Gotta get my health back up. Gotta get my health back up. Yeah, spamming potions for the win. I shouldn't have got fancy with the... I should not have got... Oh dear, the explosion is doing so much damage. Oh no!
Alright, that's a reload and try again. Perhaps my glorious build had met its match. Phase 1. Let's be honest about Phase 1. It's very easy. Phase 2. In Phase 2, I realized she was fond of putting enormous radioactive bombs beneath her. And if I let them explode, they healed her up a bunch. So I learned to attack and destroy them. And this meant she didn't heal herself up as much as last attempt. I stuck with my sword the entire time this go round. And I don't know if it was just because she didn't get healed up as much, but things went way more smoothly. Soon she was dead. I defeated the infected broodmother. Too easy.
Alright, is she actually dead now? She's not actually dead. Can we stop trolling, please? Oh, for goodness sake.
Welcome to Phase 3. In this phase, she had yet more health and yet more damage. And while in Phase 2, she seemed pretty obsessed with throwing fungal bombs everywhere, in Phase 3, she was going in for melee attacks much more often, and with much more ferocity. For my part, I just stuck to my guns, swinging wildly and slowly chipping away at her health, while also managing to keep myself relatively healthy. And though I'd somehow only drunk 2 soothing syrups in Phase 2, now I was beginning to need them more regularly. I was also trying to get perfect blocks occasionally, because this would obviously mitigate damage, and I hoped it would slow the rate of debuffs being applied to me. But the healing debuffs started stacking up like crazy regardless.
I got a stack of like 39 of them somehow. I'm doing like crazy damage now somehow. How am I doing more damage?
Yeah, I sometimes felt like I randomly did extra damage. I don't know what that was about. She did still use the radioactive bomb move occasionally, which healed her up a little, but she didn't seem to place the big fat bomb like she did in Phase 2. As the effect of my healing got weaker and weaker, I was forced to chug soothing syrups more and more often, and as the fight progressed, I began to run low. By the time she was on about 20% health, I was down to just 3, and I knew that wasn't gonna last me if I stuck with the tick sword, so I switched to the mint mace, hoping I could burst her down. I was also praying for a stun. Imagine if I stunned her in the final moments. Sadly, no. And that is how I got the final boss of Grounded down to like 5% on my second attempt. Because Phase 3 is indeed the final phase. I was so close. I tried a few more times after that, but the best I pulled off was getting her to about 40%. I still have no idea how I did so well on my second attempt, but considering each attempt was taking 7 or 8 minutes, after 5 failures, I decided to give up for now and rethink my approach so that I could come back stronger. I instead went and did the mixer under the deck, which was an easy one, and that was 4 out of 8 complete. And I did a run around cleaning up some scabbies, molars, and data in the southwestern corner of the map. This included killing this protective antlion and raiding the antlion tunnels of the sandpit to claim a mega. I did the antlion mixer too, another easy one, and that was 5 out of 8 completed. And I'd missed quite a few of Wendell's tapes in the overturned trash can, so I grabbed all of those. I also dug up a skelly to claim yet more ominous data. I grabbed a sneaky gum-encrusted toothy, and I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I needed to discover every location, so I made sure to discover the cooler box at the picnic table. I claimed some more data from a poor soul that evidently was crushed by a tumbling coal, and this mixer is on the western edge of the map, just near the coals. It was another fairly easy one, although the aerial assault from the mosquitoes did make it a little tricky. Just 2 more mixers to go. I crafted and began upgrading a new tick macawheat in preparation for my next infected broodmother attempt, and while waiting for mint globs to cook in the oven, I headed out to collect more stuff, and to visit this magical pipe in the undershed, because I needed more twinkling shells. And for some reason, this is the place where tons of scarabs hang out. I claimed a sneaky tooth while I was there, and this is why I wanted a fresh tick sword.
So I think the fresh will do an extra 25% damage, so that's going to be considerable. Upgrade the fresh to level 8.
And 10 more mint jewels later, I upgraded my first ever weapon to max level.
Alright, we got a fully upgraded tick macahooty. It's going to be significantly more damage than this, although I'm losing the finale damage bonus.
Considering it was 1 level higher than my other tick sword, and of course fresh, it was going to offer 35% more damage to the infected broodmother overall. Very nice. But I wasn't ready to go take on the big girl again just yet. Instead, I fully upgraded my gas mask, because I was off to take on the hardest super mixer in the game. I first claimed a random molar from a tree next to it, but then I got busy building rather elaborate defenses out of mushroom bricks and clay. This mixer summons ticks, tiger mosquitoes, and green shield bugs. And I was particularly worried the mosquitoes were going to destroy the mixer from the air.
Not the mozzies. The mozzies are in there. Get off of mozzie. I'm stuck in here. I got stuck in my own maze. Oh, there's so many mozzies now. Holy crap. Holy crap. Get them off. Get them off. Oh, what? I died? That was the last thing I was looking at. Dude, there's so many enemies come at the end. What the hell, dude?
Yeah, I wasn't looking at my health, and it was actually so close to finishing. If I'd noticed my health and popped a potion, that might have been a successful attempt. But as it was, I decided I needed heaps of clay. And fortunately, there's heaps of clay in the water around the stump. But before using the clay to build a ridiculous mixer defense, I first used it to make scaling all the way up to the wheelbarrow much easier.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah. Yes! I'm here. There's a moth here. You wanna die, moth?
Fortunately, the moth didn't knock me down to my doom, and I climbed up the handle to discover the final field station of the game.
This is my final Mega Milk Molar, I believe. Boom! Everything is maxed for the Mega Milks. This is the final Milk Molar. Ah! All 123. 45 Mega Milks, 78 milks, done.
I collected yet more clay. I think I ended up with over 200, and I used those to make the most outrageous defense ever. This was a well-encased super mixer, no doubt about it. Somehow some very persistent mosquitoes broke through the clay roof, which I considered an outrageous insult, but I was fortunately able to complete the challenge. And that meant there was just one more to go, underneath the lawnmower. It involved no flying bugs, so it was way easier, and while the terrain was a little awkward, I got it done no worries.
Boom! Complete all mixes.
Somehow I'd never discovered the baseball bat, even though I'd run up it a bunch of times. And it really didn't want to trigger the discovery, but eventually I looked at it just right. I discovered this buster cap gun in a nook beneath the deck, though it was slow to trigger too. I had to whack this green shield bug for a bit first, and with that I had just 3 more spots to discover in the lower grasslands. I next knocked over some of the easier burgle quests, like one to build an acorn turret, and another to build a waft emitter. You can put bug parts in this thing to enrage enemies into attacking. I upgraded my spear to be spicy and used it to kill an orb weaver. I duplicated a tier 2 and a tier 3 item. That was a few more quests. I peeped the crow, and I began cooking both the black ant queen and fire ant queen's favorite foods.
The tasty toe jam sandwich is ready. Here you go. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Donuts and toenails. Oh, there's a gun up there. What the heck? Where's my baby fire ant? Hello? The baby fire ant gives plus attack damage.
It does indeed, a whopping 25%. So this little new friend was another part of my plan to defeat the infected broodmother.
The baby fire ant can be called Scruffy. Nice hat, dude. Apparently there's a blade in here. Oh.
I had a quest to master the secret in the barbecue spill, and to achieve that I had to interact with this flamin' sword and then defend it from a bunch of ladybird lava. The tricky part was that it was rather sizzly here, but with my antlion armor on for sizzle defense I managed to pull it off. This earned me the recipe for the spicy Cole Tana. I then killed the termite king, who I did somehow kill earlier after I died, but I guess that didn't count. But thankfully this kill did. Another quest done. I grabbed some more data I'd missed in the undershed, which gave me the recipe for a fridge, which I made for another quest, and I made the acid edge too. And suddenly I only had 4 more apprentice quests left.
Discover all sights and wonders. I'm close. Equip a full armor set crafted from boss creature parts. Oh, okay. I've already dealt with the red and fire queens. I just gotta deal with the black one. And then this one is definitely kill the infected broodmother. So we're on the tail end of the quests. That's good.
I didn't have enough materials to make an entire boss armor set, and I figured it'd be easiest to farm materials from the hedge broodmother. So that's what I did. I killed her 3 times in a row before I had what I needed. But somehow in that process my pet ant Scruffy mysteriously disappeared.
What happened to my pet ant?
I crafted the mother demon set and completed the quest. This set gives you a bunch of poison related buffs. And Scruffy had genuinely disappeared forever, so I had to visit the fire ant queen to get a new pet baby fire ant to follow me around. The loss of Scruffy had also lost me a fair bit of loot, but fortunately nothing too crucial. I still refused to let my pet carry stuff ongoing, lest he disappear again. While I was off getting my new pet, some idiot spiders destroyed a chunk of my base, so I had to rebuild. And then I grabbed a couple of scabbies in the pond I'd somehow missed, even though I had revisited the pond multiple times by this point. I then crafted a heck of a lot of soothing syrup, and on the way back to the infected broodmother's lair, I peeped an infected weevil, because I needed its creature card. And then, it was on. I was using the same build as earlier, except I'd switched to a fresh sword, I had fully upgraded gear now, and I had 77 soothing syrups instead of just 23. My first attempt was going well, and even though I had plenty of stacks of the healing debuff, I was just spamming potions on cooldown and it was keeping me in decent stead. But at some point, my helmet completely broke, and that meant my defense lowered significantly, and I started taking rather meaty hits. I think I also had a few stacks of a damage resist debuff you get from being hit by the bomb explosions, and so I began taking too much damage, way more than I could possibly heal with my heavily debuffed healing items. Eventually, I was dead. On my next attempt, I did much worse, and then I did some research, and I learned about the benefits of eating some spicy shards.
There we go, spicy safety, that's what we wanted, spicy safety. Protects from stabs and smashes, and the broodmother stabs, and apparently rank 2 is 50%, and apparently Mithridatism is useless against the broodmother because it's poison. So I get rid of that. Whack on spicy safety. The other thing I want to use is corporate kickback, because apparently if you block, the health steal that it gives you isn't reduced by the healing debuff.
I put Parry Master on too, as I intended to try and block a little more with this new approach. And so here I am as phase 3 begins. And there's really not much to say. It's the fight you've seen me attempt a bunch of times, except with the spicy safety mutation, I was taking literally half the damage from all of her attacks. It genuinely felt like I was cheating. I'd also like to claim I landed heaps of impressive perfect blocks, but who knows. And I don't know if the corporate kickback mutation did much to increase my lifesteal. All I know is the spicy safety carried overall.
I think we got this. Have we got this? These some sick blocks. Oh, we got this, surely. We got this. We got this. We got this. Bro, that was so much easier. Ooh, baby. I didn't get the creature card. Wait, what? Why didn't I get the creature card? Oh no, I forgot to peep it.
So that was the all-important achievement secured. But I really did need that creature card, so I reloaded a save just before the fight and did it all again, just because I needed to peep it.
There we go. It's so easy with that spicy mutation. Crazy. I got the infected broodmother trinket. Extremely rare memento from the infected broodmother. I didn't get that the first time. Holy crap. It's got blast wave. Creatures you summon have a chance to cause mini explosions with all their attacks.
And so the final boss of the game was defeated. If you want a tip for beating it yourself, get the spicy safety mutation. Ridiculously overpowered. I grabbed a bunch more data that I'd missed and visited this previously locked door of the Black Ant lab.
Now that I've done all 8 of the mixes, what do I get? A whole bunch of quite nice loot. I'll take it. And a prod smacker. You ready? Shockwave. Boom. Shockwave. Boom.
This would pair nicely with the Black Ox set, I imagine.
I brought you your favorite. Yummy gummy sandwich. Yummy gum sandwich. Yummy gum sandwich. Boom. There's 2 achievements. Ah, it feels good. Deal with all the ant queens. And I suppose you could deal with them by poisoning them, but I chose to befriend them all. And unlock every creature card because I just got the baby black ant card. 100% of the creature cards.
I cleaned up the last of the random data I needed, and I paid a visit to discover the 108th and final location of the map.
Because this is now open, right? I grew big again. Mantis, the broodmother, and the wasp queen. I didn't have to kill the infected one to do this. That's crazy. But we can open it up, right? Holy dooly. Holy dooly. Look at this place. Post-dimension shift. Bread. Oh, here we go. Last bit of data. Quantum toast. I've certainly got all of Wendell's data, which is good. I'm pretty sure I've got all the Ominent. I've got all the Burgle. I guess I've got all the... I don't have all the statues, though. Oh, no. What if I need all the statues?
This lab was very cool, and coolest of all was what I found at the end of the hallway.
Here we go. That was the final location discovered. And that was the final Burgle quest to complete too. Complete Burgle's list of quests, all 100. Beautiful. So if I whack that, I can go into New Game Plus, which makes everything harder. And I will have to do that, but not yet. That is the final Scabby scheme. All 51 found on the map. We'll come back to the remixes soon, because I do need to do that for a couple of Steam achievements.
Yeah, and about those statues, I did indeed need them. So I had to revisit just about every corner of the map, starting with the Pond Lab, where I got the Koi statue, then the Black Ant Lab, where I found the Yoked Girth figurine, then the Haze Lab, where I found the Weevil statue, then the lab under Castle Moldork, where I found Moldork, then the Java-matic storage facility, where I found the Mant statue, and finally, the Undershed Lab.
There we go, the Wendell figurine, the wrinkly Wendell head.
I'd earned a lot of raw science doing all of those quests, so it was now time to see if I could afford to buy all the stuff from the science shop. Unfortunately, not quite.
7. Oh, okay, I'm actually really close. I only need 3,600 more raw science. Okay, that's not so bad. You can get a bunch of daily quests. Oh, he gave me a bunch, that's good.
So I was gonna have to do a few of those quote-unquote daily quests to get the raw science I needed, but I was so close. And it helped that I randomly found some raw science on a ledge on the way home. I knocked over some of the easier quests, and every time I completed some quests, I was able to return to a field station to pick up more.
Kill the infected broodmother again? How is that my daily quest?
I also discovered you can re-roll your daily quests every 12 minutes. Fast forward a bit and here I am all the way back in the Haze area, grinding for that juicy raw science.
Oh, there's raw science somewhere? Oh, look. Raw science. 500? Oh, yes. I found 500 raw science. It's such a Blessing.
I did another quick quest here, and then while I was waiting for another quest to complete, I figured it was only right that I place some statues around the base.
Alright, I built all the statues. We got the Mant chilling. We got the Yoked Girth dude. What a beast. We got the Mordok. He's mounted on the wall with some chewing gum. We got the Koi and the Weevil. And, of course, on the dinner table, we got Wendell's delicious wrinkly head. And I had the aphid here the whole time.
And soon the jerky I'd hung up finished drying, and that earned me the final 300 raw science I needed.
Okay, this is the final purchase. The science set for Teen Spirit. Okay, so this is completely bought out now. This is all the stuff I bought. I'm pretty sure I've got 100%, but I've got the hardest achievement ever. Perform 10 perfect blocks in a row. You can tell why I haven't got this achievement yet. A, I suck. B, as soon as I found weapons with lifesteal, I developed a build where I rarely perfect block. So, yeah, this one could be a nightmare.
I put on Koi armor, which increases the window in which you have to land a perfect block. And I found the easiest enemy in the game.
5. You ruined my plan, you stupid wolf spider. 9. 10. There we go. That's so easy against a mite. I'd like to think I could do that without the Koi armor on, but I suspect, I don't know how much extra time the Koi armor gives you. But that's clearly the hardest achievement in the game. Now we go grow big again and we see, did I actually do it? To be 100%, I need to have explored everywhere. I've done that. I need all the milk molars. I've got all 143. I need all the scabbies. I've found all 51. I need to have killed all the bosses. Done that. I need all the data, like the tapes and the documents and the statues and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure I found all of those. You need all the creature cards. I've got all of those. You need to have done all 100 of Burgle's quests. I've done all of that.
So surely when I grow big again, the 100% report card will greet me.
Surely. No! What am I missing? What am I missing? Collect more yard data. Oh, what am I missing?
Yeah, I missed some stuff in the stuff section of the data tab. Unbelievable. Firstly, the melted moat key, which I dug up from this random spot. I don't know how I was supposed to know that was there. It opened up a chest in the moat of the sandcastle. And I literally swam this moat way back when, so I don't know how I didn't know there was a chest here. But anyway, inside of it, I got the recipe for the salt Morningstar. I next swam through a gap in the rocks in the pond.
Oh. It's more of this weird crap. Oh, what the heck is this? Abomination.
Yeah, this bit of data was the recipe to make the abomination.
I'm glad the game forced me to find this handsome fella, because that's kind of glorious. He's the king of these little ant heads. Yes, abomination.
And finally, one more document with yet more recipes. This one was in the Undershed lab. It allowed me to make these glorious mant braziers.
I feel like the base looks beautiful to me. Look at this. Absolutely glorious.
And I made a new doorbell too.
Has it got underwear on it? Is that a pair of underwear? Seems like a good doorbell to me. Alright, moment of truth. There it is. We got the achievement. We got the 100% on the end game report card. I super won! I super won! However, there of course are the Steam achievements to think of. I have to grow big again in New Game Plus. I think it basically means I have to do all of the Wendell storyline. But this is huge. This is massive. This has taken me maybe 80 hours.
Now, I must admit, I did have vague plans of building pillars so my base wasn't defying gravity so obnoxiously, but at this juncture I concluded that I could not be bothered. So we're just gonna stick with the scientific truth that burr floors defy gravity, hence the floating base. And then it was time.
Yeah, I mean the only thing to do is to touch this where it says do not touch. But let's super toast. I don't know what toast has to do with it, but why not? The thing you're about to do has big permanent consequences. If you have any unfinished business in this playthrough, please turn back. I'm pretty sure I keep my base though, don't I? I've done 100% of this playthrough, so I don't need to hold back. Oh, we got the juice. We've got floating. Oh dear. Oh, you start. Wait, what? There's a molar? Anomalies detected. Science infusions. Creatures yoked. Yard remixed. Yard remixed. Oh, there's some crispy toast on the floor? There's lots of crispy toast. What the hell?
As you can see, going into New Game Plus adds a lot of stuff to the game. And while interesting, it was ultimately irrelevant to my goal. Though it was fun to fight a black ox beetle near the oak tree, and this infused enemy was interesting too. It seemed to have a few buffs, and gave a whopping 3,000 raw science when looted. I was also amazed to see a bunch of new stuff in the science shop.
This is incredible. There's actually so much to do in New Game Plus. That's crazy.
But ultimately, I'd gotten my 100% report card. And while I was immediately impressed at how much New Game Plus seemed to evolve and expand on the gameplay, all I really wanted was the final Steam achievement. So I rushed to the hedge and grabbed its super chip. I did all the business down in the pond, and that was super chip number 2. My base was still here, by the way, but much of the world had reset. For example, the haze was back, and in the haze, I grabbed super chip number 3. I had to fight a juiced up version of the assistant manager, but it was pretty easy, and that was the final super chip.
My beautiful moustache base lasted into New Game Plus. That's how you know it's a good base.
I was soon bashing up a shimmery purple mant, and I got the ridiculous Wendell to follow me around. And then I didn't have quite enough berry leather for the embiggening cocktail, so I had to harvest some berries. And this was the one part I was worried about, the wave defense bit. So I went bonkers and placed a ridiculous amount of walls. In New Game Plus, enemies have 60% more health and 20% more damage, so it wasn't a crazy amount harder, and I was able to successfully pull off the defense.
We done it. We done good. Alright, that was kind of intense, but with enough defenses up, you buy yourself enough time and it's all good. Fire up them lasers one last time. 100%. Here we go. Grow big again after activating the remixer. 100%, baby! That is a very satisfying 100%. What a good time.